top your day.
I love s'mores, so I made our new Andy's Frozen Custard S'mores Jackhammer just for fall.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios.
Hey, it's Scott Moore. Make sure you keep listening all season long on your official broadcast partner of the Kansas City Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app.
Hit it. Na 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 na.
All right, here we go on a Wednesday. It's Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Drew Nixon, Jay Binkley in for Cody Tapp today. Cody out the rest of the week. He'll be back with us on Monday. What's up, Big? It's been a bit since you and I have done a show together.
It's been a minute. Worked with Cody a little bit here and there, but not very often. But, this is nice, Gold. This is a real treasure. Real treasure.
Is it?
It is. It really is, yeah.
So we're good to go. We got everything set up that you need.
Yep, we're good to go.
You got everything. You don't need the no energy drinks or anything like that anymore?
You know what? I've tried to cut down on those, Alex.
That's good.
You're going to notice a little bit of difference with me. Now, I will go to one.
During the show today?
Yeah. Are you still going to go Tostitos dry without the
You know
salsa?
what? The new vending machine, I don't think has Tostitos, Bank.
Oh, you kidding me? You know, I love the new vending machine. Like, I'm all for this. I was doing the post games without anything, so I'd have to drive down the quick trip.
Well, yeah.
But just able to stay here and use that thing, I've been so happy.
I got two requests. I have two requests. Give me some Propel again in there, please, and give me some Tostitos chips. And other than that, we're good. But yes, I will have some Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, Bink, at some point during the show today. It's a must. It's going to have to happen. You guys can, of course, interact with Bink and I and
the
Drew.
prices are good, man. It's good.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. 913-586-7610. The Jays Southland Tow Service text line. Coming up in 1 hour, Tony Gonzalez, Hall of Famer, Chiefs great, going to join us. Had a chance to catch up with him. Want to get his perspective. He'll be part of Amazon's coverage, the pregame show tomorrow night on Prime, Chiefs, Broncos. And I want to ask him about, a tight end getting a little bit older, right? Travis Kelce turning 34 years old, or is 34 now. And Tony Gonzalez played till he was, 38 years old? When did he start to sense maybe the recovery wasn't happening? I know some people are wondering, these two injuries that Kelce has had, is it because of age? Is it just fluky? I asked Tony Gonzalez about that. You'll get his answer, and also what he sees that's going on with this offense right now, why it's not at the same level. But we do start with the AFC, because while there's issues with Kansas City offensively, they're sitting at 4-1 in what looked like an AFC loaded with quarterback play across the board, and we're going to have to battle it out maybe for one seeds with 4 or 5 teams. You start looking at this point, if I were to ask you to tier out the NFL, period, there might be only one team that's in the great tier, Bank, heading into week 6, which is tomorrow night. One team. I think it's the Niners right now. It's October. The Super Bowl's not tomorrow, fortunately. I think if you were saying one great team in that tier, there's only one in there, and it's the 49ers. After that, there's this very good tier, and that's where the Chiefs and the Eagles, to me, fall in.
I would put the Eagles with the 49ers. I think they're on a collision course in the NFC, but you look at a team that went to the Super Bowl last year, has not let go. They have the invincible play that nobody else in the NFL has with that tush push. But I put the Eagles right there with the Niners. Well, the funny thing is, the Niners starting to get that villainous pushback like Chiefs fans, because all that crap they were talking with the Dallas Cowboys, and the Micah Parsons and Debo going back and forth. And there's no love lost with the Eagles and the 49ers. They hate each other. And after that NFC title game, 49ers like, well, if we had a quarterback, we could have won the game and all this. They're on a collision course. I'd put the Eagles right there with the 49ers, and as far as the NFC, and I put 3 teams on tier 1. It'd be the Chiefs, the Niners, the Eagles.
I mean, to me, it was just a reality check of what we saw the Niners do to the Cowboys, though, right? Just talking about the NFC dynamic. And reminder, the Cowboys are a really good team. They still are. But there is just, A, they're a bad matchup, and B, there's just this giant gap that exists. Whereas I think Kansas City and Philadelphia can close the gap with the 49ers as the season goes on. But right now, there's a gap there. The good news in the AFC in particular, though, you start looking at how some of these other teams have lost. When the Chiefs lost, they lost by a point to the Lions in week 1, 21-20. But you look at, when Miami has lost, they've lost by double digits to the Buffalo Bills, right? They put up only 20 points or so. The Bills, I think, scored 40 or so in that game. You start to look at how the Buffalo Bills themselves, we know they just got beat in London pretty good by the Jacksonville Jaguars. So you start looking at the AFC and the teams that are supposed to be your biggest competition. We know about Cincinnati. They're sitting at 2-3 right now, and they've got injuries. Yeah, there you go, Drew. Bink gave you a little look. Bink looked over. If you're watching on the stream, you saw that look.
Yeah,
if you watched
I know.
that, he gave you a little look there. But like that's the thing. There is still quality quarterback throughout, but it's not as daunting right now as we once thought.
Really thought going into the season, this is the year of the quarterbacks in the AFC. I mean, you're thinking about it, and of course, Aaron Rodgers not playing anymore. Lamar Jackson, like I'm waiting for him. He got paid, and I'm always curious to see quarterbacks when they've been paid. Like, how good are you going to be? Like Josh Allen's still been a good team. He's a guy, playing his quarterback since he got paid. Mahomes, well, he won a Super Bowl after getting paid because you have to pay your quarterback. And the Bengals are on the clock now because they paid Burrow. Are they going to be able to pay anybody else? Because the Bengals really don't like paying anybody else.
When does that number set in, though, right? They're a year or two away from it getting crazy,
But the bottom line is that they've guaranteed it. They're clearing space for it. And I'm curious, same way with Herbert. So pay your quarterback and then win. Because I think that's the toughest thing to do. And what the Chiefs did, they had to do it getting Pacheco in the 7th round. You had to have 5 rookies play defensive back. The Chiefs had the 3rd most snaps of all rookies last year. The top 2 were number 1 and number 2 in the draft. Chiefs win the Super Bowl is the 3rd team. It is very tough to do, but you got to be good in all the other areas, and you better have a good front office. So I'm always curious when you pay a quarterback. But Lamar's happy now. I know the Ravens have been dealing with injuries, obviously, the J.K. Dobbins thing. I thought they would be better. I thought they were ready to take that next step and get back to where Baltimore was when you went to the game and they went all crazy because you were at the game where they beat the Chiefs, right? Weren't you at in Baltimore for that one?
I was. That was an interesting exit out of the stadium.
That was a good Baltimore team. That was a team trying to chase the Chiefs.
Everybody thought that win. I mean, if you were to ask a Baltimore fan after that game, of course, the Chiefs fumble late in that one. You would have asked a Baltimore fan a couple of years ago after that. They thought they were on the path to head to a Super Bowl. They're on the path to head to an AFC title game. We know they got a ton of injuries from that point forward on that Baltimore team.
So many of these teams get these false pretenses when they start getting crowned in the national media. I'll never forget a couple years ago when Buffalo beat the Chiefs in the regular season. It was the year of the Grim Reaper, the year of the 13 seconds, right? That year. That was played at Arrowhead Stadium. Well, Buffalo beats the Chiefs. Everybody's talking about the Bills being the new power in the AFC because they just went into Kansas City and they beat the Chiefs pretty bad. But then all of a sudden they can't handle, like these teams can't handle success. They're crowned. People talk about them. They can't. Miami was crowned a couple weeks ago when they put 70 up. They falter the following week to Buffalo. And everybody's crowning Buffalo. They go to London and get smacked around by the Jaguars. The Titans or the Bills did this. They beat the Chiefs. Next week they go off and they lose to Tennessee in primetime. Then they lost Urban Meyer in the Jaguars 9-6. That Buffalo team, the Chiefs beat in the postseason, and they had 41 points put on them in Buffalo by Carson Wentz and the Colts. That is not living up to top billing. These teams can't handle it. Like the Chiefs have been able to handle the arrows. They've been sitting at the top of the hill and able to withstand this. Some teams can't. The Niners have been able to, for the most part.
It's coaching, isn't it? I mean, to me,
the Eagles have been able to withstand it. And the Chiefs, I look at these consistent teams. You got to be consistent.
It's the coaching bank and having the stable locker room. I think that's how you avoid having you have surprise losses, right? The Chiefs lost to the Colts last year. Nobody saw that coming. But to your point, you're going to always be the hunted. And they've been dealing with this for a couple of years. That was always the big story 2+ years ago after the first Super Bowl win. Not just that Ravens game you're referencing, but just, could the Chiefs handle being that team in the league? We're way past that conversation. You pointed this out to me before the show, that Mahomes only 3 games where he's lost by more than 1 score.
It's insane.
And you compare it to other teams, and everybody else really does get blown out at some point in their time in the league.
Even Brady would. In his heyday, he'd lose like 31-3 to the Lions, something like that. But there's an obscure stat going on here, too, that I think is really incredible, Alex. The Chiefs have gone 38 games now, which is 38 games by either winning or not losing by more than 4. It goes back to that Buffalo Bills game a couple years ago in the regular season. It was the year right after they lost to Tampa.
Yeah, Buffalo came in and beat them up pretty good. Remember that was the game where there was a lightning delay or whatever, thundestorm delay in the middle of it?
That's where they crowned the Bills, right? But ever since then, the Chiefs have gone 38 straight games. This is how impressive it is. The 1965 to 67 Packers. They tied the 1940 to 42 Bears. They went 34 straight games without losing by more than 4. What I'm saying is, this is what you call consistency. No one talks about this, but the Chiefs have gone 38 games where no one's beaten them by more than 4 points. This, to me, is one of the craziest stats, and it's still going. They're at 38 and climbing as far as this is concerned. It's just so impressive. It means you're good, and maybe you have a bad game, but you're still in the game. The Chiefs are always in the game. That's a mark of a consistent team. This goes down to Andy Reid. This goes down to Mahomes. This goes down to a stable front office because you have to have all these things working from the quarterback to the coach to the front office. All these things have to be in sync.
I think the new element, though, this year, while they're trying to get things figured out offensively, though, is that now they have a legit defense. This is the best defense that Patrick Mahomes has had in his career, and it, to me, is only going to improve as the season goes on because they're going to get, as we've all discussed, Nick Bolton's been out. Hugh hasn't even played yet for this team. Right, I feel like hopefully the hamstring gets right for Karlaftis. He was limited yesterday in practice. We'll get an update on how things go with practice later on today. Just where we're status-wise heading into, I should say, Thursday's game, and we'll check in on that whenever we have information heading into tomorrow or so. But I think that the defense allows you also to avoid certainly the blowout situation. And fortunately, tomorrow night, it's not a game where anybody's worried about. The question is whether the Chiefs are going to be blowing out the Denver Broncos. So we'll talk more specifically about a little bit later on and what the Broncos' plan and path is going forward, not just this year, but beyond 2023. That's coming up in about 25 minutes or so. I know you were watching a little baseball last night. I'll be honest, I was not planning on talking any baseball today whatsoever. You're like, why are you talking baseball? But I was stunned to hear you tell me something when I walked in the door this morning. I said, oh, okay, well, we have to talk about this on the show today. I'll be honest, I didn't watch any of the baseball games last night. I was watching just random stuff on TV. And I watched, over the 2 nights ago when the Braves came back and won, which was incredible the way that game finished. But I didn't really watch yesterday. They're both blowouts. The Texas Rangers obviously moving on and all that. But you were watching the Orioles game where they got beat up.
There's 2 college games on. There's the NHL opening night, and I was watching baseball. I was watching a lot of stuff. I mean, this is the best month of the year. This is the best month. It is. And at the end of the month, you get all the candy, right? It's just to build up to that. Then you get the bags on sale in November. But yes, I was watching baseball. And something came up, and I got to thinking about it. I'd say I like barstool debates when you're sitting at the bar and you order a beer. You like the stuff, Alex, and you're arguing with people. I told you a long time ago I used to argue about who is it, Belichick or Brady? Who's right. The reason? I would argue this at bars. I love it. But this came up. The Rangers, only 90 wins this year. They beat the Baltimore Orioles that had 101 wins. Everybody celebrated because Ryan O'Hearn, man, had the 14 home runs. Ryan O'Hearn is back. The Baltimore Orioles are fun. This is a fun team in Major League Baseball to watch. Let's all watch the Orioles. Remember when the Rangers started sliding? They started sliding. They started slip sliding. This is one of the best teams in Major League Baseball. They started slip sliding down to 90 wins. Bruce Bochy, what a character he is, always winning. But they swept the Orioles. Okay. The AL East did not win a single game this postseason. First time in, 20-some-odd years where the AL East hadn't won. Would you rather go to the playoffs or lose in this fashion? I had to think about this. Like, okay, as a Royals fan.
Hold on. Would you, if you're the Orioles, would you rather have the season they had?
I'm sitting here like going, okay, well, Kansas City. I mean, the Royals are now on their couch eating Doritos, watching the playoffs like the Orioles are.
Stop.
So you would rather be the Royals than get swept?
Anybody else in Major League Baseball, I'd rather be than be the team that won 101 games. People are laying bouquets at your feet and telling you how good you are. Then you get your ass kicked by the Texas Rangers, lose 7-1 and get swept. That's embarrassing. That's a tough pill to swallow.
No.
You're not even going to enjoy Thanksgiving. You're not even going to enjoy Christmas when you get swept by the Rangers.
No, what's embarrassing, Bink, is losing over 100 games. That's embarrassing. Stop.
I'd rather lose 100 games to get swept in the playoffs.
No, you don't.
Yes, I would.
Bink, I would trade places in a heartbeat. The Royals haven't been in the postseason since.
How about the Cleveland Guardians won 76?
Been to the postseason since 2015, and you're actually in Kansas City asking the question: would you rather have a first round or actually second round postseason exit? It's the divisional round. It's the second round now. The second round of the postseason, even if you get swept, or sit at home and know since mid-May that you were out of the thing? Of course I'd rather have disappointment in the postseason than not even have a chance. We were disappointed after opening day in Kansas City.
What about the Seattle Mariners that won 88, didn't make the playoffs? Would you rather be them or would you rather be the Orioles that won 101?
The team in the postseason?
No, I'd rather be the Mariners than be disappointed like the Orioles. That's embarrassing when you get swept. And it wasn't even close, man. With the Texas Rangers. The Texas Rangers did things to the Orioles that aren't illegal in probably like 37 states. I mean, that's embarrassing the way that they went down that fashion. I would rather be Seattle. I'd rather be the Guardians. I'd rather be the Royals. Hell, I'd even rather be the White Sox than be embarrassed on national TV like the Baltimore Orioles. Baltimore, you as a city, all your teams, you find a way to suck, and the Orioles carried that mantle and that fire for you last night. But the city of Baltimore's teams really struggle. But, man, I do not want to be embarrassed and get beat 3 straight games by only a 90-win team, the Texas Rangers. The mark of inconsistency.
You're talking about embarrassment, though, Bink. Losing 100-plus games.
Who cares, man?
Tying a franchise record for most losses. That's embarrassing.
If you don't win the whole thing, you're the same as everybody else. If you do not win the whole thing, you're a loser like everybody else.
You know how many people in Kansas City would sign up for playoff embarrassment?
No, I don't want to be embarrassed nationally. Like if the Royals,
but they're already getting embarrassed,
man. To the A's in that wild card game, would people have even thought they were in the playoffs? But they made a run all the way to Game 7 of the World Series.
But that actually hurts your argument. Here's what you just said is, yeah, if they would have lost in the wild card round, we'd be talking about a completely different Ned Yost story and all that.
And then they go and get swept by the Angels.
But that's the point.
It wouldn't have felt good.
They were in the dance. Right. They got in a wild card round, Bink. And nobody thought they could go on the run, and instead they gave us a full month of October before they lost to the San Francisco Giants in 2014. They would not have been able to do that without getting in the postseason. This is just pretty obvious to me. Come on, Bink.
The bottom line is only one team wins. But when you look back and say, yeah, it was a great team, 100 wins, Ryan O'Hearn found himself. Ooh, Baltimore Orioles, it was fun. The fans were showing up again. And then they just go get hammerjacked by the Texans. This is embarrassing. I'd rather sit on the couch and watch the games than to have that kind of embarrassment. Baltimore, across this country, people are ripping that team like, what the hell happened
with
the Baltimore Orioles?
Yeah, again.
Bink, would you rather the Chiefs lose in the Super Bowl, or would you rather them be a 4-win team?
Oh, 4-win, you don't win the whole thing. You're just. Kelsey even said it after the Buccaneers lost by the Chiefs. Like, hey, is this season a disappointment? If you don't win the whole thing, the Chiefs are now in that category. Like the Patriots were. Patriots didn't care if they went to the Super Bowl and lost. They hated that. Kansas.
Yeah, but now you're talking you're talking the question of disappointment by losing the Super Bowl or never getting there. You know how many fan bases have never
care
experienced
about Big 12 title games, Gold. You care about the Final Four only. You really do.
Right, but
you care only about the Final Four.
But your argument is that would I rather see the Jayhawks lose in the Final Four or not have them make the Final Four at all? And you're saying you'd rather them not make the Final Four. Like what?
What I'm saying is I would rather be the Mets than the Baltimore Orioles right now.
Anyway.
Because I don't want to go and get swept in the play. That's embarrassing. That really is embarrassing. If I'm an Orioles fan, I'm really embarrassed. I don't know if I'm going outside today.
You mentioned KU. We'll get to that in about 12 minutes or so. There could be some news coming out later today about the infractions ruling, but at this point, I don't know if anybody cares a whole lot anymore. It's been 6+ years. We'll check in on that coming up in about 12 minutes or so. But Dean Blandino, Fox Sports rules analyst, former NFL head of officiating, he was on with CDOT and Rob yesterday on The Drive. And CDOT asked the question that it's terrible that it has to be asked, because there's this ridiculous national conspiracy theory narrative that the NFL and the referees have conspired, Bink, to make sure the Chiefs can win games. So Carrington flat out asked Dean Blandino, are the refs helping the Chiefs win football games?
Officials go into a game, they don't look at the two teams in terms of what their records are. They don't look at any of that. They are getting evaluated. And there's so much scrutiny on the officials, not just in the moment by the fans, the coaches, the players, the broadcasters, but after the game. They're evaluated by the league, the NFL league officiating department. And those evaluations are going to be what gives them playoff assignments, or they no longer are part of the league if they don't grade out very well. So they don't look at that. I know that's a popular narrative around fans that the Chiefs say they're a successful team. They're going to get the calls. That stuff tends to even out over the course of time.
So there's Dean Blandino. Once again, what did he used to be? The head of officiating for the NFL. He's now a Fox Sports rules analyst. He's on TV 5 times a week for every college game and NFL game. That guy's in his own little studio.
He's replaced Pereira to me. I mean, Dean's the guy.
He is, but who needs to that needs to be replayed in New York for Jets fans. It needs to be really in every NFL market, right? Like we need to send that out to every Odyssey station in every NFL market and play that, because here in Kansas City, we're not the ones that necessarily need to hear that. Right? We all recognize once again, that when you are the team, in this case, it's the Chiefs, that wins all the time, people will try to find reasons why you're not just good. Like, there's no way you're just that good. There's no way that you just capitalize on every single mistake another team makes. Good teams do that, Bink, and that's why it's magnified when calls seemingly are in favor of Kansas City. Do they get breaks at times? Sure, just like every other team does, but bad teams don't actually take advantage of those mistakes.
Alex is someone that has skin in the game like you. Sometimes you do notice all these things from all these other teams. I noticed this. On the post game we talked about it. When the Chiefs had those 4 penalties on that one drive, I thought only one of those was realistic. I did. The Snead and the unnecessary rough, that wasn't at all. I mean, the Chiefs got a job. They had 4 penalties called against the Vikings, 10 against, more than 2-1 against the Chiefs. They won't talk about that. And I remember sitting here saying, the narrative nationally is going to be the Chiefs got lucky against the Jets. Let's forget about the fact the Jets got 12 points on penalties that didn't exist. The horse collar didn't exist. The safety didn't exist. They got 12 points off that. No one talks about the fact that Jerry Jeudy last year against the Chiefs takes his helmet off, throws a temper tantrum, bumps an official, no flag was thrown on the play. I mean, I've seen all these. He got
fined, didn't he? Because he bumped the official.
He got fined, but during the game, he never got penalized.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny because everybody's talking about that and Steen's helmet going off, which should have been a penalty. But throw in the fact that Jerry Jeudy did the same thing, and it was even worse because he actually bumped the official, and he threw much more of a tantrum. Steen didn't even throw a tantrum when he pulled the helmet. But nobody talks about these things. And Dean
because the Broncos stink, right? That's why they don't get talked about. Nobody cares because the Broncos.
Nobody cares. But the problem is, it's not just against the Chiefs. It's a perception. It's your narrative. You want things to fit. Everybody wants things to fit their narrative. And right now the narrative is, let's see if we can hammer the Chiefs. Even though if they watch the game, they'll realize the Chiefs were jobbed in many other things. People don't even realize that in the AFC title game in overtime, before the rules were changed, Tom Brady took the ball, marched right down and scored a touchdown. But it wasn't until Mahomes did it against the Bills where the rule got changed in the National Football League. Buffalo's been crying about it. They're still crying about it. And they changed the rules because Mahomes went right down and scored a touchdown on them. Oh, we forget that this happened with Tom Brady doing it the year before to the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, it's selective memory that sports fans have.
We've said it over and over, but this fan base now in Kansas City has to know that they're going to be the hated fan base. They're going to be the hated team. And so it's not ending anytime soon, which is a good thing. That means the Chiefs are going to keep on winning. The minute it ends, that's when suddenly nobody's threatened by you anymore. That's when nobody thinks you're actually the premier team in the league anymore. It's not changing anytime soon. Throughout Mahomes' career, by the way, there's going to be this feeling that they get all the breaks. As long as they are the top dog, they're defending champs, they're one of the 3 best teams in football still, heading into week 6 for this year, that's going to be the narrative. It's going to happen tomorrow night. Even though the Chiefs are a far better team, right, and should be comfortably beating the Broncos, although we'll talk more about it. It's a divisional game. You never know what can happen. This is going to be, anytime they're on television, just one call a game. There could be 10 great calls, by the way, a well-officiated game, and one call that's a little a call where they could swing one way or the other, I would say. Just a little, I wouldn't even say fishy, but at least one call where you could say, I'm not so sure about that. Automatically, that's the call everybody's going to pounce on, and you just got to get used to it.
Yeah, they're going through, and the Broncos only have 11 more penalty yards than the Chiefs. They're 16th and 17th, respectively, in the NFL as far as penalties are concerned. But Blandino said something after that Jets game, and I thought it was great when he was talking about the fact of, what do you want us to do at the end of the game? Swallow the whistle? Because then players are going to start taking advantage of that. Here's the other thing.
People want consistency,
well, there's 2 words. There's 2 words for any fan that thinks the Chiefs get benefit. Go back and watch Carl Cheffers. Watch Carl Cheffers' games against the Chiefs, and you'll see penalties that don't exist against the Kansas City Chiefs. But that doesn't fit the narrative.
It was almost like a year ago, like a day or 2 ago.
There's no foul on the play, so block in the back. Timeout.
I think it was a year ago yesterday or a year ago 2 days ago of the Carl Cheffers completely having his voice crack and started basically crying on the field, and then the game completely swung. The Arrowhead crowd clearly did get to him. But coming up next, though, we could have a ruling come down today, and I'm just wondering if anybody actually cares anymore about this, Bink. Plus, the plan going forward for the Broncos, not just in 2023, but what position are they in beyond this year? That's next year on Cody and Gold.
Cody and Gold.
Last and probably most important question. Are, in fact, all opinions like buttholes?
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
I'm Mitch Holtis, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Choosing the best doctor for your eyes is one of the most important medical decisions you'll ever make. Whether you're considering blade-free LASIK, all laser cataract surgery, and premium lens implants, or want a world-renowned doctor to help with your glaucoma, macular degeneration, dry eyes, or diabetes, trust my doctor, Dr. Steven Silverstein. Call Silverstein Eye Centers to make an appointment, 816-358-3600. Experience the best eye care in Kansas City.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Cody, tap Alex Gold with our friend Russ Mondry. Russ, I'm told you can get a career in IT almost anywhere.
Yeah, there's tons of different directions. It's got unlimited growth potential. You know, you can get a job anywhere. You can get a job at hospitals, banks, schools,
Sports radio.
Sports radio, there you go, if you're looking.
And Russ, what about the advancement opportunities through this program?
I mean, there's so many different areas of IT you can grow into. And the more training, the more experience, the more skills, more certifications, the more money.
And you can find out more from Russ and the folks over at Centric. Just go to centric.com/610.
Well, I want to tell you about another winner. It's my friends at Window World. They are ranked #1 in number of windows sold in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. They're also the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs. So you know the Chiefs are a winner. And Window World, they have windows that are one of 2 windows that are locked in with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. In just over 20 years of business, they have improved the look and thermal efficiency over 52,000 homes in Kansas City. Plus, your windows come with a lifetime warranty that covers all your parts, glass breakage, and labor. It also uses a double-strength glass. It gives it that extra strength that is not commonly used in your normal replacement windows. They are giving an incredible deal right now. They are offering 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. 18 months, that's a year and a half. So do me this favor. Give them a call for a free home estimate. Check out the website, and they can show you how they are simply the best for less. Fall is right around the corner. You know winter is going to be here before you know it. I want you to get ready, and the best way to do that is with my friends at Window World.
Hi, it's Trey Smith, and in order for our team to get a victory, we need honesty, teamwork, work ethic, humility, and the golden rule. That's why my truck is from the dealer that embodies all those values, Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram also supports Giving Hope, whose sole purpose is to feed and clothe the needy in Wyandotte County and beyond. Giving back in the highest integrity, that's how Jeff and his team do business. For your next vehicle, visit or go to VictoryChryslerDodgeJeepRam.com.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
After a big dinner, my nighttime heartburn would keep me up. I'd be taking antacid after antacid all night long. But then I tried Prilosec OTC. Just 1 pill a day blocks my frequent heartburn for a full 24 hours, giving me one-and-done heartburn relief. Without heartburn keeping me up, I could have a restful night's sleep.
Prilosec OTC. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just 1 dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. So minivans, sedans, JDMs, roll out. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. And with eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Happy 62nd birthday, Granddad.
Thanks, sweetheart.
I got you this.
A mug. Oh, thank you. What does it say? Beware, if you are 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of hospitalization from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, compared to adults younger than 60.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
I'm Tony Kornheiser, and this is my show. What, you expecting something different? Whether you're looking for deep, insightful dives into the day's top sports stories, that's why we have guests, right, Nigel? Or simply how to get change for 100, you'll find it on the Tony Kornheiser Show. From football picks, from the best prognosticators in the business, including a monkey, to real-time baseball playoff analysis, to traffic in an area where you don't live. We got you covered. My friends come on, and you know them. Listen on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
This report is brought to you by KC Customs. We put the customs in KC. KC-Customs.com.
Want a new truck, Jeep, or SUV, but don't want a new payment? Then come by KC Customs. We'll turn your boring ride into one that turns heads and breaks necks. Set yourself apart from the crowd. Go to KC Customs. We put the customs in KC.
If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself, then make a change.
Just getting started here on a Wednesday. Cody and Gold, Alex Gold. We got Jay Binkley in for Cody today. Drew Nixon producing the show. Coming up in 30 minutes, Tony Gonzalez, NFL Hall of Famer, Chiefs tight end, Chiefs great, going to join us, be part of Amazon's coverage tomorrow night. A little bit of news in the NFL, Bink, during the break. You pointed this out, and now I see it from Adam Schefter. The Dolphins, as expected, are placing running back Devon Achane on injured reserve. That means he will miss the next 4 games, including that game in Germany against the Kansas City Chiefs. He's going to miss the Carolina, the Philly game, the New England game, and then at Kansas City is technically a Chiefs home game there in Germany. So that means with the bye week for the Dolphins, not eligible to come back until week 11. They got a deep backfield there, Raheem Mostert, but still, this Achane kid has been awesome.
He's
averaging like 12 yards a carry.
And he's 4.32 speed.
Yeah, so big loss for them.
Between him and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, they're an extremely fast team, but Achane is, which is funny because it was Achane until 2 weeks ago, but Achane is 4.32 speed.
Yeah, so we certainly won't have to be keeping an eye on him here in a couple weeks when he plays the Chiefs in Germany. We'll get to the trash of the day here in about 15 minutes or so as well. But at some point today, we think before 1 o'clock, there's going to be a ruling handed out for the KU infractions case, right? This goes all the way back to 2017, right? The federal investigation involving infractions, major investigations of about 8 programs. KU's the one that really hasn't had any punishment yet. They went through this long process. They fought it. They delayed it. They pushed it back. Here we are. It's 2023. This is from 2017, but now the punishments are expected to be handed out today. But because of how long it's taken, because of the shift in this IARP, the independent review panel, basically most of these programs, with the exception of one, Oklahoma State, who got screwed over and had the postseason ban, which is terrible. At the time, it was their first-year head coach, I think it was, in Boykin. It had nothing to do with it. Other than that, these programs aren't getting punished. And I think worst-case scenario today, Bink, is that some wins get vacated from 2017, and all of a sudden Kentucky's back to the all-time wins leader. Maybe that same thing applies to the Final Four that year.
Yeah.
But they have won a national championship since. And honestly, you guys know I'm a KU guy. You're neutral on this, Bink, for the most part. So is Drew, even though he's hopped on the K-State bandwagon here this year. Do people at all care anymore? It's been so long. I think initially there was this hope that they were going to get nailed, right? If you were a Missouri fan, a K-State fan, whatever. And I get it. You're hoping they're going to get crushed. But I don't know anybody that actually thinks they're going to get a strong punishment anymore, especially since a lot of the things they were accused of doing, you can do now.
Yeah, because Neil changed the game. It has so changed the game of college athletics. The transfer portal since then as well, where teams get the realm of what college athletics are with Neil, the transfer portal and everything else, all the conference realignment. College athletics has changed so much since 2017. It's like a seismic shift in how different we look at college athletics now compared to the way we looked at it. Because now it's basically it's borderline professional sports at this point.
I think I'm with you, Golden. That there's no way that they actually penalize them a lot, but at the same time, like we talked about it a little bit yesterday, they are the NCAA, and part of me just thinks that they're going to find a way, like they did with Tez Walker, to say, well, these are the rules now, but guess what? They weren't back then, so as a result, we're going to do this. And it's going to be BS, but I could totally see that happening.
Here's the thing. Remember, though, this is not the NCAA anymore. Like, it's not the NCAA laying this punishment down later today.
Is it FBI?
It's the NCAA's IARP, but it's not the normal NCAA process. That was the path that Kansas was able to choose to go down many, many, many years ago, and it turned out to be a smart decision. And since then, I think the IARP is like disbanding anyway. This is like the last case, basically, that they're even handling.
Well, the NCAA has no power. Worried about disbanding.
Their power, the NCAA's power over this kind of stuff has diminished so much in the last 5 years.
They're scared. The NCAA is scared of teams. They were scared of North Carolina letting Tez back. They're scared of the University of Kansas. The NCAA is scared that college football, the power conferences are going to branch off because they don't have any control of the college football playoffs anyway, the NCAA. But they're scared of teams like that, sticking their middle finger up and say, we're gone. The NCAA is fearful right now of what these programs can do. That's why I think a lot of these things are going to be like, because the NCAA is treading on thin ice, man. Because these schools hate them.
I think most KU fans are just glad this is about to be over today. That this cloud basically has existed since 2017, and this unknown of what could happen. The longer it's gone on, I think people have gotten more comfortable. Certainly once KU won the national championship, a lot of KU fans at that point were just like, all right, whatever, F it. But also now you're so far out of it, it's like, just be done with it. Have this in the rearview mirror and move on. And I think, again, that's the good thing that's going to happen at some point, reportedly today, and the expectation is maybe before 1 o'clock. If that does happen during the show, we'll obviously let you know what the actual
football school now. So when this happened in 17, the football team was 1-11, coming off a 2-10 year, then 3-9, 3-9, 0-9, 2-10. Think about how much has changed to Kansas. How he look.
Think the current roster at KU, if there were to actually be punishments to this roster, this is why I don't think it'll happen, nor should it. They were 12-year-old kids. Yep. They were 12 years old. Guys on the team right now. That's how dumb this is.
Yeah, the fact that they're also like dissolving the IARP, they just want to get it over with. I feel like it's taken long enough already, and it's so far gone that conceivably there's no way that you can actually give them a stiff penalty. It is interesting though, seeing and reading the story from Pat Forty that LSU, Arizona, Louisville, NC State, all those coaches they were fired or they're gone. Kansas obviously fighting for one of the best coaches that has ever coached in college basketball.
We'll get to the trash of the day here in about 8 minutes or so, but back to the Broncos. Chiefs-Broncos tomorrow night, Bink. It's not just about this year, which is a defense trending towards historically bad season. One of the 4 or 5 worst defensive seasons in NFL history. That's what is going on right now in Denver with Sean Payton and Vance Joseph, who's the defensive coordinator there. But it's beyond just this year that they have to worry about. What's the plan going forward for this Broncos team? Right now, they would have one of the top 5 picks, I believe it is, in the draft. Number 3 overall, I think, in the NFL draft. We took a look at this the other day. And Russell Wilson's contract, as we knew the minute it was signed, is something they're locked into for multiple years still because of the dead cap hit. They can't cut him after this offseason. They'd still owe him like $60 or $70 million. Even the year after that, Bank, it's still like $38 or $40 million dead cap. What's the plan going forward? If they end up with a top 5 pick, which should be your hope, by the way, now if you're a Denver Broncos fan, and they're in the Caleb Williams, Drake May, Marvin Harrison Jr. sweepstakes, are you stockpiling picks? Like, what's your plan? Because you could draft Caleb Williams, Drake May. Russell Wilson, you're going to have a $70 million quarterback sitting on the bench?
They need to stockpile picks. I mean, it kind of started with Randy Gregory when they were able to ship him to the 49ers. They said they're not going to be, quote, sellers. They're going to be listeners. Now, they need to stockpile picks. They need to tear that thing down. And Sean Payton walked into it with already Russell Wilson. It was already a team with its roster in a different direction. But once you make a seismic shift in a head coach like that, like they did, let them pick their own team. And I get Russell Wilson's a huge anchor, maybe the biggest anchor we've ever seen in the NFL with the head coach walking into a situation. But they need to be trading anybody and everybody, including Frank Clark and these guys. These guys aren't going to help this team. This team's going nowhere.
It sounds like they're willing to. Like,
they're listeners at this point.
They're saying publicly. You know how this goes. But
I know.
Nobody ever publicly says, yeah, we're shopping everybody.
They should
in
be
the
open
NFL.
for business because Randy Gregory was kind of the start of that for them.
Russell Wilson's deal in the specifics, you were laying some of that out. $85 million dead cap hit next year. 49 the year after.
Yeah, it was
31 the year after that. Pink, we're talking 2027.
Not a great move.
We're talking 2027.
Yeah, especially when you look at quarterbacks in college football right now, and this is going to be a quarterback draft. This could rival the 83 draft where 6 quarterbacks were taken in the first round. I think so.
We know Williams, Drake May for sure.
I think we're looking at
Sanders probably not coming out, though.
Quinn Ewers will be a first round. J.J. McCarthy could get himself in the first round. He's looked upon as early second now. Some people have him mocked actually in the first round. Bo Nix, Penix. Shedeur Sanders would clearly be a first-round pick if he decides. He is. It looks like he's going to because he wants to be the first overall pick. But if he does, and who knows how things work out. You know how towards the end of the year, what if Colorado falls on hard times and they can't get out of their own way, which they've had some tough losses, and Shedeur decides to go to the National Football League because you got to strike sometimes when the iron is hot, and it is hot right now for Shedeur Sanders. So he's a first round, but you could have around 6 quarterbacks, if all things work out, be taking the first round and rival that 83 class.
I mean, if you're Sean, at some point, though, like this year, they brought in Sean Payton. Next year, if the results aren't any different, remember, this is still a new ownership group there in Denver. They thought that, oh man, we're going to spend $100 million on our head coach, essentially. We're going to spend all this money on Russell Wilson. And this is the product they're getting.
I always thought Denver needed 2 things. They needed a coach and a quarterback. Well, they got them, but they can't do anything with it. It's such a proud franchise, a proud organization, a good football town, and they can't get out of their own way. But they need to just scrap this thing and start building up the picks. But unfortunately, you can't with Russell Wilson. They're stuck. This team is actually stuck. I mean, you don't think NFL teams are stuck. This team is actually literally stuck in quicksand.
When they traded for Russell Wilson, I think most people at the time understood it, right? Made a lot of sense. Like, wow, okay.
They needed that quarterback.
Right. Where they really screwed up was the unnecessary extension they gave him before he ever played a snap for their franchise. That's what it was. Because if they just would have made the trade, we'd all sit here and say, man, that's a bad trade. That turned out to be an awful trade. But we'd all say, oh, well, they could have got out of it after 1 year and been done. Where they screwed up was the extension, not the trade for him, right? It's in hindsight, they wouldn't have made the trade. Duh. The extension is what actually has caused the problem.
How many more years are they locked into him? 2?
That's what we were looking it up. So he's... After this season, next year, if they cut him, they can't. $85 million dead cap hit. So Russell Wilson, unless he retires, why would he? He's playing for the Broncos next year. Then the following year, if they cut him, still 49.6. Then after that, in 2026, it's 31.2. That's still a lot. I mean, you're really talking about 2027, Bink. 12.8 million at that point.
Yeah. It shows you the danger of bringing players in, especially at the quarterback position. And it should have never come to this with the Denver Broncos. But you sit here and say, okay.
I mean, I love it. It's great.
It was a great roster. I mean, that defense was playing so well at that point. Now it's absolutely terrible in almost every defensive metric. But, okay, they could hang their hat on and say, well, this defense is looking good. The roster's looking good. And I don't know what happened to the defense this year. It's absolutely pathetic. Like you said, it's one of the worst defenses we've ever seen. And they're, 32nd in total defense.
Like every category, Bink.
They're 32nd total. The next 3 weeks, the Chiefs either play the 32nd ranked defense or the 31st because Chargers are sitting there at 31st. Now, scoring defense, they're 24th. The Broncos are 32nd. The Broncos give up 36.2 points per game. That's how bad it is. Of course, that 70 points does a lot to the to the scale. But so far, 36 points a game. They give up 400. There's only 2 teams in the National Football League that get up over 400 yards a game. And the Chiefs play 3 of them in the next 3 weeks because they play the Broncos twice. Chargers, the other team.
They should be sitting pretty heading into that Vikings.
Yeah, only 2 teams give up 400 yards a game, the Chargers and the Broncos.
The team total for the Chiefs, just if you're wondering, 29.5. That's the over-under for them to score tomorrow night over at FanDuel at least. 29.5 points.
But you know how these things go.
Chiefs scoring 30. I know.
They never go how like we think they're going to go because they don't.
I was joking yesterday. I was doing a radio hit on BetQL. They were asking me about the spread and just the game. And I'm with you where it's like, there's no reason to think on paper the Chiefs shouldn't score 30 plus, but watch it be 24-17. Like 24-10 for most of the game, and then there's a late garbage touchdown. The Chiefs only win by 7, and they don't even cover.
This is how you get broken betting if you go by what should happen.
Sure, of course, which, by the way, tonight, that betting show, thank you for that. That betting show tonight, presented by Hollywood Casino, live from 7 p.m. to 8. I'll be live out at Hollywood Casino, so we're on location. Looking forward to that. Come by the Barstool Sportsbook, and we'll be talking, of course, Chiefs, Broncos. I'll have a couple of guests join me as well. We'll talk a little college football, and we'll hopefully set things up for the weekend from a betting perspective. So come on out to Hollywood Casino, 7 to 8 this evening for
it's a betting month for you, Alex.
Show. It is, just going forward now for the next couple of months, man. Every night there's something.
You betting on hockey yet?
No, I've not yet. I
did watch.
Stanley
Cup champion.
I do not. I did watch the ceremony for the Golden Knights who won the Stanley Cup. Did you see what they did? So they on the ice. We know like the Chiefs did the banner unveiling, but in Vegas fashion, they had an Elvis impersonator hand out the rings to the players. Okay, cool, very awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had one of their captains, put the Stanley Cup back on the display or whatever you want to call it. And they had this giant slot machine where the player went and pulled the slot machine, and they had this animated thing that made a sound of hitting the jackpot, and that's what prompted the banner to raise the banner up to the rafters. It was pretty well done.
It was all Vegas,
They put on a great show. It's very Vegas. Very, very Vegas. But that was cool.
No, it was. And I think it's so funny watching that when you sit back and watch it and think about back when Vegas was just a taboo. You just didn't put teams there. I always thought the NBA would be the first team professionally in Vegas because of the summer league and everything. It made sense, but all of a sudden
it's now going to be the last.
But the NHL has worked there, and I was a little bit surprised at first because there's so many transplants. It's like Nashville. There's so many transplants. You know that there's so many transplants. Nobody's actually from Las Vegas.
Actually, a better. We talk.
But it's a great hockey town.
We mentioned though that for Raiders games it's like a road game because all these road fans show up. So the Raiders home field advantage sucks. For hockey, it's the one where it's actually maintained. That's why it's actually really good hockey set up. A good hockey town there. In Las Vegas. Someone says, Gold, what if that wasn't an Elvis impersonator? What if it was actually Elvis handing out rings?
True.
That's very true, yeah.
You think MGM and Caesars and places like that, instead of giving out buffets, they give away Raiders tickets? You think they set a lot of their customers up to the Raiders?
I'm sure all the casinos have suites at Allegiant Stadium. Yeah. Absolutely.
100%.
I'm sure every single casino.
You think they take them, or do you think nah?
Of course
we're
they
good.
take them.
We'll take the buffet.
I'm sure Circa and MGM, all of them have suites at that and at T-Mobile Center there in Vegas that they give their high rollers suite access or whatever. Absolutely. Of course. Why wouldn't you?
Well, you would. I mean, but again, Raiders tickets, how good are they?
Yeah, but it's the team coming in. Last week the Packers were in town. Yeah. They had plenty of Packers fans.
See the Chiefs.
There was more Packers
Chiefs
fans.
Chiefs not lost in Las Vegas?
Yeah, it's Arrowhead West. We definitely know that. All right, let's get to the trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
All right, this one actually takes us to Nebraska. We really don't have trash of the day up in Nebraska other than their football program at times. But thieves in Nebraska managed to swipe thousands of dollars in merchandise from a vintage clothing store this summer. But here's the problem, Bink. Police recently revealed they mostly made off with a bunch of shoes only for left feet.
Wow.
So you're going to go through the hassle. Lincoln Police Department responded to this store. A neighbor saw one of the store's windows had been shattered, contacted police. They go through all this trouble, risking your freedom and all this, and you didn't pay attention to what you were stealing. They stole $20,000 worth of merchandise, clothing, shoes. But last week, they revealed that the suspects mostly stole single shoes for left feet. There's no way that was intentional. They just are idiots, right?
It's got to be America's Dumbest Criminals type situation.
They just took whatever they could find, and it happened to be a lot of left-footed shoes.
What do you do with the right foot now if you're the store? Do you like a big sale on right shoes only?
Do they? I mean, I'm assuming they have insurance, right? They just get
what do you
insurance.
do with them, though? What do you do with them?
I don't
give
know.
them away?
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, you obviously can't. You're not just selling right shoes, right foot. You can't. That doesn't work that
Give
way.
them to the Huskers of the side, and people will buy them.
I mean, that would actually, just get memorabilia. I don't know. I'm assuming the store hopefully had insurance, and they're going to get reimbursed.
You want to call them and ask if we can have them?
You want to call up the store in Nebraska
It'd be kind of cool to have a nice right foot, right shoe.
It said a similar crime unfolded in central Peru this year, because we actually had a trash of the day about this too, where at that time 3 suspects stole 200 sneakers from the shoe store. and they only got away with the right foot. So do you think they're connected? Do you think that the suspects in Peru said, we'll steal the right, and we realized we only stole the right, and now these folks in Nebraska only stole the left shoe?
Just figure out what shoes they were, and all of a sudden if you see somebody walking around with a right foot of some Jordans and then some left foot Adidas, then maybe you found them. I don't know. 200 compared to, I wonder how many shoes, left-footed shoes they actually took.
The one in Peru was that they escaped on a tricycle.
Tricycle.
It's great.
That's not how they escaped at this one in
I'm still
in
stuck
Lincoln.
on that trash day you had a couple days ago with the AM radio.
Oh, yeah, it's a real thing.
Yeah,
We've
it
talked
is.
about it. It's very
Yeah.
real. Trash of the Day a couple days ago was absolutely a fun one. We
all
always
I've been
try to
doing is
we always try to make sure
zapping.
people are aware of developments and advancements
I am.
and research. And one of them involved listening to AM radio, AM waves.
Which I do all the time.
Fixing erectile dysfunction.
Which
Well,
I
thank-
do all the time.
And?
Yeah.
Okay.
How about it, buddy?
Okay. There you go.
You and Cody both.
Yeah, I'm ready to rock all day.
My
This
sex
is
life
sports
has never
radio.
been better.
What was that? What was that, Cody? He's not here today,
Ever
but he's
since
still
I started
talking.
listening to Cody and Gold. My sex life has never been better.
Yeah, he's probably
That's
listening
right.
today, even though he's not here.
I
He's
feel the same
testing
way.
it out.
Oh, jeez.
I listen to 610 all day.
But you should.
Yeah. So what do you think? It's working.
Listen longer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last
harder.
I
longer.
thank you guys because you pointed this out.
Yeah, we always try to help out.
I was
our
wondering what was
listeners.
going on.
Yeah, people have noticed. I mean, that's why around 10 o'clock or so, there's just a different attitude around town.
I was literally wondering why I get so excited over sports radio.
I'm glad you paid
I
attention
thought it was just
to that
I like
one.
sports.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs will get you excited. Right now,
I didn't
there's-
know there was a hidden.
it's a great time to be a Chiefs fan,
Yeah.
that's for sure. But it turns out it's not just that. You got to be listening. It doesn't work through the Odyssey app. You got to be listening on the AM side of things.
Get you an old radio.
Make sure that works. Yeah, if your car doesn't have AM radio, you need to find out how you can make that happen.
I feel like we'd rather have people getting actual radios than being in the car. I mean, all of a sudden, if you look over at a traffic stop,
It is tough finding AM radios anymore. It used to be the Walkman would have the FM and AM, but it's so hard finding AM.
I can still picture you walking around the neighborhood, Bink, with the yellow like Walkman thing and the earbuds in, listening to AM radio. While you're at Arrowhead, I can imagine you're one of those guys that's in the stands that's listening to Mitch Holthus while you're sitting at Arrowhead.
Sure. I don't, but I understand. Or if you're at the Royals game, you listen to Denny or whatever. I mean, it's just the way to do it. But it's not synced. It's not synced up if you're at the game with what you're listening to.
No, but there's plenty of people that still do that.
But it's tough to find an AM radio.
Best of luck. Best of luck to everybody out there. All right, coming up next, Bank, we are going to talk with Tony Gonzalez, former Chiefs tight end, of course, a Hall of Famer. I want to get his perspective. He's going to be in Kansas City tomorrow night. He'll be part of the Prime broadcast crew to pregame
Do you like
coverage.
that, by the way?
So sometimes I feel like it's not the delay, but even though sometimes I feel like you can tell it's streaming more than you should, even though they have like the Ultra HD playback thing that'll step up.
Because if you stop it, then you got to make sure you get forward because it likes to be really delayed.
Yeah, it's just the problem is they're back to having bad matchups again on Thursday Night Football. We're back to that. That's always been the complaint. We're back. It's not as bad so far as last year, but we're only 5 weeks in. I mean, let's be honest. We're excited tomorrow because we're in Kansas City and it's Chiefs fans. But Chiefs Broncos on a national level, the Chiefs are 10.5 point
Everybody
favorites.
thinks the Chiefs cheat and the Broncos suck. So
there you go. All right, but as I mentioned, Tony Gonzalez, he's going to join us. We had a chance to catch up with him. You want to hear what he had to say about Travis Kelce? Is he concerned that now at age 34, we're going to start seeing more injuries for Kelce? That's next.
Cody and Gold.
The facts on this show are irrelevant.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
One of my favorite times of the year has arrived. That is football season, but it also means we're getting a little bit closer where you got to start thinking about your boat. You got to start thinking about winterizing that boat. So you need to let Midwest Marine Boat Company's elite part and service department take care of your boat so you're all ready to go for next year. Midwest Marine Boat Company will winterize your boat, shrink wrap your boat. They can help with storing your boat. Midwest Marine Boat Company still has all the great savings, though, I've been telling you about. When it comes to the 2023 models, you want to take advantage of those savings before manufacturer prices change. You know that's going to happen. You do not want to be left out and missing this great opportunities. And for the rest of September, they're still going to offer that $2,000 trade-in allowance on all Bennington pontoons and tri-tunes. Midwest Marine Boat Company, home of the largest indoor showroom in the Kansas City area. I was amazed still when I walked in there for the very first time. You will be as well at 13800 South Highway 71 in Grandview. Midwest Marine Boat Company. We take pride in your fun.
Well, just a couple weeks ago, we met with our guy Russ Mondry over at Centric. We still got to work on that Club 610 invite because...
Will he bring a bottle of Dom
He's
or
a
no?
busy guy, though. He's a busy guy because over the last 15 years or so, he's been helping people find careers in IT.
IT is the future of Kansas City. Let Centric make it your future. I've told you my nephew went through the program. It is easy to get stuck in. I worked in restaurants for a long time. It is easy to be like, oh, what's the career path out of this? And where do I go? And how can I earn more money, have better hours, not work nights anymore? IT can provide you that. There's so many different jobs, and Centric wants to get you in a job. Most importantly, Gold, as we pointed out, in 4 months, right? And you can have a new career that quickly thanks to Centric.
And they're going to work with you on your schedule, too. You got a current job, and now you're looking for the new career, but you don't know how can I work my current job, still pay the bills, and then also work on the career. Well, you can do that in the evenings. You can do it on their campus site. You can do it online. They're very flexible with their schedule to make it work for you. You just got to reach out to Russ and see what program could work for you. Centric.com/610.
Hey, guys, Beat Up here from Fesco in the Morning, and you know I am struggling with my weight. And Slim for Life has been a game changer. They've created a customized plan for me, and it is working to a T so far, down 77 pounds in just over 100 days. Success is the best motivator, and Cynthia's results are amazing. Cynthia, tell me about your Slim for Life journey.
I lost 72 pounds. I went from a 16-18 to a size 0. I lost 18 pant sizes. And I lost 42.7 inches of body fat. That's a lot of body fat.
I'm doing it. Cynthia did it, and you can too. In fact, you can be down 20 pounds or more your first month, and it's guaranteed. You just need to take the first step. Right now, they have an amazing special. This week, only friends and family sell their lowest prices of the year, with the option to add semaglutide medications to your plan for only $99 your first 4 weeks. 833-SLIM today. That's the number you need to call, 833-754-6863, or you can hit them online at slim4life.com. And when you schedule that free consultation, you can win tickets to see our defending Super Bowl champions play on October 22nd. All services included, exclusive of products. Make the call. Tell them Beat Up sent you.
It's tailgate season, and Smokehouse Barbecue has you covered. Whether you plan on going to a game or having the party at your house, Smokehouse Barbecue will be there with you. Plus, you can take advantage of their game day special. A slab of baby back ribs, a pound of burnt ends, a pound of wings, a quart of beans, paperware, and servings for 6, all for just $79.95. They also have private banquet rooms at all 3 KC locations. Check them out at smokehousebbq.com. It's Smokehouse Barbecue.
Hey, this is Drew Nixon. Join me at Buffalo Wild Wings in Olathe, Kansas on Thursday, October 12th from 4 to 6 p.m. Enjoy $10 54-ounce Bud Light pitchers and a chance for a cool Chiefs prize. Bud Light, the official sponsor of the NFL. Enjoy responsibly, 21 and over. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Mobile Wave, specializing in mobile phone repairs, cracked screens, battery replacement, charging port issues, basic password unlocking, even micro soldering. Located in Lenexa. Online at mobilewaverepairs.com. Mobile Wave, quick repairs, premium quality, affordable.
We have James and Josiah from American Topsoil. Guys, what month is best for planting new grass?
Any month that ends in R. Laying down fresh soil before seeding is the best way to get ahead of the game. Our rich topsoil is great for leveling yards, and our pulverized soil creates a perfect seed bed for new grass.
So how do I know how much soil I need?
Our Power Wheelbarrow service assures that our customers are getting the exact amount of soil they need, exactly where they need it, and that's all they'll pay for.
How can I set up my delivery with American Topsoil?
Visit americantopsoil.com or give us a call at 913-888-SOIL.
American Topsoil, family owned and operated with more than 30 years, delivering great topsoil with their hassle-free Power Wheelbarrow service. Call 913-888-SOIL. That's 913-888-SOIL. Or online at americantopsoil.com. Great topsoil, great service, American Topsoil.
Hey, it's Carrington from The Drive. Do you know what my plan is for Sunday? Well, it's going to the other place to watch all my sports and for the best pizza in town. If you can't make the game, then go to the other place where their game day atmosphere will make you feel like you're sitting in the stands. Check out the other place, Shawnee, Olathe, downtown Overland Park, and opening soon in Mission and Belton.
Hey, did you know Vistaprint prints everything a small business needs? Like if a barbershop needs signage, we print outdoor signs, posters, and banners. Or if a ballet school needs merch.
1, 2,
We print tote bags, t-shirts, hoodies, hats. Or if a coffee shop needs a total refresh,
Vanilla latte for Mike?
Vistaprint designs logos and prints it on menus, mugs, paper bags, anything. Because with Vistaprint, the printabilities are endless. Print it all with 25% off for new customers with code NEW25 at Vistaprint.com.
This new Wendy's Frosty flavor is way too exciting to keep under wraps. It's a brand new, first-of-its-kind flavor. Get this, pumpkin spice. I know, right? It's so good. It's rich, it's cozy. It's the perfect flavor for some fall Frosty time. Watch, everyone will see it and jump on the bandwagon. Grab a never-before-seen Pumpkin Spice Frosty or Pumpkin Spice Frosty Cream Cold Brew today when you choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Limited time only. Participating U.S. Wendy's. Vanilla Frosty is temporarily unavailable.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios. Patrick Mahomes joins CDOT Mondays at 3:10. 610 Sports Radio. KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
O'clock hour, Cody and Gold. Alex Gold with you. Jay Binkley's in for Cody today. We'll talk with Tony Gonzalez coming up in just a second. A little bit of news during the break. Jordan Schultz reporting that a source telling him Chiefs linebacker Nick Bolton has been cleared to return and is expected to play tomorrow night against the Broncos. Remember, he's missed the last 3 weeks dealing with that ankle injury. You get some extra time if they don't play him tomorrow night, another 10-plus days if they decide that. But it'd be nice to have Nick Bolton back in the mix. I think Drew Tranquilbank has done a phenomenal job, though, filling in. But Nick Bolton led this team in tackles, was second most tackles, I think, in football a year ago. It'd be nice to have Nick Bolton back in the mix. Not that they need him for the Broncos.
Well, on the injury report, it was limited practice. So, I mean,
yesterday.
he's still active and everything else. He's still on the active roster.
Kelsey was limited yesterday as well.
Just limited. Yeah, the two guys that were limited.
Not unlimited. Limited.
Limited.
Not unlimited. Thanks, Russ.
Actually, there was one more that was limited. That was Karlaftis limited.
Yeah, dealing with a hamstring issue.
Karlaftis, Kelsey, and Bolton were all limited.
Again, we'll let you know if there's any news there. But Jordan Schultz reporting that Nick Bolton is expected to play. Before we get back into Travis Kelce's durability a little bit, I want to talk with a former Chiefs tight end, a Hall of Famer, a Chiefs legend, Tony Gonzalez. He's going to be part of the broadcast crew tomorrow night on Amazon and their prime coverage, part of the pregame show, along with Richard Sherman, Ryan Fitzpatrick and company. And I started our conversation with Tony Gonzalez, asking him about this Chiefs offense that, while it's still top 10, it doesn't look the same as we have seen in years prior. What's the biggest reason for that?
Well, I think a lot of it probably has to do with maturity, the youngness of the receivers. I mean, you're right that this offense, it doesn't look anything like it's looked in the past, but I will say this, they can run the football. Isaiah Pacheco is an attitude. I loved what he did last year, and I think that's really what made the difference for them last year, to be that complete offense, and it's going to be the difference this year. You have to be able to run the football. You can have the greatest quarterback of all time, or one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in Patrick Mahomes, but you still have to have the threat of the run, and he brings that attitude and that enthusiasm, and I think he's a key part of what they want to do, especially at this point, because those receivers, they're dropping too many balls right now. And this is coming from me, who led the league in drop balls my second year. I dropped 16, so it can be fixed. And I think as you keep going, obviously you have the greatness of one of the greatest to ever do it in Travis Kelce. But after that, you have guys that just don't have that experience. And the best way to have experience is to keep – I love Patrick Mahomes' response where he said, hey, I'm just going to keep coming to you. I'm going to keep feeding you the ball. And that creates a trust and an accountability by those young players. It's like, you better step up and catch this ball because you got one of the greatest to ever do it, trust in you. That has to evolve and it has to get better. And I don't know. I think at this point, you might start to see it come down a little bit. They have so many young players that they're throwing to. Maybe it's one of those things. Let's just pick 2 or 3 of them, like Rice or Watson, or like, hey, let's really focus on getting those guys. Well, along with Travis, let's still get him his 10 catches a game, but start to like focus on a smaller group just to get those guys more experience, more reps, more comfortability. Because they're a playoff team. I still think they're the best team in the AFC because of that defense too. This is the best defense Patrick Mahomes has ever had. One of the top defenses in the league. they are still, if they can just get that offense to catch up, I think they have a chance to be better than they were last year. But right now, it's not where it's supposed to be, but I anticipate that'll get fixed.
You mentioned drops and how it's something that can be corrected. As you mentioned, some of the issues you had early in your career. We had Dane Hughes, one of your old teammates, on the show earlier this week. He actually referenced that very thing. He said, hey, I was with Tony Gonzalez. We all know how his career turned out. But in the first couple of years, maybe drops were an issue. So you feel like that is something that's correctable for Rashee Rice in particular. That's the young player that everybody here would like to see get some more playing time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt. There's no excuse. Drop balls. These guys are pro football players. They were drafted or whatever, came out of schools. They for a reason they're on the team is because they can catch the football. They can get open and catch the football. So it's not about that. It's not about can you. It's about will you. And that, to me, the way you correct it, the way I corrected it is, I had certain drills where I don't want to catch from the jug machine. I want you to put your mouthpiece in and buckle your chin strap. And I want your eyes as wide as this, and I want you to turn around and come out of a break, and I'm going to fire that ball, not at your chest. I'm going to fire it up here to the left or the right or down here. I called it around the world. And I did this drill after I dropped those balls. I did that drill towards the end of my year, my second year, and I did it until the end of my career. And I hardly ever dropped balls after that. There are drills to correct this and an emotion that you need to put yourself in during practice. You drop balls during the week. That means you haven't been focusing all week, to me. And once you get that down, you'll be able to show up in the game where it's no different. It's like, hey, I've been doing this all week. So when it comes in the game, I'm totally comfortable, because that's what it is. It's just a nervousness, or your hands are like this. I mean, it's all reps, just like a jump shot or free throw. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it.
Out of these young wide receivers, you mentioned a couple of them. It's Rashee Rice, it's Sky Moore, it's Kadarius Toney, it's Justin Ross. Is Rashee Rice the answer maybe to this question? But who stands out to you that maybe you feel perhaps the most optimistic about, or Chiefs fans should feel the most optimistic about going forward?
I've seen them both. I think I was saying that maybe they shrink it a little bit and say, oh, we're going to pick 3 of these guys that we start to concentrate on instead of playing everybody, just to get those guys comfortable so when the playoffs come. And maybe they're still evaluating, but I think eventually they better focus on Sky Moore, Rashee Rice. I love Watson being that deep threat. Keep him in there for that deep threat. Obviously, Kelsey's going to get his 10 catches a game. Keep doing that because it all revolves around him. And I really like Justin Ross, the upside of him. But he's having the drops, and if he needs to figure that out. They have talent. Sky Moore, like I said, the separation hasn't been quite there as well as I think it could be. But to me, it's still evaluating. To answer your question, I think you have to still keep evaluating it to see who are we going to rely on when the playoffs come. They got a great record right now. I do think they're going to win Thursday. But they need to start to fold that down. We need 3 guys that we can count on besides Travis, that we know when we throw the ball, they're going to be able to catch it, create separation, and then obviously most important, finish it by catching the football.
We're talking to Tony Gonzalez, Pro Football Hall of Famer, of course, longtime Chiefs tight end, Chiefs great, going to be back in Kansas City on Thursday night for Amazon Prime's coverage of Chiefs and Broncos. Travis Kelce just turned 34. People are starting to wonder a little bit, is age catch up? He had the hyperextended knee right before the season. Now he's dealing with an ankle injury this week after the game. Is this the point in time where you felt in your career maybe the recovery took a little bit longer? When did you start feeling, because you played till 38 years old? When did you start to feel maybe age catching up from just staying healthy and coming back so quickly?
Well, honestly, I felt that after year 10, so I was a little bit younger.
Yeah.
And that's when you start to be cognizant, okay, how am I going to treat my body? How am I going to sleep? How am I going to hydrate? How am I going to eat? How am I going to do whatever it is, emotionally, mentally, physically, weight room, stretching, all that stuff goes into it. And I think Travis is on top of all that. I really, really do. I just think it's a little bit of bad luck. You come out of that break. I saw it last week. I didn't see the hyperextended knee. But I was watching the game when he caught the ball and he went down. First of all, it looked horrible. You're like, oh my God, the way he went down, looked like a sniper shot him, and he dropped. And you're like, oh my God, that looks like something he's done for the year. like an Achilles or something. Thank God it wasn't anything different. But I think it just seems like a little bit of bad luck. One thing I know about Travis too, he's tough, and he is somebody who's not going to sit out. Just like you said, he came back, and I wasn't surprised. I was like, that dude is tough. I think going forward though, being 34 years old, you have to be a little bit more cognizant. But I think he understands that too, for sure. And if he doesn't, I'm going to see him Thursday, and I'll talk to him about it because we need him. And I want to see him have so much success. I want him to play as long as he can because he's been such a phenomenal football player. And I'd love to see how far he can take it, honestly.
It started also up again, this turf versus grass debate. And I don't know how many different playing services you played on back when you were playing, if the majority of them were probably still grass, maybe at that point, maybe we're starting to switch over a little bit more. But how much do you think that when we're talking about players, how much would players prefer right now if you were still playing the grass versus, some of these surfaces that people think maybe are leading to some of these injuries?
Well, I've seen guys do it on both surfaces, by the way. So, ask somebody who's studied this stuff, who's an expert. I'm not quite the expert on it, but I've seen people get hurt on both. Soft tissue, nobody around on grass, cut. All of a sudden, ACL or an Achilles, you see it. I played on both surfaces for sure. Atlanta Falcons, that was the turf the whole time, and it was pretty prevalent when I was playing, the same as it is now. But grass is the ultimate. That's what you want. That's easier on your body and everything. If you can have grass, I feel like every stadium out there, if you can afford it, forget about afford it. I know you can afford it. Yeah, right. If it's possible, you should have grass. That's all there is to it. To me, it's a no-brainer. Grass is the way to go.
Before we let you get out of here, Tony, Thursday night, Chiefs-Broncos, you mentioned a little bit earlier you think the Chiefs are winning this. 15 straight wins for the Chiefs over the Denver Broncos. That's quite the stretch of dominance. Well, what's the story for Denver for you when you watch them right now?
Well, they are in a world of trouble. Sean Payton has stepped into the proverbial poop with taking this job. It's tough with the. He's kind of turned around Russell Wilson a little bit, but it still isn't up to where that contract that he signed. You want a bigger level of play. The defense is atrocious. It's awful. It's on pace for. I'm sure you probably talked about it. We're talking history now. One of the worst defenses in NFL history. So they can't stop the run. I believe Isaiah Pacheco could go for 180 yards if they want to give it to him 35 times. I'm sure of that. But looking at the Broncos, they are in a tough situation. Not just this game, but going forward, their schedule's brutal. And even at the end of this year, what are you going to do? You can't get rid of Russell. He's there for at least another 2 years. And if you have a top pick, do you go get a quarterback? How's that going to look? You got this guy. They are in a world of disarray. I don't envy them at all. I'm glad I'm not in that situation. I love Sean Payton, but he's got an uphill battle right now to climb. And hopefully the Chiefs can use this as a game. And by the way, this goes without saying, you never know because it's a division rival. Stuff happens. I've been on that losing team, and then we come out and everybody plays great. So you never know what's going to happen. But the Chiefs, in my opinion, they need to look at this game and say, let's get right, especially those offensive receivers. Let's go out there and have ourselves a game. Let's gain some confidence. Let's start to put these young receivers in situations because you can afford to make mistakes in this type of game and still win. But you don't want to do it too much. Obviously, it would be devastating to lose to this team because they're a better football team than the Broncos.
Tony, appreciate the insight, the time, and I know you'll take the crew to the right barbecue spots this week.
Absolutely. Arthur Bryant's or LC's Barbecue. One of them.
There you go. Shoot. There you go. All right. Tony Gonzalez from Amazon Prime joining us today on Cody and Gold. So there's his spots. So there you go. Tony Gonzalez.
Why don't you ever ask
a
player what his favorite fountain is? Because we are the city of fountains. But nobody ever asks that question. Everybody always goes barbecue.
I'm pretty sure he would have been very confused by that question.
Well, but we are the city.
He would have said chocolate fountain.
But the media never asks that question. They always ask about the barbecue restaurants, but they don't ask them where their favorite fountain is.
Well, now I was
here long enough to have a favorite fountain.
Probably Bink. What's your favorite one?
That one on North Oak and Vivian, the Northland Fountain. I like that one and the ones at the K. That's probably my two favorite fountains.
Okay. There you go.
How about you?
I don't have a favorite one.
Really?
I don't.
You're a Kansas City guy, man.
I don't
City
have
of
a favorite-
Fountains.
I don't-
Drew, you have a favorite fountain yet?
I don't have a favorite.
No, I don't know. One
Really?
yet.
You know we're the City of Fountains, right?
I did not know that.
Wait, hold on. Well, that's good for you to know.
It is the
That
City
good
of
for you to know.
Fountains because there's fountains everywhere.
In
It's why
fairness,
Kaufman
Drew's
City
only
has-
been here for a couple months.
I knew the barbecue thing. I knew the fountain was a big deal at Kaufman, but I did not know.
Have you had Arthur Bryant's yet?
No.
Or LC's?
I have not.
How's the snake?
Gone. And it hasn't come back. I haven't had anything come back yet. So we're thankfully on the right track.
I told him to move out. He had a snake in his
I think
apartment.
everybody
said,
was saying to move
out of the apartment.
I don't see how you could get up in the middle of the night and whatever and just
That's
you'd
what I'm-
always be worried about a snake.
Yeah. That's just brutal. Back to what Tony said though about Kelsey. I wanted to ask him about that, right? Travis Kelsey, there's been some talk this week that, all right, is he just going to have a bunch of these kind of weird injuries now because he's 34? You heard from Tony Gonzalez, who played a very long time in this league. He thinks it's just some bad luck. The hyperextended knee, this ankle injury, and he acknowledged, like we all did, watching it live, everybody thought, oh, he's toast. Unfortunately, that's not the case. He was limited at practice yesterday. He's got a chance to play tomorrow night. I wouldn't play him tomorrow night. I don't think there's any need to do that. Let him have an extra 10 days because he is 34. I think the recovery takes longer, and Tony acknowledged that you just have to be way more cognizant of everything. Do you think this is going to become the norm now that he's 34, or do you agree that it's just some bad luck?
I do think there's some bad luck in it. I mean, the hyperextension of the knee. I mean, he got rolled up on as well, but I think there is something to it. I like the fact he always wants to play, though. He's always like, hey, put me back in the game. Because, some guys will milk it and stay out of the game, but he wants back in the game. And they want to keep this window open with Kelsey. I don't know. You look at guys like Randy Moss was 33. Quarterbacks continue to get good in their 30s. You're kind of Steve Young built up his Hall of Fame career basically in his 30s. Everybody's built differently. Travis has not taken the major hits. Sure, he's been hit hard in his career, but he's found a way, kind of like Marcus Allen, to kind of move around, slither around, not take those direct hits like Kelsey would. But I do think they're kind of freakish injuries. I will say this, in the NFL, you do hit that wall fast when you do hit the wall. I don't think he's hit that wall. I don't think he's hit that wall at this point. Last year was one of those classic years where, okay, you take Tyreek Hill out of the equation, Travis Kelsey's going to start getting that extra tension like he did before the Chiefs had any kind of weapons. They played the Patriots in the postseason. Remember that? They go into Houston and win.
Sure.
And Belichick says, all right, Chiefs have one weapon because Macklin was banged up. Let's take Kelsey out. And they did. I think there were some kind of freak injuries with it as far as Kelsey. But you do hit the wall fast, but I don't think he's hit that wall.
Right now, he's not pacing for 1,000 yards, but one big game can change that in a hurry. If he can play tomorrow night, this is the Broncos defense that really, really struggles to go up against tight ends. I know you would say they struggle against everybody. Fair, historically bad defense. But
29th pass
you look at
defense.
some of the numbers. Tight ends have had a lot of success against this defense, and we know Kelsey's a whole different animal. So if he can go, there's an opportunity maybe if you're looking to bet some Kelsey overs. If not, maybe Noah Gray or Blake Bell could have another nice afternoon against the Denver Broncos.
As far as giving him night off, sure. This is the game where you can have Pacheco run the ball a ton. This should be the Pacheco game.
Yeah, we're going to get to that here in about 15 minutes.
Especially with the Broncos' run defense, which is, right at 188 yards a game against. So I would run the ball. You don't necessarily need Kelsey as much in this game.
So on Monday, I was listening to the drive, and Carrington was talking about Kelsey a little bit, and it made me think of should the Chiefs keep or protect Travis Kelsey from himself? Because given what Nate said yesterday, given what Patrick has said as well that we heard, he's the ultimate competitor. He's going to go. He's going to try the best that he can. Whether he's fully 100% or not, he wants to be out there, which I think to his credit is a reason why a lot of people like him, and he's a true football player. At the same time, though, Carrington had compared him to some NBA players who are good, but not as dominant as they once were, and talked about how Travis Kelsey struggled a little bit with man coverage this year compared to years past, and obviously with the little injuries that are popping up as well. He wasn't saying he's bad, and I wouldn't say he's bad either. It's just he's not quite the guy where you're literally unstoppable, or linebackers aren't fast enough to cover him, corners are too small. He's literally unstoppable. Are we at that point yet where even he might not be a 1,000-yard receiver, but if he can give you 700 yards and give you 12 to 13 great games a year, is that the point that we're getting to with Kelsey, where it's not an expectation all 17 in the postseason, it's just 12 or 13 throughout the year when you need him the most.
Yes, I don't think we're already where we're saying he's a 700-yard receiver. I don't think we're seeing that dip yet. I have said for the last couple of years, at some point I do think that happens. I don't believe that's happening this year. And also, let's not forget, if we're just looking at his numbers, he didn't play week 1. He just got hurt last week. He's questionable tonight. So really, he's played 3 games where he's maybe 100%. Right?
He hadn't even been 100% this year.
That's
She
what I'm
missed
saying.
the first one, and
So
he got off on a bad foot.
So the current pacing, I disagree that he's all of a sudden just going to be a 700-yard receiver. I think at some point in his career he could end up being that. Before the season, we had a topic about Noah Gray. They need to start working him in more to protect Travis Kelce a little bit. Yes, keep him fresh. I think that's something we've discussed before. But as far as Travis Kelce and protecting him from himself, remember, he wanted to play week 1. He was out there begging the training staff, and they protected him, and he didn't play week 1. So I already think, as far as do the Chiefs need to protect Kelce from himself? They already did that week 1.
The hardest thing to do is he does lead the Chiefs in receptions, yards, and touchdown receptions. All 3 of those categories, and missed the game. He still leads the Chiefs in all those. He's got a 10-catch cushion on the next closest guy to him, which is Rashee Rice. At 17 receptions, he's got 27. So, yeah, he's still got 10 receptions. He's still getting the receptions. The yardage not there. I don't think he ever got a fair shake because of the hyperextension right there in the beginning. Then, of course, what happened last week as well. But, again, I do think those things should and do count. I mean, guys do get hampered. I mean, you've seen it with Joe Burrow. I mean, Joe Burrow finally played a good game against Arizona, but that calf is bothering him, and you can tell it is because he's not been himself. Sometimes, guys, doesn't matter your age, injuries will hamper what you do.
I don't even know if it's like if it's durability concerned. It's just that they're feeding him the ball so much because he's like the most reliable guy, and has been for a majority of, if not all the time, that Patrick Mahomes has been there. Like, he's been the go-to guy game in and game out for 20 games a season when you include the postseason. That we're at the point now where I think not that you drive him into the ground, but if he continues. Like, he's capable of doing it, but you're going to drive him into the ground maybe sooner than if you get some of the wide receivers to step up, which is, I think, again, the whole importance of the conversation is not only to have another weapon, but it also is to free up Kelce a little bit more so he doesn't have to be double covered all the time, or he can work a little bit more and be effective without having to get fed the ball 13 times a game or throwing the ball that many times.
That's a good point. He's got 37 targets. Nearest to him is Rashee Rice with 24. The thing is, maybe they do rely on him too much. And he was heavily relied on when Tyreek Hill went away. And I think that happens when you don't have a true number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah.
That, of course, Kelce was going to be wearing the brunt of this, Alex, by being the guy still for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I think the wide receiver struggles certainly haven't helped. But again, as far as the workload, take the injury stuff out of it. That was already something that we were discussing during training camp. we were already discussing whether or not they need to be careful with the workload because of his age. The injury stuff hasn't changed that for me. That was a thought before the injury happened. I don't think now that because you hyperextend your knee that you're suddenly injury prone because you're 34. I do think they are kind of some weird injuries. The turf thing, he just flat out slipped. You could slip at age 21. You could slip at age 41.
Had the same thing happen. Yeah. He's the best receiver in the league.
But in general, take the injury out of it. Yes, I agree that they got to be careful with his workload. But the 2 injuries are not why I think we should suddenly be concerned about his ability.
They were not an age injury. You think he was hurt because of his age. These could have happened to any player on the football field would happen to him. He just happens to be 34 years old. This could have been 26-year-old Travis Kelce. Remember his first year in the NFL, he was dealing with injuries as well. This could have happened to anybody. He's heavily relied upon, obviously, with this offense. Got to wait for someone to step up. I do think in Detroit this year, the draft, it's time to it's finally that time because we've kind of the Chiefs haven't done it really. Yeah, I know Noah Gray's here, but they really neglected, bringing in that true other tight end. The last year was a tight end draft. This year, there's some good ones. But I think this year, because they've gone so heavily on defense, 7 to 10 picks 2 years ago, 5 to 7 last year on defense, this should be the year to get the offensive skill positions, and I think tight end will be one of them.
You just want Brock Bowers. You want Brock Bowers. That's what it is. You want Brock Bowers.
There's nobody in college football that I want more, that I think fits this team more than Brock Bowers with the Chiefs. Like, I haven't felt this way about a certain pick. Yes, but you got to get up to like 6 to get him.
Someone's saying all Kelce's catches are short. Have we not been paying attention for the last 2 years? Travis Kelce wasn't catching 60-yard passes.
8.2
he was
per.
catching 10-yard catch, and then he had some yak after. Like they weren't throwing deep balls to Travis Kelce. So I'm not worried about there aren't any deep pass opportunities for this offense because of the wide receiver core. But also, let's not kid ourselves. Travis Kelce wasn't running 25 yards down the field and then catching. If he was getting 20-plus yard receptions, he was getting yak.
Yeah.
That's how he was getting. So the fact that he's catching balls 7 yards from the line of scrimmage, that's not new.
Well, he's 8.2 per this year. Last year, he's over 12 yards per reception. So that part is coming down. But
he's played in a game and a half less or a game and a quarter less.
Exactly, but I think the extra attention has hurt him as well.
That's where Rashee Rice and these other young receivers,
It's one thing last year to have it, but he was healthy. This year, when you got a couple injuries and you're still public enemy number one, to stop, it's going to come down.
All right, coming up next, though, you referenced it a little bit, the rushing attack for Kansas City against the Broncos. Boy, oh boy, it should be a big day for the Chiefs on the ground. We'll dive deeper into that and what Dean Blandino had to say yesterday about officiating in the NFL.
Cody and Gold on 610 Sports Radio, brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Well, I want to tell you about another winner. It's my friends at Window World. They are ranked number one in number of windows sold in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. They're also the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs. So you know the Chiefs are a winner. And Window World, they have windows that are one of two windows that are locked in with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. In just over 20 years of business, they have improved the look and thermal efficiency over 52,000 homes in Kansas City. Plus, your windows come with a lifetime warranty that covers all your parts, glass breakage, and labor. It also uses a double-strength glass. It gives it that extra strength that is not commonly used in your normal replacement windows. They are giving an incredible deal right now. They are offering 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. 18 months, that's a year and a half. So do me this favor. Give them a call for a free home estimate. Check out the website, and they can show you how they are simply the best for less. Fall is right around the corner. You know winter is going to be here before you know it. I want you to get ready, and the best way to do that is with my friends at Window World. Well, it's a Red Friday right here on 610 Sports Radio, and also with my friends over at The Other Place. Make The Other Place your sports watching headquarters with 3 great Kansas City locations, Shawnee, Olathe, and downtown Overland Park. Plus, they're opening up a new one in Mission and Belton.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who specialize in saving the day and for the ones who've mastered the art of keeping business moving. We offer industrial-grade supplies for every industry, with same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders, all backed by real people ready to help. So you can get the right answers and products right when you need them. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
After a big dinner, my nighttime heartburn would keep me up. I'd be taking antacid after antacid all night long. But then I tried Prilosec OTC. Just 1 pill a day blocks my frequent heartburn for a full 24 hours, giving me one-and-done heartburn relief. Without heartburn keeping me up, I could have a restful night's sleep.
Prilosec OTC. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Get a new car at a used car price during our 2023 surplus sale. I'm Jeff Davis, owner of Volkswagen Lease Summit. We have huge discounts on all remaining 23 Volkswagen models.
Get up to $4,000 off the 23 Taos, $5,000 off the 23 Tiguan, $6,000 off the 23 Atlas, and up to $10,000 off the ID4 EV.
Get our lowest prices of the year at the #1 VW dealer in the Midwest. Visit VWLeaseSummit.com.
Claim based on 2022 VW retail reports. Financing through VCI OAC.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Dispatch, this is Mindy at Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling.
Well, boy, it's getting hot out there. Now, if your AC is making funny noises, just needs a once-over, or your home isn't as cool as it used to be, visit MissionPHC.com. Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. License 202909.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco. president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our clients' best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured, so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly, different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart, and I have a question for you. You know that unwelcome guest everyone wishes would just leave already? That's COVID-19. That's why I got a COVID shot this season, designed for recent variants. Got it?
Learn more and schedule this season's updated COVID-19 shot at vaccines.gov.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hi, Discover. It's Jennifer Coolidge, and I just want to thank you for the cash back on my groceries.
Discover Cashback Debit gives everyone cashback on debit. Anything else I can help you with?
Do you know how to work an oven?
Eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashback debit. Discover Bank, member FDIC.
Sunny, warm with a chance of thunderstorms and a high of 81.
Weather brought to you by Express Employment Professionals. With nearly 20,000 job openings, Express Employment Professionals can help you find the right job, and Express never charges you a fee to find a job. Visit expresspros.com today.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
This report is brought to you by Drug Enforcement Administration in Kansas City. DEA warns not all pills are safe. Countless fake pills contain a lethal dose of fentanyl. This makes drug overdoses a leading cause of death. Learn more how one pill can kill at kansascity.dea.gov.
Chiefs Kingdom. This is Mitch Holtis, and welcome into the Chiefs Red Half Hour on Cody and Gold. Every day at 11:30 on your official broadcast partner, the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
All right, it is the Chiefs Red Half Hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Drew Nixon with you. Jay Binkley filling in for Cody Tapp today. Little injury update again during the break. This one from Jeremy Fowler. We were just talking about Travis Kelce and where things are at. For him heading into tomorrow night. Jeremy Fowler tweeting out, Travis Kelce, no surprise, rehabbing aggressively to try to be ready for Thursday night because, quote, he hates missing games, per source. He's been limited.
You got to love playing with him, though. Like, I mean, you have to love his desire to get back in the game and playing so bad.
Well, plays well in the locker room, no doubt. I just laugh because it's like, source tells me Kelce hates missing games. I'd be very concerned, by the way, if any player said they don't hate missing games. I get it. With Kelce, it's an extreme, right? He will do everything. He's one of the toughest SOBs in the league. We've found this out year after year after year, so he's special. But it's funny for Jeremy Fowler to use that as his reasoning. He's rehabbing aggressively, Bink, because he hates missing games.
Chase Claypool doesn't mind, though, huh?
Chase
He's
Claypool's
the opposite of that.
Chase Claypool's just
of course
a mess.
he's everything in this team, and he knows that, too. And he knows the window, and he's in that championship window now, and he wants to keep accumulating rings. It's different if the Chiefs started off with 1 win or 2 wins, something like that. He knows his team is good at this point. He knows he's Mahomes' go-to guy. And again, 37 targets for him. Rasheed Rice, 24. And he's missed a game. I mean, he is that
Plus
much
a
a
driver
part
too, right?
of the offense. Yeah, so that is how important he is for the Chiefs. And he knows that. I like their attitude about trying to sneak on the field or whatever. Mahomes is the same way. Like, Mahomes is wired the same way. He's wired the same way. This is what you need for sustained success like they have. We mentioned earlier the 38 straight games they haven't lost by more than 4 points. This is the reason why.
There's a lot of areas tomorrow night, though, the Chiefs can attack with this Broncos defense. They're historically bad. But on the ground, you want to talk about moving the chains. You want to talk about maybe if you don't have Kelsey and you're wondering if the wide receivers, it seems like it could be a good game for them to finally break out. But also, if you want to take some pressure off of Mahomes and the wide receivers, run the ball. The Broncos, since week 2. So in week 2, they gave up 87 yards, 2 touchdowns to Brian Robinson. Week 3, they gave up 285 to a combination of Achane and Mostert, plus 5 touchdowns. In that 70-point performance.
It was their worst
and
ever.
then against the Bears, Khalil Herbert, 103 yards. And then last week, Breece Hall had that long run, 177 yards and a touchdown. 187 yards per game. Worst in
Actually,
football.
if you round up, it's 188.
Fair enough. 188. We can round it up if you want.
The second worst in all of football belongs to Drew's Bengals. They give up 154 yards a game on the ground. They're at 188 compared to what they are monumental. It's a Grand Canyon-sized gap between the Broncos and the 31st ranked run defense. So yes, you run the football primarily in this game.
My question, though, I guess, and I think I would guess where you would say would you rather see Pacheco have like one of those 130-yard games, running game gets 150, or would you rather see Mahomes throw for 350 and Sky Moore gets involved, Rasheed Rice gets involved, and it's one of those games where maybe this is the turning point for the passing game?
Oh, absolutely that. Yeah. I mean, that has longer-term ramifications.
Right.
So no doubt. If you're having me choose that somehow they're not able to run, but Rasheed Rice and any wide receiver breaks out, but Rasheed Rice in particular, has an 80-plus yard day. Sky Moore has 50 yards. Justin Ross has 50 yards. Something like that, of course. Yeah, that's the preferred method. Now, of course, the Chiefs coaching staff would just say, hey, just win the football game. We don't care how we have to do it. But yes, for fans, for me, what's important long-term, at some point the wide receivers are going to have to figure it out. So, yeah. But I do think Pacheco, one, he's also had a touchdown in 3 straight games for this football team. But Isaiah Pacheco, we know his running style, right? It's fun to watch anyway. But the last 3 weeks, he's had at least 15 carries. So they've flipped it. I think it was after that Jacksonville game we had a discussion on this show, Bink, about, hey, nobody's saying you're ever going to be run first. You got Patrick Mahomes. It's Andy Reid, nor should you. But you got to compliment a little bit. And since then, to their credit, this is just Pacheco, not including carries to Clyde and McKinnon. 15 carries against Chicago in that win, 62 yards for Pacheco. 20 carries when that great performance on Sunday night against the Jets. And then last week, now only 55 yards, all right, but 3.4 attempt. But 16 carries. So they're feeding him the football. I'll be stunned if Pacheco has fewer than 15 carries because he's been doing that the last 3 weeks.
The Chiefs' running game has actually been really good this year. They slipped back to 12th in the NFL. They were 9th. They're 12th in the NFL in rushing, so they are top half by 4 teams. But as a team, this is how it's been. 90 yards against the Lions. That's where it starts. Then 101 against the Jags. Then, boom, they go up to 153 against the Bears. Then 204 against the Jets. They slipped down to 67 against the Vikings. But you know who usually makes a big difference in this? A man that had 0 carries in this game. And I think it's a little bit with the ankle and everything else. Mahomes. Like you were used to Mahomes getting 30, 40, even 50 yards, as he had 51 a couple weeks ago, rushing yards. But the scrambles, you did not see Mahomes carry the ball once against the Vikings. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but that makes a difference by 30, 40 yards in a total. Because, again, they had 67 against the Vikings. If you get the typical Mahomes game, they're over 100 yards again as a team. That would be 4 of the last 5 games where they've ran for over 100 yards as a team. But that does make a difference. And I don't know if it was just a plan not to have him scramble, but the ankle and things like that. And you want to the last thing you want to do is have Mahomes run. Like, that's not what but he loves to do it. And he will take off and do it. But they've not needed it in that Vikings game, if you notice. Like, he did not carry one time Usually he does. Now he's waiting for someone to spy him, teams to spy him. Vikings really weren't doing that as much. But again, he did not do it. I don't expect the rushing yards, but he had 0 carries against the Vikings.
We also talk about how the defense being a top 10 defense or even top 5, if they can get there, makes things scarier for this team. If they can also have that balanced running attack where do you give the ball to Pacheco 15 times and he gets you 65 yards a game and scores a touchdown, you have to keep that side of things honest. I mean, he also had a really good game receiving-wise in that win over the Jets. If you allow the offense to be a little bit more balanced, you obviously still throw the ball a lot with Mahomes, but Pacheco gets in there and he can get his carries, and the way that he runs, again, we all like it. Plus, you have that defense. It really puts the other team in a spot where you have to pick what you want to try to limit, and it makes you a little bit nervous, I think, going into a game with a great Chiefs defense and a very good offense as well, obviously.
The props are out, of course, for Thursday Night Football. That's the benefit with Thursday night, Bink. We get all these prop bets are available early. We'll talk about them tonight on that betting show from 7 to 8. Isaiah Pacheco, 77.5 is where his rushing total is set for this game, which I think is the highest total that he's had set. Makes sense. We just mentioned he's going up against the worst rush defense in all of football. With all that said, would not stun me the first 3 plays on Thursday night are just passes. Just because that's how this stuff works sometimes. Like, first 3 plays, pass, because we know that you can run, and watch them go play action one of the first 3 plays of
Or
the
expect
game.
a lot of passes out of the backfield. Like, is McKinnon
McKinnon could be a big
that.
McKinnon.
They kind of sandbagged McKinnon until the last. All 9 of his touchdowns last year, only 1 rushing, but eight receiving. They all came after December.
He even admitted
they sandbagged until December, and then they let him go. But he's due for those 5. I mean, he had 500 yards receiving last year.
He was asked last week, I think, in the locker room. I think Rob Collins was who asked it, or at least was there. Like, wait, what's going on? They're holding you back. And McKinnon was even kind of like, he's like, I don't know what's going on, man. Basically, like joking, but like, I think you're right that they're trying to keep him fresh because we just got done talking about age, right? A running
It's like
back,
having a different back at the end of the year.
Fresh legs, and I've said this over and over, but I think Isaiah Pacheco's a better pass protector this year than he was, and so that's why McKinnon hasn't been as involved as much, right? Because Isaiah Pacheco is out on third downs now. He's out on the field, I should say.
And that's why Clyde's getting run, because his pass blocking got better.
Know,
like he
but there's
exponentially got better. I mean, he's decleating people.
I feel like there's a collective every time. Like everybody's like,
but
every
his pass
time
blocking is better. All the running backs.
But every time Clyde carries the ball, I feel like all of Kansas City has the same reaction.
I know, but at least they can all block, which I think is number 1 priority for Andy Reid. Can you block? Can you catch? Can you run? And being a running back for the Chiefs is a lot like being a running back for the Bengals or anybody else, or the Bills. When you're not facing 8-man fronts, which you don't when you have an elite quarterback, you don't face 8-man fronts. It ought to be a dream. Right? And now you're going against the worst defense in the NFL. So, yes, it would spell that he would have a bunch of yards. But you and I know how these things go. On paper, Pacheco's good to break his career rushing amount of 115 yards. On paper, yeah, he's like 150, 160. But in reality, what's it going to be?
Gonzalez jokes. He's like, Pacheco could run for like 170 yards on Thursday
We
night.
say that, but then it doesn't have. It never does.
As we were discussing earlier, like it's everything point. The Chiefs should win this thing by 30, but it's the NFL. It's a Thursday night game, and it's still a divisional game. I understand you've beat them 15 straight times, but yeah, it's never that simple. I'm not saying blowouts don't happen. The Chiefs just blew out the Chicago Bears, and the Broncos are worse than Chicago. But I'm not worried. What's that?
Are they worse?
The Broncos are worse than the Bears, yes.
But they found a way to beat them.
The Broncos are still worse.
But they beat the Bears.
I don't care. The Broncos are worse.
I get it, but they beat them.
I don't care, though. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Are the Jets better than the Bills? No, and they beat them. I mean, that doesn't always equate to it.
I'm just saying, man, we got a lineup of a game, the Bears and the Broncos.
The Bears are better
than the
Broncos.
Came back.
But I do not care. The Broncos are worse. The Broncos are worse,
They're
man.
both bad.
Well, they both suck. One has a historically bad defense, though. I'll tell you who that is.
The funny thing is, the Bears against the Commanders almost had 2 straight games of blowing it. I was so hoping for a Commanders win. I wanted to see them blow it out of the way because Justin Fields is playing out of his mind lately. They have 2 losses in back-to-back weeks.
We know the Chiefs are going to have the officials on their side, though, according to the national narrative, right, Bink? That'll be the case. And Dean Blandino, who's head of the officiating for Fox now, was once the head of officiating for the NFL. He was on with CDOT yesterday, and CDOT flat out asked him, hey, NFL officials, the league, do they get together to help out the Chiefs?
Like us yet? Does he like us yet?
I don't think so.
Is he part of the group?
Not yet.
Script?
Officials go into a game. They don't look at the 2 teams in terms of what their records are. They don't look at any of that. They are getting evaluated and there's so much scrutiny on the officials, not just in the moment by the fans, the coaches, the players, the broadcasters, but after the game. They're evaluated by the league, the NFL league officiating department. And those evaluations are going to be what gives them playoff assignments, or they no longer are part of the league if they don't grade out very well. So they don't look at that. I know that's a popular narrative around fans that the Chiefs, hey, they're a successful team, they're going to get the calls. That stuff tends to even out over the course of time.
There you have it. That needs to be played everywhere outside of Kansas City.
It does, but I don't think people care because it doesn't fit their narrative. If it doesn't fit the narrative, they're not going to listen to it. It's the bottom line. It's the way sports fans are. If it does not fit their personality, because stats, Alex, we can look at it and bend it each way we want. We'll find the stat that we like and we take off with it. I don't know how you can make the broadcast run defense good if it's fat, unless you look at the 70 points that they gave up. But the narrative is they get all the breaks. But you don't understand the Vikings are penalized 4 times, the Chiefs 10. Chiefs are usually a heavily penalized team. It came down a little bit last year, but they have the same type of penalties. I think people watch the Chiefs under the microscope and having all the primetime games kind of spotlights them. Yeah. Like Juwan Taylor, like he was being picked on. Like I think people kind of forget about that. He was being picked on more than I've seen a player picked on in the NFL in the longest time. They just happened to be a Kansas City Chief member. Juwan Taylor being picked by officials. The officials truly like the Chiefs. They would have let it go, but they didn't. They made it worse.
Yeah, well, that thing, fortunately, I think is in the rearview mirror as far as the Juwan Taylor stuff.
But he was clearly in the crosshairs.
That was a big game this past week that we're not even, up until right this second, we're not really talking about Juwan Taylor this week, and it's a very good thing. But yes, the primetime games magnified. When you're winning games the way the Chiefs do, when you are a good team, you capitalize on mistakes from other teams. And bad teams, when a call breaks their way, we don't hear about it, A, because they're not on primetime like you said, but they're not good enough to actually seal the deal. If the Chiefs lose that game to the Vikings, by the way, even with the blown call, nobody cared. Nobody's talking about it. But because the Chiefs win, when these calls, perceived calls go their way, they're able to be the talking point.
Oh, yeah. Only 7 teams in the NFL have more penalties than the Chiefs. 7. That's it. Chiefs have 33 penalties on the year. Steelers have 22. What's going on? Does the refs like the Steelers? What's going on? They've only been penalized 22 times. What's going on there? Only 7 teams have been penalized more than the Chiefs.
Do they have a final 2-minute report on these refs? Like I know the NBA does that as well. Is there any sort of a report that comes out on these?
Not publicly, but they're graded on it internally. That's why some get Super Bowls, some don't. Some get playoff games.
It depends on the script, too, Drew. The script changes things at the end of the games.
Well, that was where I was going with it. Was because one thing that Dean Blandino did say, as well as people have to remember, they're getting graded every single time on these games. There's an evaluation process where you could get kicked out of the league technically if you're making too many mistakes. So that always has to be reminded to people that eventually you have to look past the referees and how games are won and lost, because they're actually doing the best that they can, because they know that they're evaluated on a level that can affect their career and whether or not they continue to officiate games.
The only play where they should swallow their whistle is kind of those Hail Marys, because there's always a penalty on those.
And they usually do.
They usually swallow a whistle. But here's Dean Blandino said this a few weeks ago. He's like, we want the refs to still be aggressive, because if they start swallowing their whistle at the end of games, players are going to start taking advantage of it. And they're going to say, well, they're going to call this. And so there'll be more handsy and everything with the receivers. But he wants officials, and it's the way they should be, is where officials call the game the same way, except for like a Hail Mary at the end. But they call the game the same way because players will take advantage of that if you're not calling.
I think most players will tell you all they want is consistency.
Yep.
That's all they want in officiating. They don't want to be able to do something in the second quarter that gets called in the fourth quarter with a minute to go, right? That's the argument a lot of times. Someone brings up on the J Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7610, says, hey, there seems to be a high number of calls in high-moment games that go the Chiefs' way. Again, that goes back to my point earlier. It's because they're able to capitalize it. I'm telling you, if big changes happen in end of games and teams aren't good, we don't talk about them because it doesn't impact the game as much.
Peyton Manning used to do this at the end of games all the time.
The Chiefs make you pay for a said mistake that you as a team make by having a holding call or whatever, or if there is that break that happens occasionally from an official, like it does, by the way, in every sport, for every team at some point in the last year or two, it happens. The Chiefs aren't the only team that had a call to go their way. I can promise you, even the crappy New York Jets last year had a call probably go their way. Did they capitalize on it? Probably not, because they suck.
Well, they capitalized on getting a horse collar and a safety that didn't exist against the Chiefs.
That's true.
They capitalized 12 points worth against the Chiefs.
But remember, there's only the Chiefs get the calls. Remember,
Peyton Manning used to be the master of this. He would underthrow the ball. He'd get the pass interference. Tom Brady, same way. I mean, guys start to understand they're smart. They understand how the game's called. They understand what the officials do, and they'll take advantage of it at any point that they can. And that's just the players kind of outsmarting the refs because they watch this stuff. They look at tendencies of refs. All good quarterbacks know exactly what they're facing with the officials. They know what they call, what to look out for, and good teams do go over what officials call and what not to do. Look, I'm sure they warned Juwan Taylor, like, hey, man, this ref we're going against here is a real stickler for offensive line play, and you're probably going to get called at some point. But you know they're watching the officials and what they do, their tendencies. But only 7 teams have been penalized more than the Chiefs. That's it. The Broncos are number 2 in that, by the way. So expect a lot of penalties from the Broncos.
Who? Sean Hockley?
Huh?
Sean Hockley's the official tomorrow night.
Yeah. Son of Ed.
Yeah.
Jacked arms.
I once asked Thomas Jones for the Chiefs because he had these jacked arms. And I asked him after the game, and he obliged. I said, who's got bigger pipes, you or Ed? Because Ed did the game. He goes, I don't know, man, Ed. I mean, seriously, Ed was ripped. He always wore, like, mediums, needed, like, probably a double X. Wore the medium.
Their shirts are getting stretched.
Sean's working on it. He's working on the pipes.
Good
What
luck.
else are you going to do?
Good luck with that.
These
Good
guys
luck
used
to
to
you,
have other
Bing.
jobs.
Good luck to you as well.
Huh?
Good luck to you on that as well.
Wearing mediums?
Yep. Good luck.
Mediums.
Don't do that.
Once you guys like selling a lot of T-shirts on your Cody and Gold show.
Yeah, we've got a new one we're working on.
Once you do the Ed Hockley brand, like the mediums.
Because I'm not jacked.
Just be like, if you're double, well, you
Sean's
could look like to
accepted.
say if you're double X, get a
That's
medium.
uncomfortable. If you're not jacked and you're wearing purposely small shirts, it's uncomfortable.
It is.
And like it's too tight around the pits. It's
Yes,
just not
I know
comfortable. And then
exactly
you're
what you're
sweating.
talking about.
Then
They
you're
look good,
sweating, and it looks it doesn't look good.
Looks
And
good.
then you reach down for something, and you're no, it's not good.
Yeah.
Binky likes that.
It's they're selling them. It's mediums.
Oh, my gosh.
We do have a new T-shirt we're working on. Hopefully, we'll have that next week.
Really?
Yes. In relation to AM frequency waves.
Is it like Kittle shirt they wore against the 49ers?
No, this has to do with
Or
AM
they wore
radio.
against Cowboys?
AM radio waves and
Oh, yeah.
listening longer
Absolutely.
and lasting and being harder.
I'll get one of those.
I know you'll wear one of those.
I'll get
I
one of
expect
those.
you to.
I will.
I expect you fully to do that. There's more injury news just around the league coming out. We mentioned just some updates with Travis Kelce and Nick Bolton. Again, a report from George Schultz. Nick Bolton expected to play tomorrow night. That's just from one report. Also around the league, Deshaun Watson not expected to practice for the Browns today. He's still dealing with a shoulder injury, so it could be veteran quarterback P.J. Walker starting for the Browns against the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday. That means they're going to leapfrog Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who was a rookie that looked great during preseason and then had a really rough
Well,
afternoon.
the Hall of Fame game set him up, man.
He looked great then, right?
Yeah, he even had a nickname and everything else. But what DTR people are calling him?
PJ Walker was like an MVP, wasn't he, of the XFL?
XFL,
the
baby.
USFL?
The XFL guy. Same with Parham that still does some damage in the NFL. He's an XFL guy. There's a lot of XFL guys in the NFL.
You know my feeling on all those leagues. We don't need to have a discussion on that. Until any of them last for more than 2 years, I don't care about
Well, now
any
we
of
have
them.
a combined
I know the
USFL, which is awesome.
Got to last for 2-3 years, Bank, before I'll even
I
start
agree.
giving them any attention.
Well, the thing is, they will because they're combined now, so they're going to start lasting. But I hate the fact that people are like, well, they need to combine with the NFL. I always thought the CFL should combine, but thought they get rid of that vertical motion that they have. And
Well, that's coming to the NFL.
But the
they're starting to allow this motion stuff more and
Yeah,
more.
they
We're
do.
going to have running head starts here pretty soon in the NFL.
You think so?
Absolutely.
But the one thing-
the NFL wants offense. They'll continue to bend the rules for offense.
But the NFL's never going to like grab a hold of the USFL, the XFL, that merger, because they have college football. College football is like the ultimate minor league for them. They don't have to pay for insurance. They don't pay for anything.
Yep.
College football is the minor leagues for the NFL, and the NFL doesn't want to get involved in that because they don't have to pay a cent. Let's draft the players from college football, so they're not going to stick their feet in with the XFL. Like NFL Europe was cool. I did that.
Was it, though?
Yeah, I thought that was kind of fun.
I mean, was
the
it?
Frankfurt Galaxy.
They're playing in Europe already. We don't need any more.
I know.
That's the Chiefs Red Half Hour. All right, coming up next, though, here on Cody and Gold, we'll get to what's trending and the Broncos' plan going forward, plus what we could expect a little bit later on today when it comes to college basketball and the future of the KU basketball program.
Chiefs fans, it's Creed Humphrey. Don't miss Cody and Gold weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, we're here with Russ Mondry from Centric, and you've been helping out people for a long time at Centric.
I've been here 15 years. Every single person who has come to Kansas City I've spoken to and helped start a career in it. And so I like learning about each person and spending that time and change their lives.
Russ, what about those people you want to help, but they need the flexible schedule in order to get their new career?
Full-time day class options that are in person. You could do virtual. We have evening options that you could do at night after work. We have online evenings as well. So we have multiple different choices depending on what somebody's schedule is.
Go to Centric.com/610.
Hey, it's Carrington from The Drive here, and at the other place, that's where I like to go to eat, hang out, watch sports, and if you can't make the game, go to the other place where their game day atmosphere makes you feel like you're at the game. With great Sunday specials like $12 14-inch two-topping pizzas to a dozen wings for just $12. The other place, Shawnee Olathe, downtown Overland Park, and coming soon to Mission and Belton.
Day one, Kansas City took me in. They didn't know who I was. They didn't know what we could become. No guarantees we'd succeed. Still, they took a chance, and so did Community America. They invested in me and the entire community. Invest in what you believe in with who you believe in. Because it's not just where you put your money, it's where your money puts you. Member-owned, open to all, Community America Credit Union. Invested in you.
At Century Roofing, we want to protect your home and your wallet with our sale on impact-resistant shingles. Get a Class 3 impact-resistant shingle for the price of a standard shingle, or upgrade to a Class 4 shingle for the price of a premium shingle. Impact-resistant shingles better protect your home against KC storms and can save you money on your homeowner's insurance. It's a win-win. Schedule a free, no-obligation estimate from KC-based and female-owned Century Roofing. Trust the pillars of strength. Century Roofing, KC.com.
Century Roofing. Trust the pillars of strength.
Need a new pharmacy? Hy-Vee makes it easy to transfer your prescriptions. Just bring in your prescription bottle, receipt, or label, and we'll take care of the rest, making sure all your records are transferred from your old pharmacy. It's that easy. And Hy-Vee makes it easy to refill your prescriptions too, with Repeat Refills, our automatic refill service. Plus, Hy-Vee accepts thousands of insurance plans and can answer your Medicare Part D questions. Let the helpful pharmacist at Hy-Vee help you make the switch today. Restrictions may apply. See your local Hy-Vee pharmacy or Hy-Vee.com for details.
Hey, it's Kling. I always enjoy my time shopping at Hy-Vee, but I also play a little game with myself and seeing if I could rack up more fuel savers just by swiping that Hy-Vee Fuel Saver card. But there's even more. Introducing the all-new Hy-Vee Perks membership, a free and easy upgrade to your Fuel Saver card, exciting new advantages like exclusive member-only pricing on hundreds of items every day. To start earning the all-new benefits or to enroll for the first time, just go to hi-v.com/perks and upgrade your card. Hy-Vee Perks, the best grocery value in town.
Mobile Wave, your personal computer repair experts. Virus removal, slow startup repair, data recovery, and more. Diagnostic fees are waived for all first-time customers. Located in Lenexa. Online at mobilewaveRepairs.com. Mobile Wave, quick repairs, premium quality, affordable.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has green-lighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Help USA to see if you qualify and receive your free tax assessment by dialing 800-210-1005. If you or your business owe back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-210-1005. 800-210-1005. That's 800-210-1005.
Imagine a home service partner who understands budget is important to you. Now envision that partner with affordable furnace financing options you choose. Just $59 a month or $15 a week. Schedule today at anthonyphce.com. FanDuel.com.
Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/win and kick off the NFL season. That's FanDuel.com/win. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Must be present in a state where lawful to wager, must be 21 plus and present in select states. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, and Virginia. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona, 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 or visit KSGamblingHelp.com in Kansas. 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia or call 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelpma.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Happy 62nd birthday, Granddad.
Thanks, sweetheart.
I got you this.
A mug. Oh, thank you. What does it say? Beware. If you are 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of hospitalization from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, compared to adults younger than 60.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios.
Hey, it's Travis Kelce.
This is Taylor Swift.
You're listening to the official broadcast partner of the Kansas City Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app. What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on what's trending, a couple injury updates related to the Chief. Jordan Schultz reporting that Nick Bolton is expected to play tomorrow night against the Denver Broncos. Also, Jeremy Fowler reporting that Travis Kelce is, quote, rehabbing aggressively because he hates missing games. I just think it's funny. Like, no kidding.
Anybody could have said that. Oh, Kelce hates missing games, so does Mahomes.
Yeah. But good news, they're both trying to get out there tomorrow night.
And Drew Tranquil's played played every
I do
play
think Nick Bolton's going to play.
two
I'm
games.
still very skeptical that Travis Kelce's playing tomorrow night, but I think we'll see Nick Bolton in some form, even if it's a couple, limited snaps for Nick Bolton.
Limited snaps, but as far as offensive line, man, put some Noah Gray up there and just pound the rock on the ground to a tune of 180 yards a game. The Broncos like to give up. Also, what's trending, Alex, and I know you haven't been watching it as much as you should. Shocked you put bets on this stuff, and hopefully you will tonight during the betting show.
I'm all in on the Rangers.
Are you? Yeah, they've been playing hot, but they didn't there for a while. But Astros beat the Twins 9-1. They now lead the series 2-1. Rangers beat the Orioles 7-1, and they swept the Baltimore Orioles right out of here.
What that was
tonight. Braves Phillies series tied. Dodgers Diamondbacks. Dodgers have been really disappointing. This is a 100-win-a-year team, but Arizona leads that one 2-0. But still, if you're the Dodgers, you get swept. That's embarrassing. The Orioles currently sit there in the big embarrassment house by getting swept by the Rangers.
Yeah, these teams that have 100-plus games and struggling, their pitching failing them and all that. But you earlier in the show said that you would rather miss the postseason than beat the Orioles who got eliminated, and I could not disagree more.
100%.
Give me the postseason berth. It's been over 8 years now, basically, since we've had that in Kansas City. Yeah, I don't care if they get swept in the postseason. Get to the dance, please.
Just barely miss it. And keep that edge. Because when you get the playoffs and get swept, it's incredibly embarrassing. The AL East did not win a single game this year because I don't think the Blue Jays won one either. So this was a terrible situation for the AL East. But if you're swept, I'd rather just miss it, man. It's embarrassing because people we're in Kansas City talking about how bad the Orioles suck. And they are across the country. What do you think they're saying in Dallas about them? About the Rangers and Bruce Bochy going there and putting the hammer down.
They're thrilled for their team. You know why they're thrilled for their team?
They're not.
You know why the Rangers are thrilled for their team?
Ryan O'Hearn might be happy.
You know why the Rangers are thrilled?
Why?
because they made the postseason, which gave them a chance to go on a World Series run like the Royals did in 14 and 15. You're telling me the Orioles should have said, screw it, we don't want to make the postseason, even though they had a chance to go on a run as well.
I love the extra wild card, by the way. I love the fact that the Rangers did tie the Astros with 90 wins each, but the Orioles hit 101. Ryan O'Hearn, new guy, but they get swept. Who cares?
O'Hearn. Next up on what's trending, as you can tell, Bink is filling in for Cody today. You probably noticed that slight change in voice.
I've been listening to AM radio,
You guys sound so similar. You and Cody sound so much alike. Anthony Richardson, unfortunately for the Colts, headed to IR. The Bills also placing linebacker Matt Milano and Daquan Jones on IR. The difference is Matt Milano's done for the season. Anthony Richardson could come back, but they're not going to rush this thing with their franchise quarterback, nor should they. And short-term, Gardner Minshew gives them a better chance to win this weekend against Jacksonville.
Milano is such a huge piece to the Bills. This is actually really big. I mean, you think about Tre'Davious White and Matt Milano. They're taking some hits, the Buffalo Bills, because Matt Milano's kind of heart and soul of that team. Anthony Richardson, I like seeing him play, want to see him play, but there's something about Gardner Minshew, man. The Minshew mania. It just keeps drawing me back in the Colts
games. Does he still have the RV? Remember, he was traveling around. He had the RV.
Was it an old van or
old van RV?
Kirk
yeah,
Cousins
whatever.
drove one too for a long time, where he drove that old van.
The van, yeah.
I wonder if he still has it.
I don't remember about that. I
know he didn't drive it now, but he had a conversion van he drove forever.
Also, Dolphins, very talented running back that's come on the scene, probably helped you guys win some fantasy football games this year. Devon Achane, also heading to IR. Going to be out for a couple weeks with a knee injury.
Yeah, you get tired of running against the Broncos a couple weeks ago.
He was averaging like 12 yards a carry.
Yeah. It's like basically it was a treadmill that he was on. Alex, is for you. The KU infractions hearing results expected today. Around 1 o'clock. So around 1 o'clock, you can finally put at ease something you've been holding for 6 years, man, and you can exhale. I don't expect much to happen to Kansas, to be honest, because the whole landscape of college athletics has changed so much with the transfer portal nil. It is a different game. Now your daddy's NCAA.
We're going to talk more about this in 15 minutes or so because, this happened in 2017. The longer it went on, the longer they fought for it. Sure seems like it's going to be pretty light at this point in time. I think worst case scenario is vacating wins and the Final Four banner. For some reason, people are very confused. I don't know why people are wasting their time discussing, the worst thing could be they could vacate the title. Just please read up a little bit before you have takes like that. It's not possible. KU won the title. Let me just fill you in on timeline. In 2022, this is about 2017. There was no title to vacate in 2017. There was a Final Four appearance. So that potentially could happen. What happened a year and a half ago, I guess it's been at this point, in KU's national championship has no bearing or anything on 2017.
Were you still in Boise in 17?
Cody asked me that yesterday.
Oh, did he? Is that before Houston?
I think you said, yeah. I think you said you were there.
Yeah, because I moved back here. I moved back here. No, I was definitely not in Wichita. I was either Boise or Houston. I just couldn't remember.
I was still in college.
Yeah, Drew was in college. Drew was at Butler, his Bulldogs.
That's right.
Drew was having field day in 7th grade.
Field
day. Jeez. Take me back. Somebody asked if I was in high school on the text line yesterday.
Yesterday, what you were wearing, which was like the Joe Burrow pregame outfit, it made you look like you might be 18 or 19.
He was still rocking the Joe Burrow Ohio State jersey.
All I needed was like some... Huh?
You got the Joe Burrow Ohio State jersey? Or LSU jersey?
I would never get an Ohio State jersey if my life... If I...
You have an LSU one?
No, I don't.
What an offense that was. Justin Jefferson, your number 2. Got Jamar
Clyde
Chase
was the back?
Got Clyde the Glide. 14 draft
Terrace
picks in that
Marshall
team.
We didn't realize it at the time, but I mean, it was so obvious why they should have won the title that year, and they did. But like
team was
ridiculously stacked.
They beat everybody.
We've never seen anything like it.
Your guy, Coach O.
Yeah, and Clyde had just a monster year in the SEC.
Is O just on the beach somewhere chilling these days?
Destin, yeah. I think he has a house in Destin.
Good for him.
Attaboy.
Good for him. Just chilling in Destin. You want a natty?
Taking that money.
Getting that tan was already something else anyway.
That's right.
Good for Coach O.
Crystal clear beaches.
Yeah, man. Coming up in about 20 minutes or so, we'll get back into the AFC, what looked like a loaded AFC, but just trying to figure out these tiers right now. And Bink had some ridiculous stat about how competitive the Chiefs actually have been over the last couple of years in general, not just in the AFC, but in every single game. As far as the game tomorrow night.
Ridiculous in a good way.
Yes, absolutely. As far as the Denver Broncos, though, Bink, We know this year, historically bad defense. Looking ahead, what's the plan for the Broncos here? Because I'm looking at them, and we know they can't really get out of the Russell Wilson contract till 2026 or 7. Right now, they're in line for the number 3 overall pick. I expect that to stay the same after Thursday night with a loss to Kansas City. And you start going through, we know they play the Chiefs again in a couple of weeks. You look at their schedule.
They got to love that.
How are they racking up wins? Even if they have a top 5 pick, what do? You're going to draft Drake May at 3 if he's there, and then he's going to sit behind Russ. You're going to have Russ making $70 million on the bench. You're going to go Marvin Harrison Jr. There's no clear-cut path out. Sometimes you can. It's simple, right? The Bears, if the Bears end up with the number 1 and number 2 overall pick, it's simple for them. Draft Caleb Williams and draft Marvin Harrison Jr., and all of a sudden you're in a heck of a lot better spot. The Broncos can't do that.
No, they can't. I mean, it'd be ideal if this was the last year, but it's not. Because Russell Wilson, I could see a quarterback sitting behind you and Russell not throwing a big fit, like we've seen so many other quarterbacks do. Remember when they had Drew Lock and they brought in Joe Flacco to kind of help Drew along, and Joe didn't do anything of the sorts because everybody wanted the Alex Smith-Mahomes combination. They wanted a guy to act like Alex Smith and be cool with this guy coming in out of college to be a quarterback. You don't have that anymore. But Denver is about as stuck as I've seen a team in the NFL with Russell Wilson. They are about as stuck in quicksand as I've seen a team because, yes, they need to blow that thing up. You got the coach in now. It's Sean Payton. You want to go that direction. That's fine. But you need to take the draft picks and start selling. They started with Randy Gregory, got a little bit, not much from him. But Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, there's guys that are going to be traded. Frank Clark should be another one that's jettisoned by the Denver Broncos. But start selling off and building up picks.
Yeah, I even building up picks, though, I don't know if it's – like, what do you think you're getting for, and they should be willing to trade everybody.
Because the Wilson hurt him in picks.
Absolutely. Last year they traded Bradley Chubb, and they got a couple picks back or swapped with the Dolphins. What are they getting for Jerry Jeudy if they trade him? I mean, Jerry Jeudy 2 years ago was a much different name to say out loud than it is now. Like, he's talented, I think.
A 4th or 5th, probably?
But yeah, I mean, a couple years ago, you would have thought it would take it a 2nd. It might be a 5th-round pick now.
At least, yeah, just a 5th. Probably be the highest.
So we can talk about stockpiling picks, and I know the Chiefs have this great track record of late-round picks.
I think great.
But if you're the Broncos, though, like, getting 2 extra 5th-round picks is not solving the problem here either.
I think what they should do is take that, if you are picking 3rd, what is your biggest need and where is everybody out on the table? Because if you can afford to move back, you take that 3rd overall pick and you turn it into
another 2nd or something.
Another 2nd, and you try to just load up with as much talent as you can. So then when you do need, or when you can move off of Russell Wilson, you've got that option. But again, Denver's historically picking quarterbacks has been awful. Paxton Lynch, Drew Lock, it just hasn't worked. The only time it worked was when they brought in Peyton Manning, and that obviously wasn't a draft pick. That was free agency. They've been terrible at picking quarterbacks.
How long do you guys think Sean Payton's coaching? He just signed this massive deal. He's not getting fired after this year. But, like, how long is he going to coach? How long did they give him? Remember, new ownership in Denver that hired him, though.
How long was the contract? Was it?
Wasn't it like an $80 or $100 million contract?
I was going to say it was overall? Was it 8 years, 10 years? It was a long time because they gave him a lot of money.
He was never going to fill that whole contract, I don't think. But I'm just trying to wonder how long they're willing to $18 million a year in the neighborhood was the report.
By the way,
he could earn $100 million.
It almost looks like he's fed up with Russell already. Well, as if he didn't even want him in the first place. Like he got there.
I don't think he did, but he knew that. That was the only place he could go.
Don't forget about Brock Osweiler. It was a 2nd-round pick. I saw him do a college game the other day. Drew, he was.
He's commentating.
Yeah,
he's done.
It says it's at least. This was the quote from the story back in what was it? February of last year when he was hired, or this year, I guess. 17 to 20 million a year, at least a 5-year deal for Sean Payton that he's on right now.
So he almost is stuck too.
Wow, they're different. He's just fine. You know what I mean? Like we said, the Broncos being stuck with Russell Wilson's a problem. Sean Payton being stuck there, not really a problem. He's making $18 million a year.
Sure.
It's a little bit different. Like, I get what you're saying, but like nobody else is hiring Sean Payton now anyway.
He needs to slow down on the talking though, not be the distraction. Because you always tell your team not to be a distraction. He was with the whole Nathaniel Hackett stuff.
He did not set his team up well at all.
And they're still taking shots at him with Saleh and everybody else.
Yeah, they cannot evaluate the quarterback position. They thought they had the quick, easy fix. They thought they could take the shortcut again like they did with Manning, and when they do it with Manning, it results in the Super Bowl, but they had historically great defense. They thought they could take the shortcut and go trade for Russell Wilson. And by the way, at the time, the trade made sense. It really did. I know hindsight, everybody wants to act like they were the genius that knew it was going to fail. No, you didn't. At the time, it was a smart trade. Where they screwed up was when they extended him. That was the mistake. They didn't have to give him the extension. That was the dumb move. Just trading for him, they had nothing to lose at that point. No. You didn't have to give him the long extension, though.
It was a 2-time Super Bowl quarterback, and he should be 2-time winning. And if they hand the ball to Marshawn Lynch there at the 1-yard line and not throw the interception, he could have been 2-time Super Bowl champion quarterback. And it would complete, because that's what Denver needed. You're thinking they need coach and they need quarterback. They end up getting them both. I'm shocked they went Nathaniel Hackett, though, for that first year, even though he was fired.
You loved that hire, though, Bink. You loved the Nathaniel Hackett. You loved it. You said he had ties to Kansas City.
No, I loved it.
You said it was a great hire. I remember that.
Everything Denver did had Kansas City all over it. Like Drew Lock when they took him, Kansas City kid. Shane Ray had a Chiefs tattoo on his back when they had him down. Nathaniel Hackett
had all the Chiefs. You had the same one.
Nathaniel Hackett went to high school in Kansas City, wore Chiefs stuff. Yeah, I had the matching tattoo.
You guys both have the same matching tattoos. That's cute.
Yeah.
Good job.
I don't have a tattoo of the Chiefs on my back. It's on my arm.
Okay. You're sleeveless today.
Right here, yeah.
You're sleeveless today. We have a video stream now, Bink. People can see this very easily.
Tell me that. Cody's gone.
We're on video. They can find that out very quickly. You can't just lie about that.
At least I'm wearing a shirt.
We're on video. They know you're wearing a shirt. Again, the theater of the mind still exists, but it's eliminated a little bit, unfortunately, with the video stream.
Well, you told me to put sleeves on.
I don't know why. I should be wearing short sleeve because it's 100 degrees in here. I'm burning up. I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt.
Yeah, I'm shocked you're wearing it.
Well, it's because I'm on. I got that betting show tonight. We're on remote tonight for that betting show.
You're wearing just the jacket
later.
Out at Hollywood Casino.
I could put it on later.
This conversation goes back to before I got here. You're wearing a shirt under the jacket, or are you just wearing the jacket?
For this, I have to. The way this quarter zip thing, it's weird if you don't have a undershirt on. It would just be like skin.
Yeah,
agreed.
You can't. You got to have something underneath one.
Drew missed out on we had some great 6'10" jackets. You missed out on those a couple years ago.
What a bummer.
You have one of those, Alex?
What's that?
6'10" jacket?
Jacket? No, that was before I was here. This is the really only, other than the polo, the only 6'10". We need to get some new 6'10" gear, you know?
I wonder how many people on the street would look and say, that's a nice jacket.
Yeah, text line's right. They're mentioning Big Nose football. You had Deshaun Watson mocked
Mahomes,
4 times. You had Deshaun Watson mocked 4 times. You also said that Christian Watson was going to be a bust and Sky Moore was going to be better. So, I mean, that's Bink. That's our mock draft expert.
Your nose is growing, buddy. You're lying.
And you liked Nathaniel Hackett.
Oh, I did.
It's time to reevaluate, Bink. It's time to fix it up.
No, the Mahomes thing was interesting because everybody wanted Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, including you?
No, this guy did not. He wanted Mahomes. And you know what? The
I did. Right. This guy did.
The text line wanted Watson too because
a lot of people wanted Watson
doing the draft show that night because Mahomes didn't win as much attack.
When they traded up, if everybody was truly being honest,
if
everybody was truly being all seriousness, if everybody was being honest, when the Chiefs traded up, most people thought that they were trading up for Deshaun Watson. Fortunately, for a lot of reasons, on and off the field, they chose the right guy. Duh. You think?
Think how this would have been different this town if had they made the decision.
Well, we wouldn't have a quarterback right now.
I mean, just think about it, though.
We wouldn't have 2 rings in this city. Or 3 overall, but 2 in the last couple
things could have changed so much with that. We wouldn't be getting the crap from the national media about Coles.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be some other team was getting the league was setting it up for some other team.
And don't forget this either, Drew. Russell Wilson was taken the pick right after Donald Stevenson for the Chiefs. They almost got Russell Wilson back in the day.
That's true.
When was he picked?
It was in the third round, but Donald Stevenson was where the Chiefs win because if you're watching, there's a great 30 for 30 of John Schneider about the Russell Wilson, how they sweated it out. It's like, man, if you think he's a first-round pick, take him earlier than what he's slated for. If you think that's the guy, don't worry about it. Go ahead and take him. But yes, the Chiefs could have ended up with Russell Wilson. They could have ended up with Johnny Manziel.
There's a lot of stories like that. They could have had Paxton Lynch, too, right? Everybody thought they were going to get Paxton Lynch. We can go on and on and on about the draft, Bink.
Well, there's a 2012 draft.
I'll let you look that up. While you're perusing the 2012 NFL draft.
Donald Stevenson was picked in the 3rd round, pick 74. Russell Wilson went the pick after to the Seattle Seahawks. Man, it would have been decent with us, though. Because Reed would have come in and he'd have won with him.
Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll get to the crowded AFC.
Let's cook, or whatever he says. Let's ride.
Let's ride, Broncos country. Let's ride.
That's right.
Yeah. but they are cooked. That is true. That is true. Coming up in about 45 minutes, expected to hear the latest and final, verdict, if you will, for the KU infractions ruling today from the IARP. This all stems from that 2017 federal investigation, right? The multiple severe and serious allegations. And there will be some punishment. We just don't know what it's going to be. And most believe now that it's been so long that it's not going to be what the penalty would have been if they cooperated back in 2017.
6 years?
If they would have cooperated, and this all stems from the Billy Preston, that was the player involved, and Silvio that was involved in all this. If this was settled in 27 or 18, then postseason ban and worst case scenario stuff would be on the table. I think we're just looking at potentially a few wins being vacated and maybe the Final Four banner from that year because of the vacated wins. But other than that, maybe a 4-game suspension for self. I just don't think you're going to see much. And at this point, I think most people have recognized that that's likely where this is trending because a lot of the things that they were accused of doing and probably did, by the way, you can get away with now in college sports.
I feel like a lot of people, K-State and Missouri fans in particular would probably like to see something regarding, I don't even know if scholarships really even affect Kansas in any way, shape, or form. I mean, if they got a ban from using the portal or something like that for 3 seasons, I mean, maybe that's something
a bigger deal. Yeah,
maybe that's more of an effective thing. But I agree with you. I don't know what they can do. I mean, based on there's no way that you can go and I don't know. They're going to be doing something that they're going to be ruling on something that's legal now. 6 years later, I feel like it's too late. If you wanted to do something about it, getting it done in a year or two after or 3 years after, around when we heard about the Arizona stuff and the Oak State stuff as well, would have been more reasonable, I feel like, to give a stiffer penalty. I guess we'll find out, though.
Or Uber Eats even a thing in 17? No?
Well, no, I don't think so. And I know in college in Lawrence in 2013, there wasn't Uber yet.
That's crazy to think about, actually.
People driving taxis.
Yeah. Good old 2017.
There used to be something called 1010 Taxi. When I was interning here, I at one point had to take that once or twice.
Did you?
This was back before Uber was in the area.
I thought Fesco took you around.
He did the 5 a.m. times, but there were other ones. Yeah. Back in 2012, I was an intern for Bob and Josh. We've talked about that before.
I remember that.
They know. Talked about that on the show before.
I was here. I was here when you were
St. Joe, all that stuff. Uncle D's.
Uncle D's, baby.
I just don't know at this point how many people care anymore about the infractions ruling. Is it because it's been so long, number one, or is it also now that the joy that some were going to take in the death penalty type slam being not death penalty, but the hammer being slammed on Kansas back in 2018, they realized that that's never happening.
Been out of sight, out of mind.
That's got to be part of it.
Having a title changes everything because I'm going to touch that.
Because my guess is K-State and Missouri fans at the time, understandably so, right? If the shoe was on the other foot, the same KU fan base would have been saying the same thing. You were hoping for the hammer. And now that the hammer's probably not coming, now you don't care.
Yeah. I don't think people care nearly as much. Plus, they look at the, it's not exactly the NCAA with this, but it's not exactly a good name to mention the NCAA.
Well, they've lost power. Everybody knows the NCAA is a joke.
And they're scared. They're scared of Kansas.
But it is definitely...
It's almost the same thing as the Chiefs. Sorry, Gold. It's Kansas is always good. They always will be good. As long as Bill Self is the guy there, even after Bill Self, they're going to be perennial basketball. I mean, I think it'll be a little bit more difficult, kind of like with what John Shire's figuring out with Duke. But Duke's very good this year as well. People love to see Duke lose. I think people love to see Kansas lose. People love to see those programs really have a hard time who are the perennial, the powerhouse, the blue blood programs in college hoops.
Yeah, I mean, there's a level of success that you think's maintained, but we all know that. I mean, look at Indiana; they fell off. At one point they used to be that, and they haven't been anywhere near what Indiana was at one point. So the coach certainly matters, but
yes,
the heights that the program's gone under Bill Self obviously is much larger than anybody thought that it could actually go.
Coaching, man, it makes the biggest difference. They've hit 3 home runs in a row.
Yeah, and I wonder, the
handoff to handoff to handoff.
Some of the self-imposed stuff, which we all kind of joked about last year, we're like, okay, whatever, the 4-game or whatever it was. Some of that will factor in, and that's why I think you'll see even lesser game suspensions, if there is even a suspension for Bill Self for games this year.
That's a good point.
The number's going to be low because they did the self-imposed thing.
That's what Jim Harbaugh in Michigan did.
By the way, this goes back to, I know there's some people who get on their moral high horse or whatever, but they played it well. Sorry.
Yeah, they did.
They dragged it out. They fought it. They also did the self-imposed thing last year, and it's probably gonna result in this penalty being pretty light here in about 40 minutes or so.
They didn't fire their coach, obviously. They definitely handled it in a similar way that
like good at football in between.
Like Bink said, with Jim Harbaugh, let's suspend you for the games that don't matter at all whatsoever, that you're probably going to win anyways.
And by the way, that happens everywhere. I mean, Mark Few, the head coach of Gonzaga, got a DUI last year, 2 years ago.
One game, I think he got suspended.
And they suspended him in November. I mean, so that's standard protocol. Nobody says, you know what, we're going to let you coach for 3 months, and we're going to suspend you for game one of the NCAA tournament. I mean, get real. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Stop.
People find a way to skirt it. Just like Mason Smith from LSU. LSU tried to schedule a week 0 game so that he could be suspended that game instead of the Florida State game.
I feel like LSU's situation is worse than Kansas's even that Will Wade had. I mean, those were some terrible penalties that he had in Baton Rouge.
Where's he at? I think he's at
McNeese State.
I think you're right. I think that's exactly what I was thinking. I was about to say Alcorn State, but I think you're right. It's McNeese State. It was one of those two.
His teams were good, but my God, were the allegations really bad for him as well, and he was quickly shown the door.
All right, coming up next, we get right back into the NFL. Looking at the loaded AFC, we looked at that before the season, and now the way it's playing out, trying to ask Bink the actual good teams that exist. Next, here on Cody and Gold.
Cody and Gold.
People always call us like a bleak show. The idea of you having to come on the air the next day and being like, Cody died in that blimp crash is hilarious to me. That's objectively funny.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC.
We're talking about it took 7 years almost for this NCAA infractions case to get figured out. What if I told you could have a brand new career in just 4 months? You could be well on your way into that new career in IT thanks to Centric. Centric.com/610. IT in a number of different areas. Cybersecurity, Amazon Web Services, AI, you name it. Centric.com/610 is where you need to go. Multiple ways to help you start your new career with tons of financing options available. And of course, they accept the GI Bill as well. And that network that they work with companies in the area, 1,500 different companies have hired Centric grads. Plus, these companies are constantly in communication with Centric to help build out that curriculum and even update it in the middle of your program if needed. Their job is to get you a job. Centric.com/610.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Well, it's a Red Friday right here on 610 Sports Radio. And also with my friends over at The Other Place. Make The Other Place your sports watching headquarters with 3 great Kansas City locations. Shawnee, Olathe, and downtown Overland Park. Plus, they're opening up a new one in Mission and Belton.
Made to shine. Real stories from Shane Company customers.
My aunt lives in Long Island. Growing up, we were really close. She's always been really accepting and very supportive. She's a little sassy and even rides a motorcycle. This year, I really wanted to do something special for her and let her know how much she means to me. So for her birthday, I got her a bracelet and I had it engraved with our initials to represent our bond. She loves it.
Remind someone how special they are with a personalized gift. Shane Company, fine jewelry since 1929.
Well, I want to tell you about another winner. It's my friends at Window World. They are ranked #1 in number of windows sold in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. They're also the official window of the Kansas City Chiefs. So you know the Chiefs are a winner. And Window World, they have windows that are one of 2 windows that are locked in with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. In just over 20 years of business, they have improved the look and thermal efficiency over 52,000 homes in Kansas City. Plus, your windows come with a lifetime warranty that covers all your parts, glass breakage, and labor. It also uses a double-strength glass. It gives it that extra strength that is not commonly used in your normal replacement windows. They are giving an incredible deal right now. They are offering 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. 18 months, that's a year and a half. So do me this favor. Give them a call for a free home estimate. Check out the website, and they can show you how they are simply the best for less. Fall is right around the corner. You know winter is going to be here before you know it. I want you to get ready, and the best way to do that is with my friends at Window World.
It's touchdown Kansas City when you sell your home to Rex at rexbuyskc.com. The champions when it comes to buying homes in Kansas City.
That's right, Mitch. We'll pay more for any home. No hassles or strings attached. We'll buy your home as is for quick, instant cash in only 7 days.
Every home seller scores more with Rex. Rex and his team buy homes for any reason. Bankruptcy, foreclosure, probate, damaged or vacant homes, as is, and you rush away with instant cash.
Homeowners, don't get sacked with a poor financial decision. Call me, Rex, now at 816-330-6000. Fair and honest prices because we know bad things can happen to good people.
Tackled by big home improvement costs, roofs, plumbing, exteriors cost you thousands. Pocket that money and walk away debt and worry free.
Before you sign to sell, call me at 816-330-6000 or online at rexbuyskc.com.
Call the champions, Rex Buys Houses at 816-330-6000 or online at rexbuyskc.com.
Inside the Huddle with Cody and Gold, each day from noon until 1 on 610 Sports Radio. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC on the official radio partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. 610 Sports Radio.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Yo, J Balvin here. Verizon just hooked me up with a new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium. How can you get one? By switching to my plan at your Verizon store, get the amazing new iPhone 15 Pro on them. When you trade in any iPhone, any model, any condition, guaranteed. And listen to my new song, Dientes, on your way to get the new iPhone 15 Pro.
Don't miss out. Switch to my plan from Verizon today. It's your Verizon. $999.99, 128 gigabyte only. Device payment purchase or full retail purchase with new smartphone line on unlimited ultimate plan required. Less $1,000 trade-in or promo credit applied over 36 months. Promo credit ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. 0% APR.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
Arvest Bank, proud supporter of your Kansas City Chiefs radio network. Arvest Bank, proud supporter of your Kansas City Chiefs radio network. Stop by any Arvest branch to find out why banking with Arvest and the Arvest Go mobile app makes life easier. Arvest Bank, proud to be here game day. Let's do this.
All right, back here on Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Jay Binkley, Drew Nixon with you. Be joined by Josh Klingler, Chiefs sideline reporter, host of Fesco in the Morning. Coming up in about a half hour, Kling will be on the sideline tomorrow night at Arrowhead, and now it looks like going to be rain-free. Earlier in the week, it looked like we were going to have rain during the game tomorrow night, Bink. I think we're going to be good to go for the Chiefs and Broncos tomorrow night with no field condition problems, which is good news when you're coming back from an ankle injury. If Travis Kelce's playing, good news for Nick Bolton. Really good news for everybody.
When's the weather ever right? They've been calling for rain forever, and it's not. Yeah, it's been hotter than expected. We never get rain.
Yeah, but the temps dropping Friday. I think we're getting back down to fall, like 60s, which was great. This past weekend
they always say it's going to rain, and it never does.
I know, but this past weekend was incredible. It really was.
Just stop calling for rain. Just let it happen.
It's all good. But you don't look at the forecast.
I stop. You know, there's no reason to. They always call for rain. It doesn't rain.
Good to go.
Or snow, and it doesn't snow. We barely even got an inch last year, if that.
Listen to 610.
That's
a little
right.
More. You
That's
should.
right.
We'll get to the random
100%.
question of
AM radio, baby.
the day in just a couple of minutes. Before the season started, Bink, what looked like an AFC loaded with quarterbacks hasn't necessarily played out that way so far in terms of dominant teams. Like if I were to ask you the best teams in football, I think there's only one great team 5 weeks in. One great, and the Super Bowl's not decided right now, I get it. There's one great team, and it's the San Francisco 49ers. That's who's at the top right now of the league. And then if you were to go pare it down to very good, that's where I think you find the Chiefs and the Eagles. And then after that, it's a bunch of Dolphins, Bills, Cowboys, maybe the Ravens, although they just lost this past weekend, were terrible against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know how they lost that game. That's how I see it going. We thought we were going to be sitting here talking about Kansas City, Cincy, San Francisco, and Philly, all as these great teams. They might all end up there at some point. Cincinnati's sitting at below 500 record. The Chiefs, we know they're 4-1, but there's flaws, certainly. Right now, the only team that we haven't found the flaw yet, it could emerge later, is the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, and you know what? You tend to look good. Pittsburgh, the 49ers played. It's got the third worst defense as far as yards per game in the NFL, right? They've got games against the Rams, the Giants, the Cardinals, and the Cowboys. So let's just be careful crowning the 49ers. Their schedule has not been a juggernaut this year. I think the Eagles are just as good as the 49ers.
Now, the only thing I'll say about the Cowboys, because they got embarrassed by the Niners, now we view the Cowboys differently.
They got embarrassed by the Cardinals.
Before that, we looked at the Cowboys, and I think people had higher hopes.
They beat the hell out of the Giants, but you and I and Drew could beat the hell out of the Giants.
I hate the schedule argument in the NFL 5 weeks into the season, though.
But
it's not college football. The schedule's set. You play who's in front of you. You can't tell me the Niners don't look like the most complete team in football.
They do, but come on, you got to.
I'm not telling you they're going to win the Super Bowl.
You have to look at their schedule. Their schedule's been crap. I put the Eagles just right there with the Niners.
I'm not telling you they're going to win the Super Bowl, but if the Super Bowl was played this weekend, they would win and they would be the champs. Yes, but the Super Bowl's not in October.
I don't know if the Niners would beat the Eagles.
Jalen Hurts has not looked the same as a year ago. He has not looked the same.
They're still 5-0, two 5-0 teams.
I know the season's not ending this weekend. I get that. I'm just telling you, if it were right now, do you think anybody's better than the 49ers? And you think the Eagles are better?
I mean, who did the Niners play? They got Cleveland this week without Deshaun Watson.
Play this game with every team in the
league. Then they got Minnesota. Then they got the Bengals, and then Jacksonville and Tampa. When's the tough team? Oh, they got the Seahawks finally down the road and versus Baltimore at home. But their schedule, there is not a tough opponent. Now, we can play the game.
We can play the same game, Bink. Who the Eagles played? The Eagles played the Patriots. Yeah, that's a high-quality opponent. They played the Vikings, who are 1-4. They played the Bucs, who are surprisingly sitting at 3-1. I'll give you that one, I guess. But nobody actually thinks the Bucs are going to end up being there when it matters. The Commanders stink, and they just beat a Rams team that's pesky, but nobody thinks the Rams are that good either.
Well, the Eagles have to play the Chiefs in Kansas City. They do have to play the Buffalo Bills.
Wait till they get there. You're looking ahead already. We're talking about right now.
And they do play the Niners. That'll decide a lot right there.
Well, sure, but
when the Eagles play the Niners.
We're talking right now, man.
I'm just saying, who have the Niners played?
Who have the Eagles played? We can play this game with so many teams in the NFL.
Well,
hell, the Chiefs, to be
have
honest,
had a tougher schedule than all of them.
To be honest, though, I mean, the Lions and Jags are the two teams that are going to possibly win their division, but some people were poking holes in the Chiefs' schedule. It's ridiculous. It's too early in the season to play the schedule game.
I just would put the Eagles right there with the 49ers.
What's that?
I'd put the Eagles there with the 49ers. I think there's three teams that are upper echelon. Right. It's the Niners and the Eagles in the NFC and the Chiefs in the AFC.
When it's all said and done, there's a very good chance the Chiefs, Niners, and Eagles will be the three teams we all say are neck and neck. I'm just saying we can't hit the fast forward button yet. And as of right this second, I look at the eye. Sometimes we don't have to do deep analytical dives. We don't have to go DVOA crap, EPA junk. We can just watch the game with our eyes. And I don't know how, if you're just watching, and you've watched way more football than I have even, but you and I watch a ton of football, how you can't just watch the Niners and understand why they look like the best team.
I'll be honest with you. It was sitting here and it was $500 and you had to take the Eagles and the Niners to the field to get this. Okay. Of course I'm doing it.
Right.
Of course, if you had the Eagles and Niners. But are you confident in the Niners enough to say, okay, would you take the Niners to the field in the NFC to get to the Super Bowl?
In the NFC, I would do that to get there. Not to win the Super Bowl.
Just to get there.
To get there, I would still make that bet right now. I would.
I would not be shocked if it's the Chiefs versus the Niners or the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I'm not telling you that I would be stunned if the Eagles get there. But right now, if you're asking me to put money on who's going to represent the NFC 5 weeks into the season, there's no doubt I would love to be betting at those odds on the 49ers to get there. That's all I'm saying right now.
I'm just saying.
The Lions are legit, but they're just a tier below. Like, The Lions need to hope that they are the number 2 seed and avoid playing the San Francisco 49ers until the NFC title game. Because I think the Cowboys found out the same thing. Cowboys are a really good team. Really good. They're going to win a playoff game, I think, this year.
I think that is a stretch to the imagination.
They have to. See, this goes back to what we said to start the conversation. They lose to the Niners, and now everybody thinks the Cowboys suck.
They got blasted by the Cardinals by 12 points a couple weeks ago. The team sucks. Dak Prescott can't hit a receiver.
Chiefs lost to the Colts last year. They won the Super Bowl.
But Dallas has issues, man.
Oh, for sure they have issues. Again, I'm just telling you, the only team that looks like they don't have flaws is the Niners. The Chiefs have issues. The Eagles have issues right now as well. The Cowboys have issues, no doubt. The Bills certainly do. Just about that's my point, is like every other team I think I can pinpoint the issue. Right now, I don't know what's the issue with the Niners right now? It's 5 weeks in, but what's the issue with them?
Give him credit. Brock Purdy continues to win. He's always won, but inexperience there and their schedule. Their schedule has been extremely weak.
The schedule doesn't.
But it has
that's
been.
Not a flaw,
it is
though.
What it is. But it is what it is. I understand you have to play who you have to play, but I'm saying they've not been great teams.
The schedule. If you want to tell me that you're still unsure on Purdy, I don't know how you can still be now based on what he's done. But that one I can listen to.
I just know the Niners last year, everybody's dream. The Chiefs go and put 44 on them in San Francisco and 529 on the number 1 defense.
Yeah, and their last loss was
the Eagles
in the regular season.
Chiefs.
They
also lost. They also lost the Eagles in the playoffs.
And they had with their third string with Christian McCaffrey playing quarterback.
They didn't have a quarterback.
Yeah,
I'm saying there's a lot of season to go.
That's what I've said. It's week
earmark that Eagles-Niners game.
I'm with you. I'm just saying fortunately, it's not played this weekend, but if it was, I don't know how you couldn't be taking the Niners over everybody.
Is that a primetime game, that Eagles-Niners? Because that's going to be fantastic.
If not, it's like the Fox game of the week.
It'll be flexed,
game or whatever they call it these days.
That's the game of the year in the NFL at this point.
Yeah. Someone on the text line, 913-586-7610 Bink, says, issue with the Niners is their coach. Great in the regular season, dumbass in the playoffs. Okay. Hold on. So I think I've said this multiple times. I think Kyle Shanahan is.
You love the Niners, man.
Kyle Shanahan.
It's a deep love.
Is the new Andy Reid pre-Super Bowl. We all knew Andy was a great head coach. We all knew he knew what he was doing, one of the most creative offensive minds, can get you to the postseason, can get you to NFC title games. But people started to question him and say he could never win the big one. Then Andy did it, and now he's in conversations that he could pass Bill Belichick at some point. That's where Kyle Shanahan's at now. He hasn't won the Super Bowl. We all know he's a good coach. But until he does that, he's going to be questioned the way we all questioned Andy Reid prior to winning it. Fair or not, that's where he's at. I think Kyle Shanahan's a hell of a coach. But
I think he ends up at least 2 rings.
It will take him winning a ring for, I think, everybody to probably put him in proper place. And that's fair. You got to win a ring at some point if you're going to be one of the greats of all time. Kyle Shanahan's one of the best offensive play callers in the league. But at some point, yes, he does have to win it. And we all know they were up late in the third quarter against Kansas City in the Super Bowl. And fortunately, the Chiefs were able to come back and win.
That was his chance.
That was definitely their best chance.
That was a scary chance.
Although right now, the way that roster looks with a rookie quarterback, or rookie contract, I should say, with Brock Purdy,
what he's doing,
that roster's stacked.
What he's doing with Purdy is amazing, but they do rely on that defense.
Who's the DC over there now? DeMeco Ryans is gone.
You know what?
Because I think
they lost DeMeco Ryans.
Is that Raheem Morris? Raheem?
That's
Morris?
Rams, I think.
Yeah.
Who the heck is the DC? In San Fran. I don't know. That's a good
question. Because I think that's something that
Steve Wilkes.
I feel
Steve Wilkes.
Stop guessing.
It's Steve Wilkes.
Is it? Okay.
I think so.
Well, you think or is it?
It is, right?
It is or is you think?
It's Steve Wilkes.
It is. Okay, confirmed.
I think that's something that not necessarily makes him a better coach, but the fact that they lost
former Panthers interim coach, former Missouri assistant.
They lost the best DC arguably in all of football, and there's still a very elite defense. I think goes to show you that he knows personnel enough to get the right guy in the building, because we've seen the complete opposite of that with the Denver Broncos, where Fangio is in there. They're amazing. He leaves. They're terrible with Vance Joseph, and the team, out of nowhere, regardless of whether you have a Hall of Fame coach or not, is not good. I think that's another thing that, even at the college game, we talk about that too. When you lose coordinators, like how good are you without your coordinators? And I think this is, magnifying that Shanahan still is one of the best. But I agree with, you guys. You have to win that Super Bowl for you to really get the proper elevation to elite status, if you will.
Someone says Shanahan the year after the Super Bowl loss to Kansas City went 6-10. Again, context matters. Go back and look. I think they had
Jimmy G was out, didn't he?
Jimmy G got hurt for most of the year. Kittle was out for most of the year. They didn't have, obviously, McCaffrey at that point. They had injuries all over the place. Nick Bosa was hurt for a little bit that year. So, again, context matters. It's not just throwing out records and just saying that must have been a terrible season. Well, we can all box score watch.
What Purdy's doing is outstanding, but that's such a good system and scheme. And that defense, too. You give Mahomes a defense like the Niners have had. The Niners only giving up 13.6 points a game. Number one in the NFL. Once again, give Mahomes a defense like the 49ers and see what happens.
This year he's got his best one.
But you know what? It's a culture thing with the 49ers because it doesn't matter with D'Amico Ryans, Steve Wilkes. I mean, they're going to be good regardless. So they're starting to get the Ravens because the Ravens have switched defensive coordinators all the time, but they continue to be good. They've fallen off the last couple of years, but they had this culture thing going for at least 15, 16 years.
All right, let's get to it, Drew.
Random question.
If I could click it properly. For you, Gold. For you, Bink. Random question. So I've been having a little bit of a bank issues here over the last 24 hours.
Issue?
Yeah, a bank problem. But it's not specifically about my bank issue. It's in general, how bad do things have to go? Also for the text line, how bad do things have to go where you say, I'm out? This could be with a bank. This could be with a subscription. This could be with a relationship as well. How bad do things have to get for you to say, I'm done?
We're talking financial institution.
It really depends on the circumstance. I mean, like, if you're upset with your bank, switching banks is a pain in the ass. Mm-hmm. They better have really screwed you over because getting everything switched over with your auto pay stuff, your payroll, all that is a pain. It's one thing when you just get a new card number because maybe your card got stolen or lost and not just the expiration date change, but the card number. That's just a pain in the butt. So for banks, it takes a lot for a bank to, I think, piss you off that you're going to switch.
No, it does, but then you have to trust them, too. Stay open.
Sure.
Because they'll find one that's stable.
Fair.
But it's tough. You know what? We have so many decisions as consumers right now because we're really faced with it every day you go somewhere. Whether it's a pharmacy you go to that are everybody's short-staffed now, and you make decisions. We have decisions when we watch TV, what you're going to do for streaming services, and we make decisions. And I think banks are starting to fall in that category, too. You have to be happy as a consumer. Yes, you have to go through a bit of a headache, as Gold's saying here, because it is an absolute headache to switch. But, it's getting to that point where, as consumers, we're switching everything on what we do all the time because we can't get a stable company that we used to trust.
So there's a bank that's ticked you off then. Don't name them on the air, but clearly.
No, well, and this bank up until now has been very good. For me as well. So this is where it's
is it a national chain or is it something local back home?
It is national.
Okay.
But there's a situation where it's almost like we're charged double, and there's a miscommunication between the app and what actually we might, based on following the app, we think we should be at a certain amount of money. However, we're not. We're a little bit lower than that. So that's the question that I have. For that, but I
gotta stop checking out the OnlyFans account of that Missouri teacher we brought up a week ago.
You sound like you're having a hell of a time here. The snake, the bank. I mean, is anything going right?
The bank.
Is anything going right, Drew?
Yeah, this is true. It's like, screw the apartment, screw the bank. What else?
What's going on, Drew? Let's talk about this. What else is going on?
My wife's car got broken into a few days after.
No, just the one time.
Yeah,
since you've been here.
Yeah,
just
first second night.
It was like the second night that we were here. My wife's car got broken into. It's been a little bit of a whirlwind. Outside of our jobs, it's been a little hectic, but something keeps on coming up.
But what else can you switch from? For me, I can't switch internet providers. My apartment only has the one.
Streaming is the easiest thing by far to just up and leave.
Yeah, that is nice.
You
can cut the cord and cut the company on that pretty quick.
But you have to reset a lot of things too. All your devices you got to set with the new Wi-Fi. That could be a pain.
That can, but that's not too bad. I mean, if you have really, you're talking about one login though, because if you have the Fire Stick and you switch from YouTube TV to let's say Hulu, you just have one new sign on. You don't have to redo the Wi-Fi.
All your devices, you still. Need
it
to
all
put
comes back to being in a relationship. I feel like if you're with AT&T or Verizon or whoever you're with for a long period of time. And everything's good, and then something happens. Is that and it's bad? It's like, why is this happening to me? Is that enough to make you switch even after a certain amount of time? I mean, if you're in a relationship with somebody and there's something that really irks your nerve that has never really come up before, is it enough for you to really be triggered by it enough to?
I think relationships way different, right? I mean, you're talking about like that. There's a lot of things that can go into that versus like you're just talking about like a business upsetting you, causing you to switch. In a relationship, if you're not happy or if somebody does something and it stops respecting you or whatever, that's a whole different ball game. in a relationship.
You just get divorced. It's pretty easy.
Bank, yeah.
Yeah, you easily do.
And you can just get married again.
You can get married again, and get divorced again.
And again.
Whatever you want to do. I mean, there's solutions. I'm the wrong guy to ask.
No, you're the perfect guy to ask, actually.
I've made some switches.
You're one of the many solutions.
Bink has bailed when he wasn't happy anymore.
That's right. You're not happy, you switch.
Bink has
You
bailed.
hit the transfer portal.
Bink has transferred a couple times.
You hit the transfer portal.
Just a few transfers.
Well, poor Drew, man. So listen, it comes in threes. Something's got to go right, man.
Be honest. Do you have any Bengals stickers on your car?
Yeah, that could have been bad.
That's not smart if that's the case.
I don't even have a Bengals sticker on my laptop, and I have a lot of stickers
Good.
on my
That's
laptop.
a good idea. I wouldn't put it on there.
I don't have anything that I put on my car.
Alex got a good point there.
I don't have a flag that sits outside.
Have you
the
changed
apartment.
the plates to local, like to Kansas or wherever you're on the Kansas side?
You got Houday still on it, or
I've never had a plate border, if you will, for my plates. I've never had any.
There was some car.
If you're a Bengals fan.
There was some car that said like Burrow is my daddy or something on the parking lot. It was weird on their car.
That was not mine.
I'm guessing that was yours.
Do the little tail that comes out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Drew's car in the parking lot.
Well, something's going to happen, right, for you, Drew? It really will. I mean, the bank issue. Just something's got to go right. Is anything going right?
Oh yeah, I've got this job and it's going very well. That's going very well.
Well,
I get to talk to you on the radio and Gold and Cody.
So that's positive, man. Think positive. That's a positive step. You can come in every day and you're happy, and that's good. You love college football. We had a great season going so far.
I'm still efforting getting one of you two, our old producer's Heisman vote. That's a campaign we're working on still. Yeah.
What's the process to even have that happen? Anyways, I mean, you have to reach out and contact.
It's become a running
somebody?
joke on the show. Nick Pryor had it at one point. Nick ended up having it because I think somebody else left and they gave it to him, and he's always kept it. Or something.
I had the AP for a while, but then I did. Everybody reads the AP. Everybody goes by the rankings until the college football playoff rankings. Everybody looks at
AP rankings don't mean a damn thing.
Yeah, but everybody mentions
them. They don't matter.
Everybody says, the second ranked team, the fifth ranked team. They do value them more than you, Gold.
It's a marketing
The AP vote, but we look at them.
You look at them. The AP rankings mean absolutely nothing in basketball. They mean absolutely nothing in football.
Then why do you look at them?
I don't look at them.
You never reference the fifth team. You
no,
talked about Oregon and Washington.
In fact,
the seventh and eighth team going at it. You haven't mentioned that at all.
No, not as that.
Come on.
No. Here's why. You know why I don't mention it? It actually is a big pet peeve of mine. Because on broadcast, they'll say, man, what an upset in the SEC tonight. Number 15 lost to number 25. And then you go and look. Oh, number 25 was a touchdown favorite. It's not a damn upset. It's because the rankings suck.
So you don't look at them at all?
No, I don't. I used to care about them. This goes back. I don't like KU football's ranked again. I don't give a damn.
So 2017, you cared about them?
The rankings do not matter. It's where we have a college football playoff.
I still like the rankings.
We have a college football playoff that comes up with the rankings that actually matter for
they
bowl.
Do, but
we have the
NCAA
selection committee that even if you're number 5 in the country heading into the conference tournaments or whatever in the AP, whatever the committee views you as actually matters. They set the table.
So you don't look at the menu. Like, let's say ESPN. You don't look at the menu and say, ooh, 7th verse 8. You look at the ranked team. A couple weeks ago, we had 6
I already know who's
ranked
playing this week. I already know that Oregon and Washington are good teams. I don't need to know that
But
they're
it matters kind of where you're ranked, what people think of you, because they do play into
Again,
it as
it's
far
marketing,
as perception.
But it doesn't, perception, but it doesn't actually matter.
Gold, when I did it, I cared. I studied. I cared where I answered.
I
got emails.
I'm glad you cared.
I got
but
emails
the
from people, and I responded to each one of them. Why did you rank Mississippi State so low? Then they'd go and lose.
If you're emailing an AP voter about the ranking, you got some
I'll
issues.
never forget about it because I was doing it when the Royals were in the World Series against the Mets. I was sitting there responding to emails in New York. Old Miss and Mississippi State fans were all over why I was ranking them so low.
The text line likes it when you start getting a little bit, when you start raising your voice a little bit, Gold.
What did they say?
Are you getting angry?
Gold starts yelling, and then the AM radio waves seem to work.
Oh, yeah.
You're welcome.
All we need is you to get a little bit more fired up.
You're welcome.
It's really helping me today.
You're welcome. Keep that AM radio near you.
Just wait until KU's banned from the postseason, and then...
no, it's not happening. We're going to find out in like 10 minutes or so. It's not happening. Slap on the wrist just to get everybody all upset again.
Would you switch shows, Drew, if you were asked?
No.
What makes you say that?
He wants to switch banks, and I just asking the question.
I would not switch shows.
Would you switch shows if you were asked? Like if Rob came and you say, "Man, can you switch?"
No. I know.
Fun.
I know the flow. I know the system. Working with Cody and Gold is great.
Great answer.
I'm good right
here.
Great answer.
Smart answer. Great answer right there. It's a really good answer.
And
Thank
yes,
you.
the AP poll rankings do not mean a thing.
Stop.
They don't, Bink.
Both of you are just haters.
Sorry, Bink.
Haters.
No, we're not
haters.
I know that's your thing, man.
Capital H.
I know that's your thing.
I don't do it anymore. I did do it. Took it very seriously.
Bink, do you like
I
it
took
when...
it very seriously. There's only 2 in the state of Missouri.
Do you
very
like it when
seriously.
people storm the court or storm the field?
Yeah, it's fine. I love enthusiasm.
They're college kids.
I like enthusiasm. I like when the fans do it.
They're college kids. I got no issue
Some
with it.
of it gets old, though. It depends on what the situation is. If you just beat somebody that's barely better than you, I don't like it. But if you beat somebody you had no business beating, go ahead.
We can change and we can adapt. If you would ask me that question 10 years ago, I would have said, what are you storming the court if you're not ranked, blah, blah, blah. But now who cares? If they're 18-year-old, 19-year-old kids, they want to have fun. As long as nobody's trampling each other, that's the biggest concern.
I think it's fun when they get punched. When they run to the field, the player punches. I think that's funny.
My wife does think that the opposing team needs to get off the field.
I agree with that.
Before you then rush, but that wouldn't be as chaotic as...
Well, it makes it fun when players punch. The fans
They've done a better job. They've done a better job protecting on the court storm stuff. But overall, they're college kids. They're having a good time. Who cares?
If you had a bad game and you maybe lost the Heisman Trophy, and you think, man, I had a bad game, would you punch somebody?
I mean, knowing the repercussions...
Would you punch somebody, Drew?
But at the same time, you'd be very tempted to.
Why would you punch somebody?
It's kind of funny, actually, if you're running the field and you get punched. Because you're angry. You just lost the game. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, but then you get suspended, and
it's
you're
all part of the
definitely in
experience,
trouble.
man. It's all part of the experience.
Coming up next, we get back to the NFL and the Chiefs. Josh Klingler, I don't know if he's ever stormed a field. He's the Iowa grad. We'll ask him about that. And he's going to be on the field. No storming required at Arrowhead tomorrow night. We'll ask about the Chiefs and Broncos right here on Cody and Gold.
Chiefs fans, it's Jawan Taylor. Don't miss Cody and Gold weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
We're hiring residential garage door installers at Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. Join the team trusted here since 1927. Apply today, get a call today. No experience necessary. Paid training for motivated applicants to install garage doors. Hiring bonus up to $2,500. Mechanical, carpentry, or service industry experience is a plus. Good benefits include health, dental, vision, and pension. Earn as you learn to service the best garage door customers in KC. Apply today at overheaddoorkc.com.
Hi, it's Trey Smith, and in order for our team to get a victory, we need honesty, teamwork, work ethic, humility, and the golden rule. That's why my truck is from the dealer that embodies all those values, Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. And Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram also supports Giving Hope, whose sole purpose is to feed and clothe the needy in Wyandotte County and beyond. Giving back in the highest integrity, that's how Jeff and his team do business. For your next vehicle, visit or go to victorychryslerDodgeJeepRam.com.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
Mobile Wave, offering a broad range of repair services to bring your Mac, PC, and iPad back to working order. Diagnostic fees are waived for all first-time customers. Located in Lenexa. Online at MobileWaveRepairs.com. Mobile Wave, quick repairs, premium quality, affordable.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking. P.F. Chang's wanted to explore new possibilities for their website. They turned to AmericanEagle.com. AmericanEagle.com re-architected P.F. Chang's website, integrating multiple third-party systems to create a unified digital experience. The results? Improved page speed and performance, personalized content based on users' location, intuitive online ordering, an increase in organic search visibility, and a 40% increase in new users. For scratch-made Asian cuisine, visit your local P.F. Chang's or go to pfchangs.com for website design, development, digital marketing, and hosting that produce efficiency, revenue, and results. Visit AmericanEagle.com. P.F. Chang's and AmericanEagle.com. Another example of the best businesses in the world, turning to the best in the business for websites. Go to AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW1. That's 877-WEB-NOW1.
Inside the Huddle with Cody and Gold, each day from noon until 1 on 610 Sports Radio. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC on the official radio partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. 610 Sports Radio.
Pure at 350 Highway and Nolan Road has Kansas City's best VIP rooms, Kansas City's most beautiful women, and Kansas City's wildest post-game party. Till 3 a.m. Pure at 350 Highway and Nolan Road. The best VIP rooms, beautiful women, and now open Sunday, so you can celebrate a KC victory with the best post-game party in town till 3 a.m. Pure 350 Highway and Nolan Road.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/win and kick off the NFL season. That's FanDuel.com/win. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Must be present in a state where lawful to wager, must be 21 plus and present in select states. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, and Virginia. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona, 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 or visit KSGamblingHelp.com in Kansas. 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia or call 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelpma.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York.
Kelley Blue Book is the one-stop shop for pricing, fixing, selling, and instant cash offering. Instant Cash Offer is exactly what it sounds like. An official offer to buy or trade your car. Just enter your VIN or license plate, answer a few questions about your car's history, and what kind of condition it's in. In minutes, you'll receive an offer to sell or trade your car that you can be sure is fair. Then choose a dealer to purchase your car and schedule a time to meet. For all of the its, KBB.com.
Liberty Mutual presents How to Be the Life of the Party.
Okay, first turn the music off. Then ask for everyone's attention. Now, tell them that you customized your home insurance with Liberty Mutual and saved hundreds. Boom! Now everyone knows you're not just a pretty face. You have some brains inside that face that know how to save hundreds on home insurance. Woo!
Only pay for what you need at LibertyMutual.com. Based on recent survey of new customers who switched and saved. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and Affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue KC. Live healthy with Blue KC.
You're listening to 610 Sports Radio from the Max Motors Studios.
Hey, this is Trent McDuffie, and you're listening to the official broadcast partner of the Chiefs, 610 Sports Radio.
KCSP Kansas City, WDAF HD2 Liberty, always live on the free Odyssey app.
I think it's the first time all week. We made it to Wednesday this week without any Taylor Swift music.
Shout out to Kling.
That's all you, Drew. DJ Drew over there. Cody did text us. So Cody's off the rest of the week. Thanks in for Cody. But he did text us saying a source has told him that Taylor Swift will be at the game tomorrow night. So take it for what it's worth. There you go. Perhaps Taylor Swift will be in Kansas City tomorrow night. Someone I know that'll be on the field tomorrow night, though, Josh Klingler, Chiefs sideline reporter for the Chiefs Radio Network. Of course, you hear him every morning starting at 6 right here on 610 Sports Radio with Bob Fesco on Fesco in the Morning. Kling, I don't know if you've heard anything. Taylor Swift, maybe get the field pass this go around. You can get that one-on-one interview before the game.
Now, if she goes field pass is a tough one. That is a major – I'm not saying it's a major upgrade for her, but that's a major bleep show for everyone else.
Oh, man.
So I got to think that wouldn't be something they would want to take on. It's just that's a whole nother beast. We'll see. I don't know. I'm out of the guessing game. I think I got trolled last week in New York about this.
Really?
So I told this story on our show, but you guys might not have heard this, that myself, Dana Hughes, and Dan Israel, the executive producer of Chiefs Radio Network, were there before the game. We're 5 hours ahead of the game. We're up in the media room.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody else there. We're just sitting at our table. We're kind of working on the show and getting ready for the game and everything. And guy walks by in a suit. He's got an earpiece on. Looks like he's a security type dude. And he's walking by and he's talking on the telephone. He's having a conversation, and he walks by, and I hear him say, "Yeah, so Taylor Swift's dad is looking for you. Do you mind if I give him your number?" And then he goes through a door out to a hallway and is gone. And he didn't like turn around and say, "Haha, got you guys," or anything. So I'm like, maybe because it sounded like a frustrated guy who was a frustrated security guy that was just hearing, "Oh, great, now we got to accommodate a star that's coming here today." And that turned out not to have happened. So I don't know. Or they didn't get the answer they liked. I don't know. But I felt like after the end of it, I'm like, I think that guy was just trolling us because we were sitting there wearing Chiefs stuff, and he thought he'd get us by bringing up Taylor Swift's name. So I'm out of the guessing game business on this one. But a field pass would be interesting because that's where you go down to the field before the game. A lot of friends and family, some fans, some you probably, I don't know, some stadiums you can probably buy that experience as well. And so there's a number of people that are allowed on the field before the game. You're kind of in a roped off area, but I don't know if they would go to the lengths that it would take to get her down there or not.
Kling, have you noticed any difference this year from previous years? The villainous Chiefs, everybody thinks they're getting lucky with calls. And, there's a lot of Chiefs fans that show up on the road and kind of drowned out some of the fans. But it seems like there's a real animosity towards the Chiefs that we may not have seen in other years. You notice that at all?
Yeah, and you knew it would be coming at some point, and maybe the turnaround's easier. But we're getting, we're looked at like the Patriots now, and I guess that's okay. That's what Chiefs fans, didn't you aspire to be the Patriots? Like when the build was starting, you're like, man, if we only be the Patriots. And at the early point in time, for me, it was like, you got to beat New England, you got to beat Pittsburgh when Ben was there, and like those are the teams you got to overcome. You got to become those teams. Like, well, now it's the Patriots. And so what was always the Patriots? They get every stinking call and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I think that I think the Chiefs have entered that realm, which isn't a bad thing. Now, we can debate all we want. Sometimes the effect of some of the calls or whether or not some of the calls were correct. And it probably looks like we're homerish defending stuff, right? But, the Chiefs have a lot of penalties against them, too. In fact, they had more penalties last week against them. But maybe those key time ones are falling their way. I would tend to believe that if you're grabbing receivers and they're attempting to make a catch, you're going to get a flag. If you're just running down the field and you're not attempting to make a catch, maybe you don't get a flag. So MVS sold his way better than anybody on the Vikings sold theirs last week. So no, I don't know.
Wide receivers continue to be the big discussion. Obviously, Rashee Rice, I think everybody's in agreement, continues to show that he should be getting more playing time. Do you think that that's actually going to happen? We had Tony Gonzalez on the show earlier, and he thinks they need to whittle this thing down to like 2 or 3 guys and kind of let them try to get some rhythm and go.
Yeah, I don't know about whittling it down or maybe just flipping percentages.
Yeah.
I think if MVS and Sky Moore are going to be on the field the most, they need to be more productive. I think collectively they need to be more productive. They're the ones that are going to carry more playing time at wide receiver. They need to show it because others are getting more production with less snaps. And so maybe you see a flip-flop in percentages. Seemingly the trust factor's picked up a little bit. I agree with you guys on probably Rashee Rice has picked up in that regard. I mean, Justin Ross, we don't all, go through that again, right? The Justin Ross side. But he had, 6 plays on the field last week? And you remember like 3 of them. Granted, 2 were drops, but one was a really terrific catch, right? So you're like, well, he's at least showing in a short order. Some of the others play a lot more snaps and aren't as productive. So I wouldn't mind seeing like a flip-flop in percentages or give somebody a little bit more of a run because I would yield to Tony Gonzalez in this one, obviously. But I feel like, it's coming at a cost maybe of rhythm for some guys. Hard to get in a rhythm if you're coming out every other play. Hard to get in a rhythm if you're only in for these plays. And then what we don't know is, these are still rather young players in a playbook. Do they know all of it? Or are there certain packages for this guy, or there certain packages for this guy, and they haven't expanded for, I know every position, every spot, blah, blah, blah. I don't think we quite know that yet, but I'm with you. I think somebody needs to find a rhythm. Someone needs to emerge from this group so we all feel a whole lot better about it, especially because if no one continually does, well, guess what? Travis Kelce's going to get bottled up. And they're already doing some things to try to limit his productivity, and he's fighting through those things. But you want to clear out space for him too, right? And that can be done by being productive elsewhere.
I wonder, Kling, if this is going to be at the end of the game, you be interviewing running backs, because with the Broncos' run defense being so bad, it's last in the league. The Chiefs might just go out and just pound the ball in this game. We might not get our answer for a couple of weeks about receivers, because I don't think it's going to be a receiver-dominated game the next three.
Jay, I refuse to be in the category of predicting that they're going to run the football 40
times.
I've pounded on the table enough on that, and it never comes to play. They'll be throwing it all over the yard when we think, they're going to run it a whole bunch of times. But no, you're right. Their run defense is bad. Their pass defense isn't all that much better. They're 29th against the pass, and 32nd against the run. But 450 yards per game they're giving up. Even if you take out, and you can't, but even if you took out the 700-yard plus, the Chiefs average, I think 381 offensively, and the Broncos in 4 of their 5 games have given up more than that yardage-wise. So you can get after them any number of ways. So, yeah, I wouldn't think they're going to have more runs than passes. I'd be ecstatic if that was ever coming to play, but I think we know better, don't we?
Well, Alex and I were talking about that. On paper, the Chiefs will run for 200 yards, but in reality, it never goes like on paper, and they won't. Even though the next 3 weeks they're playing either the 32nd or 31st ranked defense, which should bode well for the offense. But again, you don't play these games on paper.
I think that we all want that perfect offensive game, right? More so than anything. I think we've seen a lot of really nice defensive games, and I don't mind seeing this defense go out there and put a stop to games and put their foot in the ground and be the difference maker. But, yeah, I think we'd all feel better if you had a kind of blow out the Jets type offense where everybody was cooking, everybody got theirs, you had a 100-yard receiver, you're running the football. According to the numbers, yeah, this would be the week. I just tend to side on it's a division rival. You know each other well. I just can't. It's hard to predict a blowout of a division opponent. Could it happen? Sure. But out ahead of time, you just never feel quite safe that that's going to happen despite all the troubles that they're especially having on defense. That's the amazing part, guys, to me. I don't know about you guys, but with this Denver team, it ain't Russell Wilson's problem anymore. He's actually playing a little bit better.
He is, yeah.
Offensively, they're okay. It's just they've had a really good defense, and a lot of the same pieces are back, and they're an absolute mess.
What's the path do you see for the Broncos past this year, though? Because even though Russ is playing better, they still can't get out of that contract for two plus seasons.
No, I think the play is, you're going to get year one with he and the coach. You're probably going to get revamping of their offense a little bit, personnel-wise, probably completely personnel-wise, right? You'll get in Sean Payton's people, I suppose. Defensively, though, again, these are a lot of people they brought back that had been a pretty good defense before. And so you got to feel that they're going to make a bunch of changes defensively. If not poor Vance Joseph, the coordinator who had a very limited stay as the head coach as well. He may be out quickly before next season too. And then, you're wedded to Russell Wilson. There's unfortunately no line item vetoes in the NFL. If you paid somebody money, a lot of times you're going to be stuck, and they're going to be on the hook for 80-something million, I think, even still after this year. And so they're not moving from Russell Wilson. You're going to have to make the best of it. But fortunately, I guess for them, there are bigger problems than Russell Wilson. He's not the problem this year.
Now, the one thing about this defense, too, Kling, when you look at it, the physicality they're playing with, and you probably see a lot of it right there on the sideline. What Snead was doing to McDuffie, to Jefferson, and kind of confusing. They were being extra, it was the Vikings running their mouth, Byron Murphy, and what they're going to do to the Chiefs receivers. It was the other way around, because one play, Valdez Scantling completely stiff-armed Byron Murphy to the ground. But What do you notice in these defensive backs? Because they look like they're just playing at a different level than we've ever seen, because the confidence and the physicality from this defense is something we haven't seen.
Yeah, a lot of downhill, and they don't even have what we would think to be their biggest thumper, right? Nick Bolton hasn't played for 3 games, but no, their ability to run downhill and get after things at all 3 levels has impressed me a lot. The defensive backs, Trent McDuffie is playing terrific. Then he just looks like not only physically, but from a confidence perspective, like I'm a seasoned pro. I got this. I'm a veteran. He just looks like he's got it. Snead continues to be Snead, which has been at that level before. He is matching now Snead to have 2 of the best at that position, and they can be kind of interchangeable. Gives you the opportunity to not just use Snead as the blitzer. Now McDuffie can be the blitzer, and you can not necessarily you can mask Snead having to cover the number 1 guy versus McDuffie can do that too. So their ability to be flexible and interchangeable with this defense has been really impressive. I mean, I trust 4 corners, 3 safeties, 4 linebackers, and about 10 defensive linemen. I mean, that's like 2 deep, where you feel like, there's no holes. I'll put any of those people in and feel absolutely great about what this defense is playing. And I suppose that feeds upon itself a little bit too, but it's become contagious in a good way.
Before we let you go, Kling, Nick Bolton, there's a report out today he's expected to play in this game. There's another report that made me laugh from Jeremy Fowler that said Travis Kelce's rehabbing aggressively because he, quote, hates missing games. How do you see the status panning out for both? Because I think Nick Bolton's going to play, but I still think Travis will not.
I think Travis will.
Okay.
You do have the extra time afterwards, so I got to think he's going to fake it through, even if it's and go and say I got to do this. And they'll let him do it. Nick Bolton was really close last week. I happened to be down on the field right as he was going through an individual workout with the Chiefs trainers, and it looked like he was still experiencing a little bit of pain, but they were doing all the lateral drills and trying to prove it to the coaches, and I think he was really close last week. So yeah, I got a feeling he's going to be back out there. You can't imagine he wants to miss any more time, as antsy as he can be as well. To get back after it. And same type of thing, like you test it in a game now, and then you do have some extra time now in the back end playing a Thursday night.
But a minute he's going to be added after this game to this defense. That's just an extra best,
Nice,
big piece in the
nice
offseason.
free agent.
Yeah.
I was going to say a nice baseball trade deadline acquisition.
100%.
Isn't it? Feels like
He's
it.
be nice and fresh.
Yeah.
And the other guy, too, Kling, that I love the signing of, Drew Tranquil. I mean, he hasn't missed a snap the last 2 games, but he's taken over with the green dot on his helmet, calling the defensive plays. But Drew Tranquil, I hate the fact it's only a 1-year contract. I wish it was more. But that guy seemingly makes a big difference with his defense.
Well, he might be interested in more, though. I mean, I think
likes
he's
it
probably fit into this defense pretty well, and might see signs of, hey, I'd like to stick around. Maybe the Chiefs are in that mode as well. Willie Gay is up after this year as well, so you're probably going to be looking at linebackers in that vein. And then the other one I think is really sneaky is Mike Edwards.
Yeah.
On the back end of the defense, like I can't say I watched a lot of Bucs football other than when they went head to head, and I know he got threw up the deuces to Tyreek in the Super Bowl and all those things. But he's been a nice sneaky acquisition too. He played a lot the other day, and I'm like, wow, they're really trusting him even early on this defense to jump in here and be your last man standing back at safety. I think he's done a terrific job, and kind of another quiet, under the radar signing they made before the season that's already panning out.
All right, Kling, appreciate it, man. We'll check in next week. We'll be listening tomorrow morning and certainly listening on the Chiefs Radio Network tomorrow night.
And then let me know on Taylor Watch. I'll rely on you guys to keep me posted.
Hey, Kling, one more thing.
Make sure Cody texts me, please.
I'll probably ask you on the post game, but how disappointed are you that in Germany, Oktoberfest will be done when you go?
I think the beer they'll still have plenty of beer.
Are you looking forward to that? Have you planned out which ones you're going to go to?
I don't think they'll be running out of beer, from what I understand.
It's time to start planning what you're doing.
They keep the beer flowing, so I'm sure we'll find it.
Okay. Just checking, man. It's important.
There you go. Josh Klingler joins us every Wednesday here on Cody and Gold. While we were talking to Kling Bink, the news we were keeping an eye on today was released. Kansas infractions case, the punishments. We were waiting to hear the news. And coming up at 4 o'clock, Travis Goff and Bill Self expected to address the media. So here it is. We expected it to be pretty light, and it was even lighter than expected.
Yep.
The IARP downgraded the severity of the 5 level 1 allegations against Kansas, ultimately saying it's a level 2 case, no level 1 violations. The independent resolution panel gave KU a 3-year probation, no effect on the program's postseason status. Bill Self, who was initially charged with a level 1 violation and self-suspended or self-imposed the suspension last year, 4 games, was instead charged with a level 3 violation, no additional penalties.
What, a level 3?
And assistant coach Curtis Townsend, who was suspended 4 games last year as well, also had his charges reduced from a level 1 to a level 2 and a level 3 violation with no additional penalties. Neither coach faces a show cause order, which would have obviously been tied to the level 1 violation. So after 6+ years, 2017 investigations and stalling and lawyers and money and a waste of time, no penalties except a 3-year probation, which is essentially nothing.
A level 3 violation.
It's going to be done with it, Drew. It's going to be done with it. This cloud hanging over recruiting, gone. Poof.
According to the story as well, reading towards the bottom, it says that IARP was beset with problems from the beginning. Investigators were not familiar with NCAA rules or investigative protocol. Well, no wonder it took so long.
They screwed it up. That story, by the way, from Pat Forty of SI, who I'm sure loved typing that story today.
Good reporting, as always, from Pat Forty.
Great reporting, and I'm sure he just hated to have to type that the violations
K-State and Missouri fans are just really in their feelings right now.
Well, no, you know what, though?
It's been a long time.
I think that we talked about this earlier. I think, and we had a couple Mizzou fans text in. So many people are just kind of like recognize it's taken so long, just like kind of be done with it. I think if this was 2018, Bink, the punishments would have been different and the reaction would have been stronger to like upset. I think a lot of it you're going to see is just going to be like, well, of course they got away with it kind of thing.
Yeah, it's KU.
I think that's but a lot of these punishments potentially that were talked about, or the allegations, I'm sorry, are things that now you can do. And so the longer it dragged out, it's a lesson through the NCAA. We've talked about this for years, just not even with KU. Unfortunately, when you cooperate, they screw you. Oklahoma State got screwed. Missouri got screwed when they cooperated with an NCAA investigation a couple years ago. We've seen this play out. If you don't cooperate, you're better off. And we were talking today, like maybe there's a slap on the wrist, a couple game suspension, but they self-imposed them last year, and that was good enough. There's no level 1 violations. The panel said, nope, level 3 stuff. It's a 3-year probation. That's it, which is nothing.
Nothing
Move
at
on.
all.
Done.
It sounds so backwards.
Wipe your hands clean.
They're
Bill
afraid
Self,
of Kansas.
Travis
The level,
Goff.
the NCAA has changed so much over time, but the NCAA is completely backing off what they're doing to the team.
And let's not forget, Billy Preston, who was the player at the center of this, along with, I guess, Silvio, DeSouza, and Zion. Billy Preston never played for KU. He got suspended. Silvio served a suspension, then got cleared by the NCAA. And Zion Williamson, we all know, went to Duke. It's over. It's done.
Now they can move on. Not that they already did.
It's done.
They knew this was going to happen.
Get this basketball season going.
They knew this was going to happen.
Let's get this season going.
When is it there?
Did you really think anything was going to happen, though?
No, we talked about earlier today. I thought worst case scenario, maybe they would still try to do the vacating of the wins from that season. That didn't even happen. Maybe there was a 4-game suspension still for Self. That didn't even happen.
That's a big win, keeping those.
Well, I feel
it's done.
I feel like because of the reason you said they didn't touch the wins because 2 of the guys didn't even play.
Yeah,
for him.
That might have been part of the reason.
And one, D'Souza wasn't.
I mean, honestly, it ended up being nothing.
And
after
D'Souza
all
wasn't
that,
a world beater either. He was all right.
I mean, that was it. Let's just get to playing some basketball now here in a couple weeks. All 3 local schools hopefully can carry the momentum from last year.
Does KU does like a Midnight Madness thing, right?
They already did it. Late Night in the Fog. Missouri did something too.
They already did it?
Yeah, that was a week or 2 ago. Yeah, that was a week.
I missed that.
That was a week or 2
Seems
ago.
a little bit early to be doing it.
Yeah, but it's about
They always do it right on that. Yeah.
It's always early.
Usually midnight is when it's
but
actually.
Way back when, it was actually at midnight, you know, but now they've set it up a little bit differently. So there you go. That was the news we were waiting for. It ended up being not even lighter than what everybody already thought was going to be light. In this case, just wait it out, Bink.
No additional penalties.
Nope.
That's the key.
That is definitely the key there. All right, coming up next, guys, we'll get to what's trending. Besides that, in the NFL, some injury news we want to get to. And we had a chance earlier to talk with Tony Gonzalez, Pro Football Hall of Famer, Chiefs great, get his perspective on the injury for Travis Kelce. And once age starts catching up to you, do you realize it? How do you prevent it? All that next with Tony Gonzalez.
Chiefs fans, it's Scott Moore. Don't miss Cody and Gold weekdays starting at 10 on 610 Sports Radio.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. For asphalt, concrete, and parking lot maintenance, Gann Asphalt and Concrete. One contractor, all things parking lot. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. Online at GANNasphalt.com.
You've heard me talk a lot about betting in the state of Kansas, and you've heard a lot of people talking about just betting on this football season. But there's one area where you don't want to bet on, and that's your health. That's your vision health. And it's one area where I wasn't willing to risk it all. And that's why I called up my friends at Dury Vision, because they're the best in Kansas City. And I knew when I wanted to find out, could I move on from my glasses and my contacts? Could I just see every day when I wake up in the morning? I wanted somebody that I could rely on, and that was Dury Vision. I went in for my free consultation and found out I was a candidate. I went in and had my procedure just 2 days later, and the very next day I was driving right back into work here and doing this show on 610 Sports Radio. Dury Vision's performed over 65,000 vision correction procedures. You can find out if you're a candidate for LASIK as well by calling them at 913-491-3330, 913-491-3330, or you can go online to learn more about them as well at duryvision.com, and then be sure to tell them Alex Gold from 610 Sports Radio sent you. 913-491-3330.
Well, it's Carrington from the drive-thru. You know what I like to do after the show? I like to just relax a little bit. I like to go somewhere, have a nice bite to eat, make sure I can watch the game, and just relax. The perfect place to do that is at the other place. They've got televisions all across the bar, so I never miss a second of the action. Plus, they got amazing Red Friday specials like $6 select appetizers, $5 Kona Big Waves at all the locations. So stop by one of the 3 locations, Shawnee, Olathe, and downtown Overland Park. Plus, they have 2 new locations opening up in Mission and Belton.
Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, it's Bob Fesco. This NFL season, Crown Royal is giving back to the generous hosts that make game day royal. To the fans that open their doors and celebrate Kansas City game day, cheering on our tight end with a plate full of burnt ends. So raise a glass for the hosts of every watch party and kick off with Crown, because Crown Royal believes if you live generously, life will treat you royally. Visit crownroyal.com to find out how Crown is living generously all season long. Please drink responsibly.
Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. All you got to do is place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel for this football season, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is super easy to use, and you got a wide spread of betting options, spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. And I love the boost. Great bonus options from FanDuel. So visit FanDuel.com, use my promo code CDOT, and kick off this NFL season. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL, and also 610 Sports Radio. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires 7 days after a street. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
At Novavax, we want to make sure you have all the facts. And the fact is, there are different types of COVID-19 vaccines available. So if you're thinking about getting an updated vaccine, ask your doctor or pharmacist about the options available to you so you can make an informed choice. Find out more at WeDoVaccines.com. That's WeDoVaccines.com. This message was brought to you by Novavax.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing, together millions of things for our planet. As autumn temperatures get cooler, here are some simple things you can do to help out the environment. Remove any window air conditioners. Check window and door seals for proper insulation to keep heat in and cold air out. And replace the air filter in your furnace to keep it running at peak efficiency all winter long. When we each share our one thing, it becomes 100 things, 1,000 things, 1,000,000 things for our planet. What's your one thing?
It's time to roll out the red carpet for, well, new carpet. There's no better time than right now at the Home Depot, where the more you buy, the more you save. Save up to 15% on select special order carpet styles you love from brands you trust. And installation is included on qualifying purchases. Start your carpet project today at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Offer valid October 12th through October 29th. Receive up to 15% off select special order carpet purchases. Minimum purchase required. Exclusions apply. For licenses, see homedepot.com/license numbers.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
The 610 Sports Radio phone line is brought to you by Onder Law Injury Lawyers. Visit getjim.com.
This report is brought to you by Drug Enforcement Administration in Kansas City.
Fentanyl is on the rise, making drug overdoses a leading cause of death. Join the fight against drugs. Visit DEA.gov/careers to learn about open positions and how to apply.
What's trending?
All right, let's check in on the hot topics trending.
Number one on what's trending, we just touched on it a little bit, Bink. The infractions committee, the ruling from that involving KU's basketball program came out in the last 15 minutes or so. KU avoiding any serious penalties during the infractions case from the IARP. In fact, they downgraded the severity of the 5 level 1 allegations, ultimately saying it was a level 2 case. The Jayhawks got a 3-year probation, but no effect on the postseason. Bill Self, who was initially charged with a level 1 violation and had the self-imposed suspension for 4 games last year, was instead charged with now a level 3 violation, no additional penalties. And same with Curtis Townsend, who was suspended 4 games last year, had his charges reduced from level 1 to a level 2 and a level 3 violation with no further penalties. There's no show cause order for either coach because there were no level 1 violations. It all turned out to be a bunch of nothing, and we move forward.
Move forward, close the chapter. 6 years of you sitting and waiting. You're extremely excited, actually, by the way.
Bill Self, Travis Goff going to speak at 4 o'clock this afternoon.
4 o'clock. I'm sure Carrington will have a few thoughts on that as well coming up on the drive.
What a waste of money. What a waste of time for everybody involved.
Kelsey and Bolden, the official injury report's not out yet from the Chiefs. Limited practice yesterday. Kling seems to think that Kelsey give it a go tomorrow night. I think he'll play maybe limited snaps. Bolden, a little bit unsure of. I mean, he probably will be suited up and play, but I expect Drew Tranquill to get most of the snaps there because just give that a little bit of extra rest because you have that little mini bye playing on Thursday night. But Tranquill's been – it's not like this defense has been struggling at all with him in.
No, Tranquill's been fantastic. I think that's why it's allowed you to be really cautious as well with Bolton. But definitely like the update that you mentioned there, that there's a very good chance he's expected to play. We talked to Kling just a short while ago. He thinks Travis Kelce's gonna play, give it a go in some form or fashion as well. Next up on what's trending, MLB postseason continuing tonight. Braves, Phillies, that series tied at a game apiece, and the Dodgers and Diamondbacks. How about the D-backs? Up 2-0 on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Last night we saw the Rangers sweep the Orioles, and the Astros take a 2-1 lead over the Minnesota Twins up in Minneapolis.
I think there's no bigger Diamondbacks fans than the Orioles. Everybody talk about the Dodgers and how they're choking in the playoffs instead of the Orioles. I actually like the Major League playoffs. I think it's fun this time of year. I mean, what a great time for sports, college football going on. You get those Tuesday and Wednesday Sun Belt and Conference USA games.
I know you like those Tuesday night.
on Thursday.
Liberty, Jacksonville State games.
100% I like those. Got New Mexico State rolling in the night. Jerry Kill out with New Mexico State.
The old Minnesota coach.
And K-State, he helped out at K-State
more
for
recently.
He was a weekly guest.
Head coach, though. Yeah. I know it. Yeah, he was an assistant.
Yeah. But anyway, I like watching some baseball playoffs.
All right.
Like the Royals to be in it, but
Sure. Next up on What's Trending, Bank, Anthony Richardson going to the IR, but expected to return at some point this season, quarterback for the Colts. And the Bills did place linebacker Matt Milano on IR. He's expected to be out for the season. Dolphins placing their talented running back, one of many they have there, Devin Achane, on IR. He's expected back from a knee injury at some point week 11.
And these do matters with the Chiefs because he will not be playing the Chiefs in Germany with the HA and not missing that game. And Matt Milano's big for the Bills going on IR, and you knew it was going to happen because he was hurt. But that already compared with, and also Tre'Davious White gone. They re-signed Josh Norman. I mean, the Bills' defense taking a few hits here with some key contributors, especially Milano.
That is what's trending here on Cody and Gold, as you can hear as we're talking on the show. Bink has been in for Cody today. You will be on post-game coverage late tomorrow night, into Friday morning, basically.
Late stuff.
So Dusty will be with me tomorrow, and then Friday we'll kind of have some post-game on the show. Drew and I will be hosting. We'll have Pete Sweeney stopping by, so Cody will be back with us on Monday.
Club 610 will be rocking.
Club 610 on Friday, hopefully after a beatdown of the Denver Broncos.
Who's making the drinks? Because Cody usually
So
does.
this one is the canned cocktail from Rieger. They got their Electric Park canned cocktails that are really good, and what a fitting week to have these. Do you know what the cans look like? A big old Jayhawk on them. Perfect timing for this
They do
week.
look pretty sick on the outside.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing. You know, everybody thought the program and everybody was screwed. Bill Self was going to get banned from college basketball. Instead,
Yeah, who
they
thought
won
that?
4 Big 12 titles, went to 2 Final Fours, won a national championship, and are the winningest program in college basketball history. Earlier today, we caught up with Tony Gonzalez, Chiefs great, Hall of Fame tight end. He's part of Amazon Prime's Prime pregame show tomorrow night for the Chiefs and the Broncos. And we started our conversation with Tony Gonzalez, asking him about this Chiefs offense, which certainly hasn't looked like the offense from a couple years ago. What has he noticed that needs to be fixed?
Well, I think a lot of it probably has to do with maturity, the youngness of the receivers. I mean, you're right that this offense, it doesn't look anything like it's looked in the past. But I will say this, they can run the football. Isaiah Pacheco is an attitude. I loved what he did last year, and I think that's really what made the difference for them last year, to be that complete offense, and it's going to be the difference this year. You have to be able to run the football. You can have the greatest quarterback of all time, or one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in Patrick Mahomes, but you still have to have the threat of the run, and he brings that attitude and that enthusiasm, and I think he's a key part of what they want to do, especially at this point, because those receivers – they're dropping too many balls right now. And this is coming from me, who led the league in drop balls my second year. I dropped 16, so it can be fixed. And I think as you keep going, obviously you have the greatness of one of the greatest to ever do it in Travis Kelce. But after that, you have guys that just don't have that experience. And the best way to have experience is to keep – I love Patrick Mahomes' response where he said, hey, I'm just going to keep coming to you. I'm going to keep feeding you the ball. And that creates a trust and an accountability by those young players. It's like, you better step up and catch this ball because you got one of the greatest to ever do it, trusting you. That has to evolve and it has to get better. And I don't know. I think at this point, you might start to see it come down a little bit. They have so many young players that they're throwing to. Maybe it's one of those things. Let's just pick 2 or 3 of them, like Rice or Watson, or and be like, hey, let's really focus on getting those guys. Well, along with Travis, let's still get him his 10 catches a game, but start to focus on a smaller group just to get those guys more experience, more reps, more comfortability, because they're a playoff team. I still think they're the best team in the AFC because of that defense too. This is the best defense Patrick Mahomes has ever had. One of the top defenses in the league. They are still, if they can just get that offense to catch up, I think they have a chance to be better than they were last year. But right now, it's not where it's supposed to be, but I anticipate that'll get fixed.
You mentioned drops and how it's something that can be corrected. As you mentioned, some of the issues you had early in your career. We had Danon Hughes, one of your old teammates, on the show earlier this week. He actually referenced that very thing. He said, hey, I was with Tony Gonzalez. We all know how his career turned out. But in the first couple of years, maybe drops were an issue. So you feel like that is something that's correctable for Rashee Rice in particular. That's the young player that everybody here would like to see get some more playing time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt. There's no excuse. Drop balls. These guys are pro football players. They were drafted or whatever, came out of schools. They for a reason they're on the team is because they can catch the football. They can get open and catch the football. So it's not about that. It's not about can you. It's about will you. And that, to me, the way you correct it, the way I corrected it is, I had certain drills where I don't want to catch from the jug machine. I want you to put your mouthpiece in and buckle your chin strap. And I want your eyes as wide as this. And I want you to turn around and come out of a break. And I'm going to fire that ball, not at your chest. I'm going to fire it up here to the left or the right or down here. I called it around the world. And I did this drill after I dropped those balls. I did that drill towards the end of my year, my second year. And I did it from until the end of my career. And I hardly ever dropped balls after that. There are drills to correct this and an emotion that you need to put yourself in during practice. You drop balls during the week. That means you haven't been focusing all week, to me. And once you get that down, you'll be able to show up in the game where it's no different. It's like, hey, I've been doing this all week. So when it comes in the game, I'm totally comfortable, because that's what it is. It's just a nervousness, or your hands are like this. I mean, it's all reps, just like a jump shot or free throw. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it.
Out of these young wide receivers, you mentioned a couple of them. It's Rashee Rice, it's Sky Moore, it's Kadarius Toney, it's Justin Ross. Is Rashee Rice the answer maybe to this question? Who stands out to you that maybe you feel perhaps the most optimistic about, or Chiefs fans should feel the most optimistic about going forward?
I've seen them both. I think I was saying that maybe they shrink it a little bit and say, oh, we're going to pick 3 of these guys that we start to concentrate on instead of playing everybody, just to get those guys comfortable so when the playoffs come. And maybe they're still evaluating, but I think eventually they better focus on Sky Moore, Rashee Rice. I love Watson being that deep threat. Keep him in there for that deep threat. Obviously, Kelsey's going to get his 10 catches a game. Keep doing that because it all revolves around him. And I really like Justin Ross, the upside of him. But he's having the drops, and if he needs to figure that out. They have talent. Sky Moore, like I said, the separation hasn't been quite there as well as I think it could be. But to me, it's still about it. To answer your question, I think you have to still keep evaluating it to see who are we going to rely on when the playoffs come. They got a great record right now. I do think they're going to win Thursday. But they need to start to fold that down. We need 3 guys that we can count on besides Travis, that we know when we throw the ball, they're going to be able to catch it, create separation, and then obviously most important, finish it by catching the football.
We're talking to Tony Gonzalez, Pro Football Hall of Famer, of course, longtime Chiefs tight end. Chiefs great, going to be back in Kansas City on Thursday night for Amazon Prime's coverage of Chiefs and Broncos. Travis Kelce just turned 34. People are starting to wonder a little bit, is age catch up? He had the hyperextended knee right before the season. Now he's dealing with an ankle injury this week after the game. Is this the point in time where you felt in your career maybe the recovery took a little bit longer? When did you start feeling, because you played till 38 years old? When did you start to feel maybe age catching up from just staying healthy and coming back so quickly?
Well, honestly, I felt that after year 10, so I was a little bit younger.
Yeah.
And that's when you start to be cognizant, okay, how am I going to treat my body? How am I going to sleep? How am I going to hydrate? How am I going to eat? How am I going to do whatever it is, emotionally, mentally, physically, weight room, stretching, all that stuff goes into it. And I think Travis is on top of all that. I really, really do. I just think it's a little bit of bad luck. You come out of that break. I saw it last week. I didn't see the hyperextended knee, but I was watching the game when he caught the ball and he went down. First of all, it looked horrible. You're like, oh my God, the way he went down. Looked like a sniper shot him and he dropped. And you're like, oh my God, that looks like something he's done for the year, like an Achilles or something. Thank God it wasn't anything different. But I think it just seems like a little bit of bad luck. One thing I know about Travis too, he's tough, and he is somebody who's not going to sit out. Just like you said, he came back, and I wasn't surprised. I was like, that dude is tough. I think going forward though, being 34 years old, you have to be a little bit more cognizant. But I think he understands that too, for sure. And if he doesn't, I'm going to see him Thursday, and I'll talk to him about it because we need him. And I want to see him have so much success. I want him to play as long as he can because he's been such a phenomenal football player. And I'd love to see how far he can take it, honestly.
It started also up again, this turf versus grass debate. And I don't know how many different playing services you played on back when you were playing, if a majority of them were probably still grass, maybe at that point, maybe we're starting to switch over a little bit more. But how much do you think that when we're talking about players, how much would players prefer right now if you were still playing the grass versus, some of these surfaces that people think maybe are leading to some of these injuries?
Well, I've seen guys do it on both surfaces, by the way. So, I mean, ask somebody who's studied this stuff, who's an expert. I'm not quite the expert on it, but I've seen people get hurt on both. Soft tissue, nobody around, on grass, cut, all of a sudden ACL or an Achilles. You see it. I played on both surfaces for sure. I mean, Atlanta Falcons, that was the turf the whole time. And it was pretty prevalent when I was playing, the same as it is now. But grass is the ultimate. That's what you want. I mean, that's easier on your body and everything. If you can have grass, I feel like every stadium out there, if you can afford it, well, forget about afford it. I know you can afford it. Yeah, right. If it's possible, you should have grass. That's all there is to it. To me, it's a no-brainer. Grass is the way to go.
Before we let you get out of here, Tony, Thursday night, Chiefs-Broncos, you mentioned a little bit earlier you think the Chiefs are winning this. 15 straight wins for the Chiefs over the Denver Broncos. I mean, that's quite the stretch of dominance. Well, what's the story for Denver for you when you watch them right now?
Well, they are in a world of trouble. Sean Payton has stepped into the proverbial poop with taking this job. It's tough with the. I mean, he's kind of turned around Russell Wilson a little bit, but it still isn't up to where that contract that he signed. I mean, you want a bigger level of play. The defense is atrocious. It's awful. It's on pace for. I'm sure you probably talked about it. We're talking history now. One of the worst defenses in NFL history. So they can't stop the run. I believe Isaiah Pacheco could go for 180 yards if they want to give it to him 35 times. I'm sure of that. But looking at the Broncos, they are in a tough situation, not just this game, but going forward. Their schedule's brutal. And even at the end of this year, what are you going to do? You can't get rid of Russell. He's there for at least another 2 years. And if you have a top pick, do you go get a quarterback? How's that going to look? You got this guy. They are in a world of disarray. I don't envy them at all. I'm glad I'm not in that situation. I love Sean Payton. But he's got an uphill battle right now to climb, and hopefully the Chiefs can use this as a game. And by the way, this goes without saying, you never know because it's a division rival. Stuff happens. I've been on that losing team, and then we come out and everybody plays great. So you never know what's going to happen. But the Chiefs, in my opinion, they need to look at this game and say, let's get right, especially those offensive receivers. Let's go out there and have ourselves a game. Let's gain some confidence. Let's start to put these young receivers in situations because you can afford to make mistakes in this type of game and still win. But you don't want to do it too much. Obviously, it would be devastating to lose to this team because they're a better football team than the Broncos.
Tony, appreciate the insight, the time. Good to have you back in KC this week, and I know you'll take the crew to the right barbecue spots this week.
Absolutely. Are the Bryans or LC's barbecue. One of them.
There you go. Sure. There you go. All right. So that's where Tony Gonzalez is going. That was Tony earlier today. He joined us. He'll be part of Amazon Prime's broadcast tomorrow night. LC's in Arthur Bryant's. I guess if you want to see Tony Gonzalez, Bink, you can head over there at some point today, tomorrow.
Go see some Tony G and eat some barbecue.
There you go.
Good spots. Great spots.
No, I mean, you can't go wrong in KC. We've been trying to help Drew out.
You can't go wrong anywhere.
Drew to go through the barbecue tour here. He's only gone to one.
You asked 10 different
Joe's
people,
for
Drew.
Sure. Yeah, I've been.
Yeah, we went with
really
you,
just
Joe.
to Joe's. That's
All
it.
right, we got to get this. We got to get the tour going.
You ask 10 people, you'll have 10 different answers.
Well, sure.
You'll have different answers too.
We got to get him. We got to get him out to some more places.
Joe's and Jack Stack are the most common suggestions, but
you do need to try. If you haven't had Jack Stack, you need to try it. I mean, Slaps, Harp, LC's,
Smokehouse.
Rosedale, Smokehouse.
Love some Smokehouse.
Go on and on and on.
I always thought it'd be cool to have like an all-star lineup. If you had the time, if you had the time to do it, like on Thanksgiving or day before Christmas, whatever, go get ribs one place, beans one place, wherever you think has, because everybody has kind of the best of each item.
Sure.
Like golf courses will do that sometimes. We'll take a look at the 18 best holes in the country and build the golf course, kind of simulating those other holes. Find barbecue restaurants and get like the beans one place, the ribs, the burnt ends one place, because everybody's got their specialty and make an all-star barbecue dinner. That's the way to do it. Seriously, that's the way to go about things.
We got to get you another place. Yeah, someone says Chef J Barbecue. You name it. There's some Scott's Kitchen. We can go on and on. Some great places, but we gotta get you. We got to get you to another spot. Thanks to Tony for joining us. I wanted to talk about Kelsey a little bit. We asked him there about durability at 34 and all that. He says he thinks they're just kind of fluky, unlucky, I think is the phrase he used, injuries.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's right about that because Kelsey just, this is his start to season. That was the way to start the season. That right there, it happened at the end, right before the first game, the hyperextension. Doesn't play in that first game. And so really everything right off the bat, I think, was kind of slowed down. But, I know the age and everything, but I don't think it matters. He's 26, 27, or sitting at 34 right now. They were kind of fluke things. And he kind of defies ages and everything else. Gonzalez, of course, did play till 37. He did slow down, though. You look at Tony Gonzalez, when he was 34, 656 yards, then 875, 930, then 859. So he slowed down to un-Tony Gonzalez-like numbers after he hit 34.
Before the injury stuff, like now the injury, it's getting talked about more. Heading into training camp, we were talking up in St. Joe that maybe this is the year where you start to be a little more cognizant of his workload because of the age. Not that you don't think he can perform at a high level, but you're playing in probably 3 postseason games most years, right? 2, 3. And you need to make sure he's fresh. And so working Noah Gray more. Noah Gray's off to a really nice start. He's on pace for just under 500 yards. And we'll see if Kelsey's a full goat tomorrow night or not. But I have no problem if you're telling me Noah Gray is going to get targeted a little bit more in this offense. A lot of this gets solved as far as the pressure you're putting on Kelsey if suddenly Rashee Rice, Sky Moore, anybody else emerges. And that was another question we asked Tony. He really likes Rashee Rice. It's something he thinks the drops can be fixed because he had drops first 2 years of his career. It was a problem. He ended up having a Hall of Fame career, as we all know.
Jamar Chase did, too, when he first got
Still does a little bit. Still does a little bit.
But he corrected those because it was pretty bad in that first preseason, but he completely changed it.
So I do think they can be corrected. I'm 100% with him when he said really focusing on 3 guys and whittle it down. I do think at some point rotating 7 different wide receivers in, it's hard for anybody to get a rhythm. Sky Moore, his snap count might need to go down a little bit. So Rashee Rice's can go up. I'm fine with rolling with MVS, Rashee Rice, and Justin Watson as the predominant snaps out of the wide receiver group for a little. I'm not telling you not to have Sky out there, not to have the other guys out there, but I'm good with changing up the snap counts a little bit. Rashee Rice should not be getting 30% of the snaps. He should be getting 45% of the snaps going forward. Maybe it doesn't happen this week because it's a short week. Maybe we have to wait until we get to the following week to see that. But that's what I want to see happen with the wide receiver room.
Need to change a little bit, too, because every time he's in there, he's targeted. He's getting sick of those targets for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So if Rashee Rice was in the game, the chances are that he's going to get the football. But you go back, even in the 2020 Chiefs, when the first 6 weeks, there were 6 different leading receivers. You might remember that was, or 2019. It was 2019 they had it because that was the big game where Watkins, Robinson, Hardman, Kelsey, Pringle, and Hill. So it was a different guy stepping up each and every way. I just don't think they found their guy. Alex, you know how it is. I bring this up multiple times. Baseball managers, like if you sat down with Ned Yost in the heyday, said, "Who's your sixth?" Well, he got his HDH finally and things like that. But you ask any manager, "Who's your 6th inning guy or 7th inning guy or 8th inning?" They don't know. A lot of times, major league managers won't know for a month and a half into the season, like who wants to take that deal. And for the Chiefs, we're seeing Watson becoming a dependable, reliable guy for Patrick Mahomes, but eventually someone's going to shine each and every week where you can trust them and you can trust yards after catch, because the importance of getting somebody else to trust besides Kelsey, number one, it helps your offense, helps build that continuity with your quarterback, but it also takes some pressure off of Travis Kelsey, happen to be that guy as he leads his team in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. Someone else needs to kind of step up because Kelsey handled it with Hill being gone, but having somebody formulate into that 1 or that 2 receiver just helps your offense, especially helps Kelsey not trying to force too much.
Yeah, this is week 6 of the season, right? Are we on week 6 now? I mean, this is where it's time to me to be willing to adjust in terms of getting more playing time for certain players. After week 2, we had the discussion. Oh, should suddenly Rashee Rice or Justin Ross get more work? I was like, okay, it's 2 weeks. Let's calm down. Let's continue to give opportunity to Sky Moore and others. After tomorrow night, through week 6, at that point, to me, you got to be willing to make adjustments. If you're not willing here at the end of the month to go find a trade target, then you need to be willing to, you can't just keep going with the same philosophy. Like, eventually Sky Moore will figure it out. Maybe, but I don't think you can continue to give him the same workload. You need to start getting guys in there that can be productive. And right now, I don't know how you can argue that Rashee Rice can't be more productive at this moment.
You see more weapons because when you're watching the Chiefs and you're an opposing team and you're looking at the film, you're thinking, okay, shut down Kelsey. And we'll take Rice, we'll take Sky Moore, we'll take MVS, we'll deal with that. But shut down Travis Kelsey because they've tried it for years. But being the only weapon, if you're watching the Chiefs, okay, what are we going to do with Mahomes? What are we going to do to stop Kelsey? But you need somebody else to emerge. Say, whoa, we got to stop this Rice guy. We got to stop him because he can kill. Well, no one can be that guy. But the Chiefs like to sandbag things a little bit like they did McKinnon. The wide receivers do need to step up.
Thanks for filling in, Ben.
Thanks, man. Had fun.
A lot of fun filling in for Cody. Dusty Likens filling in tomorrow.
Man.
I have Dusty hosting with me. All three of us, Drew, myself, Dusty, will be hanging out tomorrow on game day, a Thursday game day, the last Thursday game day of the season for the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll have that tomorrow. We'll have Dane and Hughes on the show. Paul Charchian will get you set for Week 6, fantasy football-wise. We'll also have Nick Ferguson, former Broncos safety, joining us on the show to get the Denver perspective on what's going on. Reminder tonight, That Betting Show live at Hollywood Casino. I'll be hosting that from 7 to 8 this evening. Come on by, say hello. We'll talk betting angles for Chiefs, Broncos, also big college football weekend ahead. Talk to you guys then.
There's Kelsey to the end zone.
Cody and Gold brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete.